This won't do. I can't lose my leg. Fengde said anxiously when he heard this. At that moment, everyone present could tell that the young Mrs. Bad Taste was back. She was just teasing Fengde. Therefore, they were all smart enough to keep silent. Young miss. Fengde looked at Leng Ruoxue with resentment. His little face was as pitiful as it could get, and his pitiful look greatly pleased Leng Ruoxue. AI. Seeing how pitiful you are, I'll think of a way. Leng Ruoxue sighed and pretended to be in a difficult position. Many thanks, miss. Hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, Fengde could finally relax. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue squatted down and stretched out her index finger. She bent it and knocked on the clamshell lightly. She then said with certainty, there must be someone at home. Qing Xian and Ning Haolan's faces darkened at her words. What did she mean by that? What did he mean by, there's someone at home? So what if there were people? So what if there were no people? Was she going to get someone to open the door for her? The two of them let their thoughts run wild, but the next second, their guess was confirmed. I know you're at home. Open the door now, or else you won't be able to keep these two doors. Leng Ruoxue threatened. At this moment, the clam that was hiding in its shell did not dare to make any rash moves. This was because it could instinctively sense how terrifying this woman was. Although its strength was not high, its natural instincts were not wrong. Hence, the timid clam could only hide its head and not dare to show itself. After waiting for a while, Leng Ruoxue saw that the mussel did not respond and was a little angry. In an instant, a small dark purple flame jumped on her white and tender fingertips. The temperature of the flame was extremely high, causing Lin Yuan and the others to take a big step back to avoid being roasted by the flame. The moment Leng Ruoxue's flame appeared, the giant clam, which had been silent, started to tremble uncontrollably. Water vapor started to evaporate from its body. In an instant, the giant clam felt as if its body was on fire and it started to tremble even more. Little clam. Do you want to be roasted by me, or do you want to open the door? Leng Ruoxue slowly moved the flame on her fingertips closer to the giant clam's body, giving it two choices. However, as soon as she finished her sentence, the giant clam quickly opened its two shells and jumped into the sea as if it was running for its life. The giant clam was still frightened and refused to come out. What a pity. I thought I would be able to eat delicious clam meat. Leng Ruoxue looked at the back of the giant clam and said with regret. Great aunt. Is there anything in this world that you don't dare to eat? Qing Xian couldn't help but ask. Of course. Leng Ruoxue nodded with a smile. What? Qing Xian asked curiously. I'm not telling you. Leng Ruoxue laughed evilly. There were many things in this world that she didn't eat. Great aunt. You're a bad person. Qing Xian pouted and said in a slightly coquettish manner. I've never said that I'm a good person. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Then, she stood up and looked at the cancer that was right in front of her. Since the mussel has run away, I can only have you as my supper tonight. With that, Leng Ruoxue walked towards the giant crab. When the giant crabs and giant prawns with low spiritual intelligence saw Leng Ruoxue approaching, they all instinctively retreated. This was because both Leng Ruoxue and the small flame in her hand made them feel fear. Seeing that they were about to retreat into the sea, Leng Ruoxue stopped in her tracks and said, Don't be afraid, I won't mistreat you. I'll give you a quick death. These words made the giant crabs and prawns run even faster. They ran for their lives in all directions without a care. For a moment, it was a mess. In the process of running away, many crabs and prawns bumped into each other. Some directly fainted, and some had broken a few arms and legs. In short, the situation could only be described as chaotic. The crowd stared at the scene in front of them with their mouths agape. They were filled with admiration for Leng Ruoxue and could not help but think in their hearts, as expected of our family's young miss. This power was extraordinary. He hadn't even made them. Soldiers and crab generals threw away their helmets and armors and fled in all directions. However, in this way, wouldn't they lose their delicious taste? At the thought of this, Fengde and the others became anxious and shouted, Miss. Don't let them run away. At the same time, it pounced on those shrimps and crabs. Seeing this, Qing Xian rubbed his eyes and thought to himself, are those things really that attractive? He had actually caused Fengde and the others to go so crazy. Out of curiosity, he and Ning Haolan also charged into the battlefield. After a battle of chasing and hiding, Fengde and the others had a good harvest. They saw a small mountain of shrimp and crabs piled in front of their house. Seeing these fresh seafood, they couldn't wait any longer. They directly started a fire and roasted it over the fire with a wooden stick. Not long after, a fresh smell emerged from the shrimp and crab that were being roasted over the fire. After smelling it, Qing Xian couldn't help but take a few deep breaths. This smell was indeed delicious. He just didn't know what it would taste like. He was looking forward to it. However, after the prawns and crabs were roasted, Qing Xian didn't rush to eat them. Instead, he carefully observed Fengde and the others' appearances and started to learn. When the first mouthful of crab meat entered his stomach, Qing Xian could not help but close his eyes and chew with a satisfied expression. The delicious taste floated in his mouth, leaving him with an endless aftertaste. However, when he opened his eyes and saw that Fengde and the others had each destroyed a giant crab, he couldn't help but feel a little anxious. He didn't care about the aftertaste and quickly ate it. While eating, he took a freshly roasted giant crab and placed it in front of him to show his ownership. Leng Ruoxue chuckled to herself when she saw how protective Cheng Xian was of his food. She did not expect Cheng Xian to have such a cute side to him. However, she was surprised by Ning Haolan's actions because he had learned from Cheng Xian. When he saw her surprised look, he did not feel embarrassed at all. Instead, he was even more at ease. Seeing this scene, Leng Ruoxue sighed from the bottom of her heart. Young Master Ning's heart was still the best. Everyone was eating the supper excitedly. However, just as they were eating happily, a discordant roar sounded in their ears. Bold human! You actually dared to eat my subordinates. A hoarse voice rang out in the dark night. When everyone heard this voice, they didn't even raise their heads and continued to eat the food in their hands. Human! I'm talking to you. Don't ignore this lord's existence, alright? Seeing that no one was paying attention to it, the owner of the voice, the giant monster, could not help but roar again. Then what do you want? A fellow who doesn't even dare to show his face, do you expect us to treat you with courtesy? Leng Ruoxue raised her head and smiled calmly. In fact, she had long guessed that those shrimps and crabs were related to this monster. Now, she had finally confirmed it. They were indeed its people. You ate my subordinate. You have to give me an explanation. The giant monster roared. Tape? What do you want tape for? Are you trying to shut your mouth? Leng Ruoxue laughed evilly, deliberately twisting its words. Despicable humans. You did it on purpose. The huge monster understood the meaning behind Leng Ruoxue's words and said angrily. I did it on purpose, what can you do to me? Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly and continued to provoke it. Miss. It doesn't even dare to show its head, what can it do to us? It doesn't even dare to come up, so why waste our saliva talking nonsense with it? Feng De suggested. Let's ignore it and continue eating. Leng Ruoxue nodded her head in agreement. Don't eat it. You're not allowed to eat my subordinates. The huge monster roared in anger. However, Leng Ruoxue and the rest were unmoved. They continued to lower their heads and eat the delicacies in their hands. Following that, they heard a kacha. With a loud kacha sound, everyone saw a huge black shadow from the corner of their eyes. It dived out of the sea and came ashore. Then, it quickly ran in their direction. Leng Ruoxue and the others laughed in their hearts when they saw this. This idiot had finally taken the bait. When the black shadow ran in, Leng Ruoxue and the others finally saw its true appearance. It was an extremely huge crab with a diameter of 10 meters and a height of 2 meters. It was wearing a black armor that was shining with a faint light. Furthermore, this crab had the strength of a divine lord. When the crab saw that Leng Ruoxue and the others were stepping on the shells of its underlings, anger rose from its heart. Its pitch black, glossy, and extremely hard shell seemed to be burning with flames, shining with a pink glow. Seeing it like this, Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but recall a classic advertisement from her previous life, have you been cooked? I want to take revenge for my subordinates. The large crab said viciously. Its pair of searchlight-like eyes stared at Leng Ruoxue and the rest as if it was staring at its prey. Big crab, I can understand how you feel. However, you only have the strength of a monarch god-level cultivator. There are so many of us here. Are you sure you can defeat us? Leng Ruoxue chuckled as she reminded him. I won't let you off. The large crab stammered and did not answer Leng Ruoxue's question directly. In fact, it was afraid that it could not defeat them, so it did not attack. Instead, it went back and found a group of its underlings. Who knew that those underlings were so useless? Before they could attack, they were killed, injured, and many of them became food for the humans. This fact made it extremely furious. However, don't be fooled by its fierce appearance. In reality, it was very timid. However, this time, it had no choice but to stand out. Otherwise, where would it put its face in the endless ocean in the future? How could it convince the masses? What do you want to do to us? Leng Ruoxue was very curious. I want to take revenge for my subordinate. The large crab roared. You've said this before. Tell me the details. Leng Ruoxue reminded him impatiently. The details, the details. The big crab was confused. It didn't know. What could it say? AI. You're so stupid. The specific thing is nothing more than how you want to avenge your subordinate. You have to come up with a plan to deal with us. You can't just come here on a whim like you are now. You're not here for revenge, you're here to give us food. Feng De couldn't help but say in a sincere tone when he saw the big crab's dumbfounded expression. Upon hearing Feng De's words, the big crab suddenly raised his head and looked at Feng De with teary eyes. As if he had found a soulmate, he choked and said, Human. You really are a good person. You're actually so considerate of me. It was very touched. After living for so long, it had been afraid of being eaten by the enemy every day. It didn't expect that there was still someone in this world who cared about it so much. Ugh. What was this situation? Seeing the big crab's inexplicable excitement, Feng De was a little dumbfounded. He didn't seem to have said anything that shouldn't be said, right? Why did the crab look like it was going to give itself to him? The more he thought about it, the more afraid he became. Not only him, but the others were also speechless when they saw this scene. Moreover, they had a common question in their hearts. What was this big crab trying to do? However, they soon found out. The big crab looked shy, and his cold eyes looked at Feng De with affection. Then, he said, human. You're so good, I'm really moved. I've decided, I'm going to give my body to you. The big crab's words made Feng jump in shock. F***ck. This crab was going to repay him with his body just because he said so. This was really too terrifying. Don't be impulsive. I'm not a good person. It's true. Feng wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and said hurriedly. You're a good person. I've lived for so long, but I've never met a human who's so considerate of me. So, you can't reject me. The big crab was determined to get Feng, and it said very stubbornly. But I'm not interested in you. Besides, I already have someone I like. So, I can only disappoint your good intentions. Feng was so anxious that he broke out in a cold sweat. He couldn't help but look towards Leng Ruoxue and the others for help. However, he was ignored by the crowd who wanted to see him make a fool of himself. Interest can be cultivated. I believe that with my charm, you will accept me one day. The big crab suddenly became confident. To be honest, my favorite food is crabs, so in my eyes, you are food. No one will like food. Trust me. Feng tried to persuade him. You can't eat mine. The big crab blinked its eyes and said innocently. That's hard to say. If I'm hungry one day, I might just treat you as a dish to go with wine. Would you still dare to like me then? Feng threatened. Feng Da's words made the big crab stare at him for a long time without saying a word. However, just when Feng thought that the big crab had given up, the big crab said, I'm not scared. You can't scare me. What do you want? Feng was speechless. Why was this crab so insistent on him? I said I want to repay you with my body. The big crab said with certainty. Like I said, I already have someone I like. Feng also said. So what? I won't fight with her. The big crab said disapprovingly. That. Being a third party will be despised by others. At this time, Lu Tao couldn't help but say. She originally wanted to stay out of this world, but she couldn't resist Feng Da's pleading gaze, so she had to speak. What's a third party? And who are you? The big crab asked curiously. She's the woman I like. The mistress is the one who forced herself between us. I'm a human, and I like humans. You're just food in my eyes, so I'll never like you. Feng couldn't take it anymore and roared. After Feng finished shouting, the big crab looked at him in a daze, then continued, if you like her, then so be it. There's no conflict with me offering my body to you. She's a human and can't be your beastie, but I can. After he finished speaking, he even looked at Green Peach with a slightly provocative look. Beastie? Feng blinked his eyes. Did he hear it wrong? This big crab was talking about beastie. Could it be that he wanted to be his beastie? You want to be my beastie? Feng asked again with uncertainty. You're a good person, I like you. So, I want to be your beastie. The big crab said shyly. After hearing the crab's affirmative answer, Leng Ruoxue and the rest could not help but lower their heads and laugh. After all this crab only wanted to be Feng Da's beastie. In the end, it caused them to misunderstand and caused Feng to make a huge mistake. If you want to be a beastie, why don't you just say it clearly? Why are you even offering yourself to me? Are you trying to scare me to death? Feng Da's face was hot. F***ck. This was a huge loss of face. Isn't being a beastie the same as repaying with your body? From now on, I'm yours. The big crab said matter-of-factly. If you don't know how to use words, then don't use them. How can that be the same? Feng was very angry, and the crowd couldn't help but laugh loudly when they heard their conversation. Ha ha ha. Captain, you guys are too funny. Lin Yuan laughed, and he laughed the most exaggeratedly. He laughed so hard that his stomach hurt, and he was just short of rolling on the ground. What are you laughing at? If you laugh again, I'll throw you into the sea to feed the crabs. Feng roared in anger. Master. Crabs love aquatic grass, not humans. The big crab corrected him with a serious expression. After Lin Yuan and the rest heard this, they laughed even louder. You shut up. No one will think you're mute if you don't speak. Feng was furious. Master. I'm telling the truth. The big crab felt very wronged. Don't call me master. I didn't agree to take you in. Feng was about to go crazy. Master. I've decided on you, you can't abandon me. The big crab stretched out its two huge pincers and hugged Feng Da's thigh tightly as it sobbed. Damn it. Quickly let go of me. Feng ordered. Not letting go. Don't let go. I won't let go even if I die. The big crab hugged him tighter and tighter, so that Feng would not shake him off. Just like that, the man and the crab began to tug at each other, forming a tug-of-war. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue shook her head helplessly and sighed in her heart. How did things turn out like this? If she didn't remember wrongly, this big crab was here for revenge, but now it had found a master for itself. Was there anything more dramatic than this in the world? Previous chapter. Next. Leng Ruoxue sighed softly. She ignored the man and the crab's tugging and pulling and immediately brought the demon back to her room. The next morning. When they came out of the room and saw the unconcealed smiles on everyone's faces, suspicion rose in their hearts. After they left last night, did something happen that they didn't know about? Miss. Feng took that big crab last night. Seeing Leng Ruoxue's confusion, Grape hurriedly explained. Oh. Isn't it normal to take in a beastie? However, your expressions are very abnormal. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. Hee hee. Miss, you'll know when they come out. Grape said mysteriously, the smile on her beautiful face hard to hide. Seeing that the grapes were keeping her in suspense, Leng Ruoxue didn't probe further and just waited patiently. Fortunately, Fengde didn't make her wait too long. After a while, he walked out of the room with a dark face. But what was that black thing on Fengde's head? Leng Ruoxue silently wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. In her heart, she couldn't help but feel disgusted by Fengde's new style. If this was in the world of her previous life, Fengde's style would definitely not be mainstream. He saw a black crab slightly bigger than an adult's fist on Fengde's head, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It was obvious that this was the giant crab's appearance after it mimicked him yesterday. But why did he bring this crab on his head? Could it be that he thought that he looked good like this and wanted to change his image? Just as Leng Ruoxue was feeling puzzled, Grape and the rest could not help but turn around and snicker. Fengde's face was dark as he went up to Leng Ruoxue and pleaded, Miss. This damn crab just wants to stay on my head, please help me. How do you want me to help you? Leng Ruoxue asked with a face full of curiosity. She laughed in her heart. She knew Fengde wouldn't be like this. So it was because the crab had chosen this position, Could she say that this crab had good taste? The view there was really good. Help me persuade it to come down. Fengde begged. Fengde. I heard that this crab has already recognized you as its master. Since you're its master, you can order it to come down from your head. You don't need me at all. Moreover, compared to you, I'm just an outsider to it. How could it listen to me? Leng Ruoxue reminded. It seemed like Fengde had been so angered by this crab that he had lost his mind. Otherwise, why would he not know how to use his master's authority? Miss. If only it was willing to listen to me. Fengde's face was bitter as he said helplessly. This crab was extremely stubborn. Once it had decided on something, it would go down the dark path. He didn't have the habit of mistreating his beastie. He couldn't hit it or scold it. After all, it was his beastie, and he still had to dote on it. He didn't know if it was because of this, but this little crab was not afraid of him at all. So, he could only swallow this bitter fruit. Sob. He really regretted taking in this guy in his moment of soft-heartedness. Now, it had climbed onto his head. It was truly on his head. Even you, the master, can't do anything, so what can I do? You still have to manage your own beastie, no one else can help you. Leng Ruoxue said with a helpless expression. Miss. Fengde deliberately dragged out his voice. His originally shrewd eyes were now glistening, and the mist in them was in danger of falling at any time. I'm not a green peach. It's useless to act pitiful in front of me. Leng Ruoxue unreservedly exposed him. She thought to herself, if the person who acted this way in front of me was a demon, I might have taken pity on him. But it's a pity that he's not. Miss. Fengde called out resentfully, but was ignored by Leng Ruoxue. Even though Leng Ruoxue ignored Fengde's plea, she still turned her gaze to the greenish-black crab. She smiled and asked, Little crab, since you've acknowledged my subordinate as your master, you're one of us from now on. You have to answer my questions truthfully. If master's young lady has any questions, please ask. I promise to tell you everything I know. The little crab on Fengde's head raised one of its pincers and made a solemn vow. This was its master's master. Therefore, it definitely had to please her. Furthermore, after recognizing her as its master, it was very clear of the position this human woman had in its master's heart. Hence, its attitude towards Leng Ruoxue was extremely good. You're a good one, Leng Ruoxue nodded in satisfaction and continued, Little crab, do you know where the secret realm of the Endless Sea is? A secret realm? The little crab furrowed his brows in a dilemma. His pair of black and bright little eyes rolled around, but in the end, he shook his head and said, I've never heard of a secret realm here. Are you sure? Leng Ruoxue confirmed. She could tell that this little crab really didn't know what a mystic realm was. However, the map that Seventh Elder had given her should be correct. After all, this concerned the safety of Godfather and the rest. I really haven't heard of any secret realm here, but recently, the number of powerhouses in the Endless Sea has suddenly decreased by a lot. I heard that they have all gone to a mysterious place, but I don't know where that place is. The small crab said after thinking for a while. A mysterious place? Leng Ruoxue muttered to herself for a moment before realizing that the mysterious place the little crab was talking about could be the mystic realm she was looking for. The number of powerful cultivators in the Endless Ocean had suddenly decreased, so they must have gone there as well. After all, the mystic realm was on the Endless Ocean, so it was impossible for the local tyrants here to not have noticed it. However, the little crab was not sure, probably because it was not powerful enough. It seemed like the only way to find out the exact location of the mystic realm was to wait for the little dolphin to return. Master's young lady, do you want me to go back to the sea and ask around? Seeing that Leng Ruoxue was interested in that mysterious place, the little crab quickly tried to please her. All right. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Hee hee. Then I'll go. Master. You can't give this position to anyone else. Before the little crab left, he looked at Fengde's head with reluctance and said worriedly. I know. Fengde replied unhappily. He could not help but feel frustrated in his heart. Other than this damned crab, no other beastie would like that position. He would not let any beastie climb over his head either. However, this crab was a different species. It was something that could make him go crazy but at his wit's end. Fortunately, it was going back to the sea. Master. I'll miss you. The little crab's eyes were brimming with tears as it said with great reluctance. Hee hee. Captain, I didn't think that your relationship would be so deep in just one night. Lin Yuan teased with an envious look on his face. Let's go. Feng De glared at Lin Yuan and urged. I'll be back as soon as possible, master. Don't miss me too much. After the little crab finished speaking, it climbed down from Feng De's head and looked into his eyes. Then, with a flash of white light, it disappeared into thin air. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter comments. Tip, you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between. It's such a passionate little thing. After the little crab disappeared, Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but sigh. She was also very out of line because she hadn't forgotten what this crab had come here for. However, it had only been one night, and it was already stuck to Feng De like glue. This made one couldn't help but praise Feng De's extraordinary charm. Miss. Let's not talk about it anymore, okay? Feng De begged with a bitter face. Feng De. It's already your beastie. Even if you don't mention it, you can't change this fact, right? Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Captain. Miss is right, in fact, I also think that the little crab is not bad, it is loyal to you, and cares for you. Where else can you find such a caring beastie? Lin Yuan chuckled and echoed. If you like it so much, why didn't you take it back then? Feng De was furious as he gritted his teeth and said. I want to. It's a pity that he's interested in you. Lin Yuan's face was full of regret. However, in Feng De's eyes, his regretful expression was a little annoying. This detestable guy was clearly just standing there and talking. Don't think that he didn't know what these people were thinking. They knew that this little crab would never acknowledge them as its master, so they were gloating over his misfortune. This was really too much. Feng De couldn't help but complain in his heart. Leng Ruoxue, who was at the side, took the breakfast from the grapes. As she ate, she watched the two of them bicker. Suddenly, a white light flashed in front of her eyes. Immediately after, the snack in her hand disappeared. In her arms, a delicate and small dolphin appeared. The snack in the dolphin's mouth was the snack that she had just held in her hand. You greedy ghost, you actually dare to snatch something from master's hands. Leng Ruoxue lowered her head and scolded him with a smile. Master. I'm hungry. The little dolphin's watery eyes looked at Leng Ruoxue without blinking. The tears in its eyes slowly flowed, as if it was waiting for its master to scold it. Aren't dolphins supposed to like to eat fish? When did you become interested in desserts? Leng Ruoxue teased. Master. As a cultivator, of course I have to be an omnivorous animal. I can't be picky about my food. The little dolphin said matter-of-factly. All right then. Omnivorous little dolphin, did you get anything back home this time? Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile. Master. I've brought all my subordinates here. As for the secret realm, there's not much progress at the moment, but I've already left messages for my old friends. They'll naturally inform me if there's any news. The little dolphin said with certainty. Oh. Are your old friends not at home? When Leng Ruoxue heard that the little dolphin had left a message, she couldn't help but ask in understanding. To be friends with this little fellow, one's strength had to be at least above the God King stage. Furthermore, the little crab had mentioned that the experts of the Endless Ocean had all gone to a mysterious place. After some thought, she guessed that the little dolphin's friends had probably gone to the secret realm. However, where in the Endless Ocean was that secret realm located? On the map that the seventh elder had given her, the location of the secret plane was only marked with a small red dot, and the surroundings of that small red dot basically belonged to the territory of the Endless Sea. Therefore, other than knowing that the secret plane was in the Endless Sea, she knew very little information. No, I didn't. I don't know where they went, even my friends who don't go out often aren't home. It's really strange. The little dolphin said with a bit of hesitation. It originally thought that as long as it found its friend, it would be able to know the location of the secret realm that its master wanted to go to, but who knew that it would make a wasted trip? This fact made it extremely depressed. I heard from a small crab that the masters of the Endless Sea have all gone to a mysterious place. However, it doesn't know where it is, so it has already gone to help us find out. Leng Ruoxue explained with a smile. Where did this little crab come from? The little dolphin was a little curious. It's our captain's new beast pet. Lin Yuan said as he held back his laughter. Oh. Congratulations, you've just arrived at the Endless Ocean and you've already received a beast pet. The little dolphin smiled and thought to itself, it seems that the beasts of the Endless Sea are quite popular. If each of Master's subordinates could take in a beast pet from the Endless Ocean and form an army of sea beasts, wouldn't Master be invincible in the sea? It couldn't help but daydream. However, even though it was a sudden thought, it took it to heart. Thank you, he said. Feng De said weakly, his mood quite low. Hee. It would be great if each of you could take in a beast from the Endless Sea. That way, it would be more convenient for you to go to the bottom of the sea in the future. The little dolphin was so happy that it spoke out its thoughts. However, Lin Yuan and the others were so scared that they broke out in a cold sweat. This is a good idea. I agree. Little Crab has a lot of shrimp soldiers and crab generals under his command. Why don't you take them as your beast pets? When Fengde heard the little dolphin's suggestion, he was immediately pumped up and agreed. Captain. Are you afraid we'll be hungry? After hearing Fengde's idea, Lin Yuan was a little speechless. This idea was good? Good, my ass. If they each received a crab or shrimp, wouldn't they become a laughing stock? It was more like those shrimp soldiers and crab generals were their food, but how could they be their beast pets? Moreover, many of those guys were not even divine beasts. Such beasts were very unsuitable for them, who had high standards. Therefore, they despised Fengde's idea of dragging them into the water. With that thought in mind, everyone looked at Fengde with contempt, which made Fengde's heart palpitate. The little dolphin, on the other hand, was shocked when it heard their conversation. Beast pets can't be eaten. Moreover, one crab is enough. There are many strong people in the endless ocean. You don't have to collect crabs. The little dolphin naively thought that they liked crabs, so it was a little worried. In fact, according to its original intention, it wanted to introduce its friends to them. As for crabs, it was fine if they didn't want them. Although there were a lot of crabs in the endless sea, it was rare to see strong people. However, there were still benefits in taking crabs as beast pets. Because crabs were social animals, taking in a leader of the crabs was equivalent to taking in a group of crabs. However, if he wanted to keep so many crabs alive, the cost would not be small. MMH. The little dolphin's words make sense. We only want to eat crabs and have no interest in taking crabs as beast pets, so one is enough for the captain. If we all take crabs as beast pets, we won't be able to eat such delicacies in the future. Lin Yuan said worriedly. You guys are too disloyal. Don't you know what it means to share good fortune and misfortune together? Fengde roared in anger. Previous chapter. Captain. We'll definitely think of you when we eat crabs in the future, I promise. Lin Yuan patted his chest and said. Yes, yes. After hearing Lin Yuan's words, everyone nodded. They didn't want to be like Fengde and take in a crab as a beast pet, so this time, they couldn't be in trouble with their captain. You. Fengde glared at the crowd. He was so angry that he couldn't speak. Hee. In the future, if there is an opportunity, I will introduce my friends to you. Their strength is at least equivalent to a human's divine king or above. So, you must not casually accept beast pets. At this moment, the little dolphin's face was filled with worry. Don't worry. Our standards are very high, and we won't randomly take in beast pets. Lin Yuan quickly promised after hearing what the little dolphin said. In fact, he was not very interested in sea beasts, but a friend introduced by the little dolphin was better than beast pets such as crabs and prawns. When Fengde heard the little dolphin's words, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. This dolphin was deliberately going against him, right? He was already depressed enough that he had taken in a crab. Now, this dolphin even wanted to introduce its friends to Lin Yuan and the others. It was obvious that its friends would not be small sea beasts like fish, shrimp, and crabs. Boo-hoo. Why was his life so bitter? The more he thought about it, the more aggrieved he felt. In the end, he looked at the crowd with hidden bitterness and turned to leave angrily. The captain is angry. Lin Yuan said with a smirk. Obviously, none of them took this matter to heart, and no one wanted to coax him. After breakfast, everyone went about their business. 3 days later. The little crab returned from the sea, travel-worn, but the first thing it did was to find its master. The little dolphin finally saw the legendary little crab. However, the little crab was obviously a little afraid when it saw the dolphin. In the living room. Lying on Fengde's head, the little crab peeked at the little dolphin in Leng Ruoxue's arms. It was so scared that its pincers were trembling. Woo! Why is this fellow here? It had never dreamed that it would see this famous demon of the endless sea here. If it had known earlier, it would not have recognized this human as its master, but it was too late to regret now. Little crab, what did you find out? Tell me the truth. The little dolphin lifted its eyelids and said calmly. Even though it was not the strongest among the beasts in the endless ocean, it had a very good reputation. This was mainly due to its cold-blooded nature. However, it had restrained itself a lot in front of Leng Ruoxue. I found it. The little crab stammered and even began to speak incoherently. Stop hemming and hawing, tell me what you found. The little dolphin interrupted the little crab impatiently. In fact, it felt that its attitude was already quite friendly, but the little thing still seemed to be a little afraid of it, which made it very angry. The little crab was very anxious. It wanted to say it quickly, but the more anxious it was, the more it couldn't say it. In its anxiety, it accidentally grabbed a strand of Fengde's hair, causing Fengde to cry out in pain. Arg! Little crab, are you trying to kill your master? Fengde couldn't take it anymore. He was very angry at this disappointing little crab. This little guy was really useless. Wasn't it just a dolphin? Was there a need to scare it like this? Master. I'm sorry. The little crab was very guilty. Moreover, it seemed to have used too much force just now and had actually pulled off a strand of its master's hair. It couldn't let its master see it, so it had to destroy the corpse quickly. Thinking of this, it quickly put the strand of hair in its claw into its storage space, ready to destroy it when it had the opportunity. When Leng Ruoxue saw little crab's actions of destroying the evidence, she was already laughing in her heart. Although this little crab's strength wasn't high, he was quite good at making them laugh. If they had such a little fellow at home, at least they wouldn't be bored. When Little Crab saw that his little trick had been discovered by Leng Ruoxue, he smiled at her in an attempt to please her. Then, he lowered his head guiltily, not daring to look at her. Little Crab, what did you get? Leng Ruoxue knew that the little crab was afraid of the dolphin, so she had no choice but to keep the little dolphin into her bracelet. Master's young lady, in the past 3 days, I've taken my subordinates to many places and finally got accurate news. Most of the strong people in the endless ocean have indeed gone to the same mysterious place, but very few beasts know about this place. However, I heard that a strong person is currently staying at home. I don't know if he knows where that mysterious place is, but that strong person has a very strange temper. I'm afraid he won't meet you. The little crab explained worriedly. Without the dolphin around, it could speak much more easily. Where does that expert live? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Since she could find a powerful cultivator from the endless ocean, she naturally had to go and ask around. Furthermore, no matter how strange that person's temper was, she had to meet him. It lives in a trench in the deepest part of the endless sea. It's located at the bottom of the sea and is quite dangerous. We don't usually dare to go there. Moreover, this master doesn't like to communicate with people, so not many people know about his background. However, everyone knows that he has a bad temper. I remember a shark that accidentally passed by his territory and was almost killed by him. From then on, almost no sea beasts dared to go to that area. In addition, there are many natural dangers in the trenches. Therefore, that place is equivalent to a forbidden land for us. The little crab said with lingering fear. You've been there? Leng Ruoxue raised her brows and asked indifferently. No, I didn't. If I go, I'm afraid I won't be able to live. The little crab said fearfully. It didn't dare to go there. After all, it was a timid crab. Besides guarding its own territory, it rarely went out. Even so, there were often beasts who came to bully it. If it did not have so many subordinates, its territory would have been taken away long ago. Oh. Little crab, you've worked hard these past few days. Go back and rest first. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Fengde didn't even give the little crab a chance to speak before he left with it. After they left, Leng Ruoxue summoned the little dolphin. Little dolphin, you heard what that little crab said, right? Do you know the expert it's talking about? Leng Ruoxue asked directly. I've heard of it. It has a bad temper and rarely interacts with the beasts of the endless ocean. However, it is a very mysterious existence and has a very high status in the endless ocean. When I heard of it, I was still very young. The elders in my clan told me about it, and the reason for telling us was naturally to prevent us from being blind and provoking it. The little dolphin explained. What if I want to find it and ask for some information? Leng Ruoxue chuckled as she asked. Master. If it doesn't want to see you, then it's fine, but if it gets angry and attacks us, our chances of winning aren't high. When the little dolphin heard Leng Ruoxue's words, it asked worriedly. The sea was the world of the sea beasts, and human experts had no advantage at the bottom of the sea. Moreover, that expert's strength was unfathomable. When the elders in the clan mentioned that elder to it, they were all very cautious. From this, it could be seen how terrifying that expert's strength was. Therefore, it did not really agree with its master going to find that mysterious expert. I just want to ask it something. It won't be unreasonable. Leng Ruoxue said indifferently. Master. You want to reason with beastie? The little dolphin looked at Leng Ruoxue in a daze. The first rule of the beast law was that the strong were respected. Whoever had the tougher fist would have the final say. If you had the time to reason with beastie, why not fight them? If he won, everything would be easy. This was how beastie did things, simple and clear. As for infighting and such, it was not suitable for most beastie. Since the other party is an expert from the endless ocean, there should be some reason. Leng Ruoxue said confidently. The little dolphin couldn't help but wipe the cold sweat on its forehead. It really didn't know where its master got such confidence from. It should be known that in its eyes, most beasts would not reason with humans because they didn't trust humans at all. Little dolphin. It's better to hit the jackpot than to pick another day, let's set off now. Leng Ruoxue said without any hurry. After she finished speaking, she left the house with the evildoer. After they left, she kept the house back into her bangle and sat on the back of the little dolphin with the evildoer. When the little dolphin saw this, it laughed bitterly and helplessly. Then, with a gentle wave of its front fin, a transparent light enveloped Leng Ruoxue and the demon. Following that, it dove into the depths of the sea. Leng Ruoxue and the demon sat on the back of the little dolphin. There was a light shield protecting them from the outside. The two of them looked around as if they were sightseeing. The deeper they went into the sea, the less light there was. Furthermore, this time, there were no fish surrounding them out of curiosity. Leng Ruoxue could not help but sigh when she saw this. This was indeed a different species of diving from her previous life. As they neared the trench, the little dolphin was about to continue diving when suddenly, a warning sounded out of nowhere. Human. Quickly leave. The voice was ancient and deep, and there was a hint of pressure in the voice, which was very frightening. The little dolphin's body trembled uncontrollably when it heard the voice. From this, it could be seen how powerful the voice was to the beasts in the sea. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue patted the little dolphin's smooth back to comfort it. Then, her beautiful eyes looked towards the pitch-black trench and said softly, Senior, I have an important matter to discuss with you. Since this powerful being had already issued a warning, she naturally wouldn't let the little dolphin get close. However, she had to see this mysterious powerful being, so she could only ask it to come out. Human. Leave quickly, or else don't blame me for being merciless. The owner of the voice warned again, but he had no intention of coming out. Senior. I have an important matter to discuss with you. Leng Ruoxue said stubbornly. If this fellow wasn't the strongest expert in the ocean, she wouldn't be so thick-skinned as to stay here. Since she was here, she naturally didn't want to leave empty-handed. Humph. What can a human want to see me for? The owner of the voice snorted coldly, clearly not believing Leng Ruoxue's words. Senior, I would like to ask you about something. This matter is related to the safety of the powerhouses of the endless ocean, so I hope you can come out and meet me. Leng Ruoxue coaxed him patiently. Ha ha ha. Little girl, although you have a glib tongue, what does the other strong men of the endless ocean have to do with me? I've always been a loner. The owner of the voice mocked. Senior, I'm not trying to scare you, but if all the masters of the endless ocean die, then the endless ocean will fall into the hands of others. At that time, I'm afraid that even a lone master like you will be enslaved. Is this what you want? Leng Ruoxue provoked him on purpose. Although her words were a little exaggerated, it might become a reality. The reason why she said all this was because she hoped that this mysterious expert would have some scruples. Even if it wasn't for others, he should at least do something for his own freedom. Little girl, I'm not someone who gets scared. The owner of the voice said calmly. Senior, I'm not trying to scare you. I believe that Senior should have heard of the 8 great divine domains of the divine realm. To tell you the truth, the powerhouses of the 8 divine domains and several major guilds have all gone missing along with the powerhouses of the endless sea. If they all die, have you thought about what the divine world will become? In order to gain the trust of this mysterious expert, Leng Ruoxue could only reveal a little more information. After all, from her point of view, even if one wanted to clean up the snow in front of their own door, they had to consider whether the environment they were living in was stable or not. Otherwise, their freedom would probably be taken away, let alone the opportunity to clean up the snow in front of their door. And this endless sea. Without the protection of the powerhouses of the ocean, the endless ocean will fall into the hands of others sooner or later. At that time, I'm afraid that Senior's peace will be destroyed. Leng Ruoxue added. However, after Leng Ruoxue said all this, the mysterious expert did not respond. Could that guy have fallen asleep? Leng Ruoxue thought to herself. She didn't know if her words would be of any use to this powerful being. If this fellow didn't run out of ideas and was still the same, she was afraid that her words would have been in vain. So now, she could only hope that this fellow still had a little sense of crisis. Moreover, she didn't want it to save the divine world. She only wanted to ask it some questions. After all, it was the most ancient and mysterious existence at the bottom of the sea. After a long while, the voice came again. Little human girl, what do you want to know? The voice sighed and asked. Senior. I've heard that a secret realm has appeared in the endless sea. I want to know its exact location. I wonder if Senior can tell me. Leng Ruoxue suppressed the joy in her heart and pretended to be calm as she asked. The reason why she had directly asked for the location of the mystic realm and not asked this Senior if he had heard of the mystic realm was because she was afraid that she would give this Senior an excuse to reject her. If he replied that he didn't know, she would be at her wit's end. Therefore, she didn't plan to make a wasted trip no matter what. Little girl, are you planning to go to the secret realm? The owner of the voice asked indifferently. Yes, I am. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Little girl, I advise you not to go. Any mystic realm is not as beautiful as people think. If you go to a mystic realm with your strength, let's not talk about whether you can get treasures, but if you go, it's hard to say if you can come out alive. Don't think about those unrealistic things. The mysterious expert said in a heavy tone. Senior, I'm not going to the secret realm for the treasure. Leng Ruoxue replied helplessly. Could it be for the safety of the divine realm? The mysterious powerhouse chuckled. Just now, this little girl wanted to ask him about some things, and she was using the banner of the divine realm's safety. Although he also attached great importance to the divine realm's safety, he did not think that such a weak little girl could play any great role in the divine realm's safety. Therefore, he was certain that this little girl was only going to the mystery realm to search for treasures. I'm going to the secret realm to find my godfather. Leng Ruoxue said honestly. Looking for a godfather? Little girl, no matter why you want to go to the secret realm, I suggest you don't go. Your strength is not enough there. The mysterious expert sighed. Senior, I naturally have my own means of self-protection after entering the secret realm. So, you don't have to worry. Leng Ruoxue said confidently. All right then. Since you insist on going, I'll tell you the location of the secret plane. The mysterious man said helplessly. He had a good impression of this little girl. Unfortunately, she refused to listen to his advice. Forget it. Let her be. Many thanks, Senior. When Leng Ruoxue heard this, she heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. No matter what, she finally knew the location of the mystic realm. That secret realm is very close to me. Do you see my trench? If we follow this trench, the secret plane will be 10,000 meters ahead. The mysterious expert said. Thank you, Senior. We're sorry to disturb you. After Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, she secretly ordered the little dolphin to leave this place. Although she really wanted to go directly to the mystic realm from here, she decided to take a detour after considering that this mysterious expert was not easy to get along with. After all, he had already told her the location of the secret realm, so she couldn't not know what was good for her. Seeing that they were about to turn back, the mysterious expert said, "Little girl, you can go directly from here. There's no need to take a detour." The mysterious man's words made the little dolphin, who was about to turn around, extremely surprised. When did this old man become so easy to talk to? He actually allowed them to pass through here. This fact was somewhat inconceivable. Could it be that his master's charm was so great that even this old goo was attracted? It couldn't help but wonder. "Thank you, senior." Leng Ruoxue expressed her gratitude once again. Supreme 39. Senior. We're going over. The little dolphin reminded them softly before they were about to cross the deep trench. After that, it quickly crossed the daunting trench like an arrow leaving the bow. Not long after they left, a pair of huge, cold eyes slowly opened from the depths of the trench. Then, a light flashed and everything returned to calmness. Leng Ruoxue sat on the little dolphin's back and felt the little dolphin's light-like speed. She couldn't help but laugh in her heart. This little fellow was too timid. Looking at its burning butt, it was as if they would be eaten by the mysterious expert if they were to leave a little later. In fact, from her point of view, the mysterious expert was also a reasonable person. At least he didn't make a move at the beginning and even told them the location of the trench. Just based on this point alone. In Leng Ruoxue's heart, that expert was not an unreasonable person. "Master. You've only been in contact with it once, so you naturally don't know how terrifying it is." The little dolphin, who understood Leng Ruoxue's thoughts, said with a lingering fear. It was born in the endless ocean and had heard many of that person's glorious deeds. Therefore, it was afraid of that person from the bottom of its heart. However, it did not expect that the powerful cultivator would be so easy to talk to. Other than asking them to leave at the beginning, he did not make things too difficult for them. This was something that surprised it. "Could it be that you've been in contact with it many times?" Leng Ruoxue asked, pretending to be surprised. "No, I didn't. It's my first time too." The little dolphin said, a little embarrassed. "If that's the case, how can you just hear rumors? You must know that rumors stop at the wise. The information heard from others is far less accurate than the confirmation from one's own hands." Leng Ruoxue smiled as she reminded him. "I know, but the elders of my clan told us about it. They wouldn't lie to us, right?" The little dolphin said, a little unconvinced. "Ha ha ha. Of course, your clan's elders wouldn't lie to you, but they might exaggerate the truth. You should know that things like rumors will always get more and more outrageous the more they spread, so it's best to verify it yourself." Leng Ruoxue laughed. "But, there are many strong people in the Endless Sea who have been beaten by it. Moreover, I know some of them." "What do you say?" The little dolphin continued. "Did they say why they were beaten up? If we were beaten up just because we entered that senior's territory, why weren't we beaten up when we went there just now?" Leng Ruoxue retorted. One-sided words could not be trusted. This. The little dolphin was speechless because it knew a strong person who did say that he was beaten up when he went to the strong person's territory. Now it seemed that his words were not without water. "Little dolphin. We humans have a saying, what you hear is false, but what you see is true. So, no matter when and where, don't believe one-sided words. It's very easy to be misled, and you won't be able to make an accurate judgment. However, sometimes, what you see with your own eyes may not be true." Leng Ruoxue sighed. "Arg. Then what do we do?" The little dolphin was a little dumbfounded. Wasn't Master's words a little contradictory? "Believe in your own feelings." Leng Ruoxue said softly. I only acknowledged Master as my master because I believed in my own feelings." The little dolphin said smugly. "Don't be so smug, let's hurry." Seeing that the little dolphin was starting to show off, Leng Ruoxue helplessly urged. "Master. You have to believe in my speed. We'll be able to reach the secret realm in an hour at most." After the little dolphin finished speaking, it began to sprint at full speed. Just as it had expected, they finally arrived at the secret realm after an hour. The entire secret realm was in the middle of an endless ocean, surrounded by deep blue seawater. There was a dazzling screen of light at the entrance of the secret realm, and from the screen of light, a trace of dense spiritual energy could be seen. There were many sea beasts gathered around the secret realm, but they were not very powerful, so they could only watch from afar, not daring to take a single step closer. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue could not help but sigh. It seemed that animals had the strongest sense of danger, especially beasts with low power. "You, come over here." The little dolphin pointed at a giant sea turtle with its front fin. When the sea turtle heard the little dolphin's words, it trembled and swam over. It only had the divine power of a fifth-grade sacred beast, so it didn't dare to disobey the little dolphin's words. "What are your orders, my lord?" The sea turtle said in a muffled voice. There was a slight tremble in its voice, and it was obvious that it was afraid of the little dolphin. "Let me ask you, how long has this secret realm been here?" The little dolphin said unhappily. It was very angry. Such a secret realm had appeared in the Endless Sea. As the local snake of the Endless Sea, it had no news at all. This fact made it quite embarrassed. "Not even a year." The turtle replied very honestly. Its home was nearby, so it knew as soon as the secret realm appeared. Although the aura inside was very attractive to it, it did not dare to take a step in. Then why don't you guys go in? When the little dolphin heard the time, the anger in its heart subsided a lot. However, it was still angry, because its subordinates did not know the location of this mystic realm, which still made it feel embarrassed. We're too weak to go in. The sea turtle said. In fact, they saw that many powerful people had gone in, so they did not dare to go in. The reason why they stood still here was that they wanted to wait for the powerful people to leave before they went in to pick up the things that they had missed. They might have missed out on some good things. It was with this idea that the weaker sea beasts had gathered here. Therefore, the location of the secret realm was not widely known in the endless ocean. Then do you know who went in here? The little dolphin asked again. I saw a lot of humans go in, and some of the powerhouses of our endless sea also went in. The turtle told him the truth. Then did you see any of my dolphin race enter? The little dolphin continued to ask. In order to find out more about the secret realm, it had returned to the clan before, but it found that the elders in the clan were not around. Moreover, the other clan members had never heard of the secret realm. Now that it thought about it, it was very likely that the elders of the clan had come here. I saw it. The sea turtle hurriedly said. The dolphin clan was a large clan in the endless ocean, and they had many powerful people. Although their sea turtle clan had more people than the dolphin clan, they could not be compared to the dolphin clan in terms of strength. Otherwise, they would have entered a long time ago. Master. Let's go in quickly. After hearing the turtle's words, the little dolphin said worriedly. As Leng Ruoxue's beastie, it naturally knew that its master was suspicious of this mystic realm. Hence, after knowing that its clansmen were also inside, it became even more worried. When the sea turtle heard the adult dolphin call a human its master, it widened its black bean-like eyes in disbelief and stared at Leng Ruoxue without blinking. Good boy. This human is so powerful. He had actually taken in a dolphin as his beast pet. One must know that the dolphin race was one of the kings of the endless sea and were famous for their pride. Therefore, he had never dreamed that he would be able to see a dolphin that recognized a human as its master in his lifetime, which made him very surprised. Let's go in. Leng Ruoxue ignored the thoughts written on the turtle's face and nodded with a smile. After receiving Leng Ruoxue's order, the little dolphin didn't even look at the sea turtle and immediately rushed into the light screen. When the sea turtle saw this scene, its respect for the little dolphin immediately rose to a new height. As expected of the great dolphin. He's so courageous, the turtle thought to itself. It didn't dare to rush in like this. Then, it slowly swam back to its original position, calmly retracted its head into its turtle shell, and closed its eyes to rest. The little dolphin brought Leng Ruoxue and the demon into the mystic realm and immediately stopped. Leng Ruoxue and the demon jumped down from its back and started to size up the mystic realm. This mystical realm. How should he put it? Everywhere she looked was filled with the chirping of birds and the fragrance of flowers. The scenery was pleasant, and the spiritual chi inside was unbelievable. However, Leng Ruoxue felt a sense of disharmony. She did not know why she felt this way, but in short, this mystic realm gave her a very strange feeling. However, it was a good thing that the scenery in this secret realm was not bad. At least it would not pollute her eyes. After some thought, Leng Ruoxue moved Ning Haolan and the others out of the house. This is the secret realm? Ning Haolan and the others searched the area after they came out. Leng Ruoxue nodded and reminded, be careful, everyone. Miss. It's quite beautiful here. Suizhu said with some excitement. Her beautiful eyes looked here and there. Wretched girl, stop embarrassing yourself, alright? The scenery here is just ordinary. Lu Tao said with some disappointment, but she couldn't help but feel disgusted in her heart. No matter how good this place was, could it be compared to the young Mrs. Space? Therefore, this place was not worthy of her attention. However, there were outsiders present, so there were some things she couldn't say clearly. I know. I'm just a little surprised. Suizhu lowered her head in embarrassment, her cheeks blushing. At this time, she suddenly saw a flower she had never seen before from the corner of her eye. The flower was the size of a palm, and the petals were red. The overlapping petals looked unusually beautiful. What beautiful flowers! Suizhu exclaimed and ran forward, picking the flower and playing with it in her hand. Be careful. Leng Ruoxue, who felt that something was amiss, quickly reminded him. When she first entered this place, she had already sized up the entire place. She did not see any flowers at all, so she was very suspicious of the flowers that had suddenly appeared. However, her warning was too late. At the same time, the flower in Suizhu's hand suddenly transformed into a red snake as thick as a finger and bit Suizhu's snow-white wrist. Immediately after, a red light flashed and the red snake disappeared. Suizhu also fainted. All of this happened in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint. Within a few short seconds, everything was over. It was so fast that Leng Ruoxue and the rest could not react in time. By the time they could react, Suizhu had already fainted. Everyone rushed to Suizhu's side and helped her sit up. They looked nervously at Suizhu, whose face was getting paler and paler. They were all worried. Looking at Suizhu's appearance, they knew that she had been poisoned, but they did not know what poison it was. Miss. Is Suizhu alright? Lu Tao asked carefully as she looked at Leng Ruoxue, who was examining Suizhu. Her poison is very strange. To be honest, I don't know what kind of poison it is. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly after checking. Miss, what should we do then? Lu Tao was extremely worried. Since her young miss had said so, it meant that she definitely did not know. If even her young miss could not save Cueju, then wouldn't Cueju be? One must know that Leng Ruoxue was omnipotent in her heart. However, now that her young miss said that she had no way to cure this poison, her heart could not help but sink bit by bit. She had always treated Cueju as her younger sister. If Cueju... She did not dare to think further. Even though Leng Ruoxue was at a loss on what to do with this poison, she still gave Cueju an antidote pill. She just didn't know if the antidote pill would be able to cure Cueju's strange poison. After all, the antidote pill wasn't omnipotent. Some special poisons needed a specific antidote to be cured. Then, she moved her little red snake out of the bracelet. Little fire. Take a look at the poison in the bamboo and see if you have any way to cure it. Leng Ruoxue ordered. There were at least 1,000 types of poison in Xiaohua's body. She hoped that it could recognize the poison in Cueju's body so that she could concoct the antidote. Oh. Xiaohua nodded its little head, then climbed onto Cueju's body and sniffed it. Then, it said to Leng Ruoxue very seriously, "Girl, I don't know what kind of poison she's been poisoned with. Why don't I bite her a few times and see if I can use poison to attack poison?" Xiaohua's suggestion caused Leng Ruoxue to shake her head. Using poison to attack poison wasn't suitable for all poisons. Hence, she didn't dare to take the risk. You can't even tell what poison she's suffering from. It seems that the snake that bit Cueju is much more powerful than you. At this time, Cheng Xian looked at Xiaohua with a look of disdain and made sarcastic remarks. In fact, he had met this little guy once, but this little guy was very unfriendly to him. The moment they met, he said that he wanted to bite him and that his poison could not be cured by others. Therefore, he had taken the opportunity to take a little revenge. You demoness! What nonsense are you spouting? Do you want me to bite you? Let me tell you, it wasn't a snake that bit Cueju, because it wasn't snake venom in her body. Humph. If it's snake venom, I wouldn't be so helpless. Lil Fire roared furiously. If it was not for Leng Ruoxue holding it back, it would have rushed up to bite Cheng Xian. Dead Renyao? Cheng Xian was stunned when he heard this form of address. Although he didn't know the meaning of this word, it didn't sound like something good, so his anger rose. You damn snake. It was clearly a snake that bit the bamboo, but you said it wasn't snake venom, humph. It can't be that you're so ignorant that you can't tell. Cheng Xian retorted impolitely. F***ck. Would I not know if it's a snake or not? I'm a venomous snake ancestor, no one is more venomous than me. Lil Fire shouted back at the top of its lungs. Everyone looked at the man and the snake, who did not care about their image, and roared. They could not help but feel angry. They did not look at the place and the situation when they quarreled. Now that Cueju's life and death were unknown, they started quarreling first. Sigh. What the hell is this? All of you shut up. If you continue to argue, I'll throw you into the house. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes swept across the human and snake as she spoke coldly. The moment she said this, the human and snake instantly fell silent. Great aunt. I was wrong. Cheng Xian lowered his head and quickly admitted his mistake. Girl, I was wrong too. Lil Fire was also very perceptive as it said. It was not easy for it to come out, and it did not want to go back so quickly. They won't quarrel anymore? Leng Ruoxue raised her brows and asked indifferently. I won't. He wooed T. We're actually on very good terms. Cheng Xian said with an ingratiating smile. After he finished speaking, he even extended a hand to stroke Xiaohua's cold little head to show his friendliness. Although Lil Fire was extremely unwilling to be touched, in order to show that they had a good relationship, he could only resist the urge to bite and let Cheng Xian touch him. Remember your words. If I ever find out that your relationship is not as you say, don't blame me. Leng Ruoxue feigned anger as she warned. Great aunt. I have a very close relationship with Little Fire. In order to prove his words, Cheng Xian even specially took Little Fire from Leng Ruoxue's hands and kissed its head. Instantly, Little Fire was in a mess. F***ck. This damn transvestite actually kissed it. It wanted to vomit. He did not know if this fellow was clean or not. As long as Xiaohua thought about how it had been kissed by a man, it would be so angry that its little body would tremble. If it was not afraid that Leng Ruoxue would be angry, it would definitely teach this human a lesson. One had to know that not just anyone could kiss it. And the unlucky Cheng Xian still didn't know that because of his kiss, he had already made a little snake hate him. Leng Ruoxue saw that Cheng Xian had gone to such lengths to prove his relationship with Lil Fire, so she didn't want to argue with him. After keeping the unconscious emerald green bamboo into the bracelet and handing it over to Qing Ju, Leng Ruoxue then said to everyone, let's go. Be careful, this is just the beginning. Cueju's injury made her feel a little heavy. However, this also strengthened her idea of finding out the truth about this mystic realm. Perhaps she could cure the poison in Cueju's body by then. Everyone nodded. At the same time, they became even more vigilant. Everyone continued to move forward. Other than the flowers and grass on the side of the road, they didn't find the shadow of a human or beast. Even when the sky in the mystic realm was getting dark, they still didn't find anything. After finding a spacious area, Leng Ruoxue took out the house and placed it on the ground. Then, the group walked in. After dinner, the rest of them went to bed early. However, Leng Ruoxue pulled the demon to sit in the garden and observed every movement in the mystic realm through the light screen. Previous. The secret realm at night was quiet and peaceful. It seemed to be safer than the outside. However, no one knew what was hidden under this calm surface. Leng Ruoxue was extremely suspicious of this place. Naturally, she wouldn't believe the calm on the surface. However, she wasn't going to be on edge either. After all, no matter how dangerous it was outside, it was impossible to disturb them. The demon pulled Leng Ruoxue into his arms and smiled, "Shue. Don't be afraid, no matter what kind of dragon's den or tiger's den this is, I will protect you." With you here, I'm not afraid. Leng Ruoxue was very cooperative. Even though she believed in her ability to protect herself, she was still very happy to hear the words of the person she loved. At this moment, there was a sudden knock on the door. Leng Ruoxue and the demon looked at each other and then turned their attention to the screen. There were several small screens on the screen, each showing a different location. One of the small screens showed the image of the door. There was a middle-aged man at the entrance. He was tall and had a rough face. He gave off the feeling that he was a man of indomitable spirit. Furthermore, he looked like he wanted to stay overnight. Leng Ruoxue and the demon looked at each other when they saw this. "Freak. Do you want him to come in?" Leng Ruoxue asked for the demon's opinion to prevent him from guzzling again. "Aren't you afraid that he's an enemy?" The demon raised his eyebrows and smiled. "With you here, what am I afraid of? What's more, this is my territory. If he really does anything bad after entering here, he'll be the one to suffer," Leng Ruoxue said confidently. "Then let him in. After all, it's not easy to meet a person in this secret realm." The demon nodded. They had been searching for a whole day in the secret realm, but they had not seen a single person. Unexpectedly, at night, someone had taken the initiative to come to their door, although this person's motive was very suspicious. "Yes." Leng Ruoxue nodded. Then, with a thought, the door of the house opened. The middle-aged man who was waiting at the entrance looked at the open door and walked in without a second thought. Leng Ruoxue saw this scene through the light screen and smiled. He's quite bold to walk in like this. As the saying goes, the skilled are bold. This man's strength is not ordinary. He saw through the middle-aged man's disguise and smiled mysteriously. "What?" Leng Ruoxue looked at the demon thoughtfully. In her eyes, the middle-aged man was only at the God-King level, but the demon seemed to be quite at ease with him. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue's thoughts changed again, and the middle-aged man was moved into the garden. When he first arrived at the garden, the middle-aged man was still in a daze. However, in the blink of an eye, he regained his senses. When he saw Leng Ruoxue, he was momentarily surprised, but he quickly returned to normal. "Little girl, I didn't expect to meet you again so soon." When the middle-aged man saw Leng Ruoxue, the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. "You are the senior who lives in the trench?" Leng Ruoxue wasn't too sure, but she could clearly remember the low voice. "It's this old master." The middle-aged man nodded. "I didn't think we would be so fated with senior." After confirming this, Leng Ruoxue's heart was greatly relieved. Even though she didn't know why this senior would suddenly enter the mystic realm, she was still very happy that the first person she met here was someone she knew. "I didn't expect it either. No wonder the little girl said you have a way to protect yourself, so you have such a divine tool." The middle-aged man exclaimed in surprise. Before he asked Leng Ruoxue to stay, he had doubted the authenticity of this place. Even after he had entered, he had maintained a trace of vigilance. However, with his strength, he was confident that he could deal with anything that was amiss here. Hence, after the door opened, he walked in without hesitation. However, after seeing Leng Ruoxue, he was relieved. At the same time, he was glad that he was lucky. Otherwise, he would have to sleep in the open in this unfamiliar secret realm. "This house was given to me by the Armament Guild's great elder. Now, he and my godfather are trapped in the secret realm, so I have no choice but to enter the secret realm to find out what's going on," Leng Ruoxue explained. "So that's how it is. Little girl, you're so loyal, it's not in vain that they dote on you," the middle-aged man praised. Originally, he had a very good impression of Leng Ruoxue. Now that he heard of Leng Ruoxue's purpose in coming to the mystic realm, his impression of her improved even more. After all, with her strength, she dared to enter this unknown mystic realm. Just based on this courage alone, she was worthy of others' respect. "Senior praises me too much. In fact, the reason I dared to come here is only because I have some means of self-protection. Otherwise, with my strength, I would undoubtedly be courting death," Leng Ruoxue replied politely. "Ha ha ha. Little girl, you don't have to be so modest." Seeing how polite Leng Ruoxue was, the middle-aged man couldn't help but smile. Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but wipe away the cold sweat on her forehead. She wasn't being humble, all right? She was clearly telling the truth. However, she would not argue with this mysterious expert over such a small matter. Therefore, she changed the topic and said, "Senior, I'll arrange a room for you. You should rest early." "Good. Sorry to trouble you, little girl, but you can call me Uncle Long," the middle-aged man reminded. "Uncle Long. This way, please." After Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, she brought Uncle Long to the guest room. The next day, when Fengde and the others walked out of the room, they were surprised to find a stranger in the house. Leng Ruoxue took the initiative to introduce them to each other when she saw the surprised expressions on their faces. "Hello, Uncle Long. Fengde and the others bowed politely. Ha ha ha. No need to be so polite. Uncle Long quickly said. Then, he turned to Leng Ruoxue and said, little girl, your subordinates have good aptitudes and have great potential. Although Fengde and the others' strength was not high, he was quite optimistic about these young people. At this moment, the little dolphin ran out from the bracelet. Of course, it was the one who had strongly requested Leng Ruoxue to let it out to meet this legendary figure. Seeing a mini dolphin circling him curiously, Uncle Long's face darkened. Finally, he couldn't help but say, little guy, have you seen enough? Is there grass on my face? For you to look at it so carefully. Hearing Uncle Long's teasing, the little dolphin was greatly provoked. Was this the legendary master with a bad temper? How? How did this happen? Was there a mistake somewhere? The elders of their families didn't describe it like that. Or was it a fake? At this thought, the little dolphin suspiciously sized up Uncle Long again. Little guy, if you keep looking at me like that, I won't give your master any face. Uncle Long threatened. In other words, he was saying, if you continue to size me up, I'll teach you a lesson. When the little dolphin heard this, its suspended heart was slightly relieved. It looked like he was still that old. Senior. It was just that he was giving face to his master, so he put on such an affable appearance. After confirming, the little dolphin ran back to its master's arms, not even looking at Uncle Long. AI. Who asked Uncle Long's reputation to be so frightening? There was no one in the entire endless sea who wasn't afraid of him. After everyone was done looking around, Uncle Long turned to Leng Ruoxue and said, little girl, where do you plan to go next? We don't have any purpose, so we just go wherever we want. Leng Ruoxue answered honestly. In reality, she really did not know where to go. Yesterday, they had been wandering around the secret realm like headless flies for an entire day. It was a pity that they had not found anything. In that case, let's go together. I have a talent that can find places with people. Therefore, everyone can take fewer detours. Uncle Long explained. After all, he was very clear that Leng Ruoxue and the others had come in to look for someone. That was his purpose as well. Really? That's great. When Leng Ruoxue heard that Uncle Long had such a talent, she was overjoyed. In this secret realm, Qing Ju's abilities could not be displayed at all. Otherwise, they would not have wandered around the place yesterday. Furthermore, if Uncle Long's talent was really that useful, it would be much easier for them to find someone. Ha ha ha. Otherwise, how do you think I found you guys yesterday? Uncle Long laughed out loud. Leng Ruoxue's shock had lifted his mood. Uncle Long. I'll have to trouble you to take care of her in this secret realm. Leng Ruoxue said, trying to please him. Her words had indeed pleased Uncle Long. Ha ha ha. Good. As long as you can get me more food. Uncle Long said with a drooling face. He hadn't eaten human food for many years, and he was still brooding over the taste of that breakfast. He couldn't help but drool even when he thought about it. Uncle Long, I have a lot of food here, so you can eat as much as you want. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. Little girl, you said it yourself. Uncle Long has a huge appetite. If I really eat too much, don't be reluctant to part with me. Uncle Long said the ugly words first. He didn't eat his fill in the morning. I won't. You can eat as much as you want, Uncle Long. Leng Ruoxue promised. In reality, she didn't think that Uncle Long's appetite would be that big. However, after interacting with him for a few days, she realized that she was wrong. It turned out that Uncle Long's appetite was ridiculously huge. After the introductions, everyone chatted for a while more before they continued on their way. 3 days later. Leng Ruoxue and the rest still did not see a single person. Uncle Long. It's been 3 days, why haven't I seen anyone yet? Fengde walked to Uncle Long's side and couldn't help but ask. In the past 3 days, they had become very familiar with Uncle Long, so it was quite easy for him to ask such a question. What's wrong? You can't wait anymore? Uncle Long raised his eyebrows and smiled. A little. It's already been 3 days, and we haven't even seen a single person. There's no way to ask anyone about the situation here, sigh. Fengde sighed. Little brat. I've said it before, there are people in front of us. However, you can't teleport here, otherwise, I would have brought you there to find them long ago. Uncle Long explained patiently. Uncle Long, how much longer do we have to walk? When Lin Yuan heard this, he could not help but ask. Half a day more. I'll probably see them tonight. Uncle Long looked at the sky and estimated. Then let's hurry. Lin Yuan urged. Ha ha ha. Don't worry. They can't run. Uncle Long sensed and said with great certainty. In this secret realm, both teleportation and divine sense were useless. Therefore, unless one had the same talent as him, it was almost impossible to find a person. Moreover, he could sense that the few humans 10,000 meters away were in a tense state. They had finally found a seemingly safe place and would not leave easily. Thus, he was not in a hurry at all. However, seeing that Fengde and the others seemed to be in a hurry, he had to speed up. As Uncle Long had expected, they finally arrived at their destination in the evening. It was a small hill that was half the height of a person. At this time, there were 8 people resting there. 7 men and 1 woman among the 8 people looked extremely miserable. After seeing them, they clenched the weapons in their hands vigilantly and stared at them with an unfriendly gaze. Who are you people? The one who spoke was a young master who looked to be in his early 20s. Although he was very handsome, his disheveled appearance greatly reduced his handsomeness. Cheng Yi. What are you doing here? Cheng Xian, who was walking in the middle of Feng De and the others, said in surprise when he saw the man who spoke. Young master. You're here too. When Cheng Yi saw Cheng Xian, he felt a little upset. They were both geniuses of the Cheng family, but their positions were different. Cheng Xian was the young master of the Cheng family, while he was only one of the geniuses in the younger generation of the Cheng family. With Cheng Xian around, all his brilliance was overshadowed. Everyone only saw the dazzling young master of the Cheng family. As for him, a genius whose aptitude was no less than the young master's, almost no one paid attention to him. Therefore, ever since he was sensible, he had been jealous of Cheng Xian from the bottom of his heart. Now, they were both in the secret realm. He was in a sorry state, but the clothes on Cheng Xian's body were not even wrinkled. What was even more unacceptable to him was that he could not see Cheng Xian's strength. What did this mean? He didn't dare to think too deeply. At this time, the woman beside him couldn't help but speak. Big brother young master. I didn't expect to see you here, Xian is so happy. The woman named Xian said. Cheng Xian looked at the woman in front of him and frowned. He didn't expect to see them here. The two people talking were brother and sister, and they were cousins who were closer to him. However, he never liked to be close to them. After seeing them here, he was more unhappy. Did the old ancestor bring them here? That old man wouldn't be so brainless to bring these two burdens here, right? Cheng Xian couldn't help but think in his heart. However, when he saw the other people around Cheng Yi and his sister, he understood that they must have heard the news from somewhere and came here by themselves. The people around them were the elders of Cheng Yi's maternal grandfather, the Cao family. Young Master Cheng. Long time no see. Sensing Cheng Xian's gaze, the most powerful elder among the elders spoke. Third Elder Chao, what are you doing here? Cheng Xian asked directly. Although he had already guessed the truth, he still had to pretend to be surprised. Previous chapter. We happened to learn about the secret realm, so the clan leader sent us here to explore. But we didn't expect this place to be so dangerous. The Cao family's third elder said with a lingering fear. When he saw Cheng Xian and the people around him, his heart that had been hanging for a long time finally relaxed a little. Although the strength of the people Cheng Xian had brought was not very high, it was still better than their entire army being annihilated and becoming a commander of light. I see. Cheng Xian knew that the cunning old man wasn't telling the whole truth, but he didn't bother to expose him. Instead, he politely replied. Young Master Cheng. Are they the subordinates you brought here? The third elder of the Cao family looked at the person beside Cheng Xian and asked curiously. No. They are my friends. Cheng Xian chuckled. Big brother young master. You're the young master of the Cheng family, how can you make friends so casually? Besides, even if he wanted to make friends, he should at least make friends with people of similar strength and family background. These people are not worthy of being your friends. Hearing this, Cheng Xian immediately said in dissatisfaction. Xian don't talk nonsense. It's the young master's right to make friends with whoever he wants, we have no right to ask. When Cheng Yi heard Cheng Xian's words, his heart skipped a beat. He thought to himself, it's over. Xian's mouth is going to ruin things. In the current situation, what they needed the most was an alliance, and the other side had so many people, which was exactly what he wanted. Thus, he was very afraid that Xian's words would anger them, so before Cheng Xian could respond, he rushed to scold him. Big brother. How can we not have the right to ask? This is related to our Cheng family's face. If young Lord Big Brother makes some shady friends, it'll be our Cheng family that'll lose face. Cheng Xian heard her own brother blaming her for an outsider, and her heart was filled with dissatisfaction. You have no right to ask what kind of friends I make. As for whether or not we'll lose face for the Cheng family, it's not something that can be decided with just a few words. Cheng Xian said coldly. As he spoke, he couldn't help but steal a glance at Leng Ruoxue and the others. He knew the background of these people and knew how cruel and merciless they were. However, he wasn't afraid that Leng Ruoxue and the others would do anything to Cheng Xian in a fit of anger. Instead, he was afraid that Leng Ruoxue and the others would blame him for this. If that happened, the heavens would take pity on him. This really had nothing to do with him. He was innocent. After making sure that Leng Ruoxue and the others weren't angry at Cheng Xian's words, he finally felt at ease. However, he still felt a little guilty. After all, Cheng Xian was a member of the Cheng family. Actually, it wasn't that Leng Ruoxue and the rest weren't angry. It was just that they felt that there was no need to be calculative with a brain-damaged woman since they were in the mystic realm. After all, the mystic realm was the place they should be most concerned about. As for this brain-damaged woman, they would just let her run her own course. They didn't need to be too concerned. Young Master Cheng. Xian has always been direct, I hope you don't mind. The Cao family's third elder saw that Cheng Xian's expression was a little ugly, and he secretly glared at Cheng Xian, who didn't understand the situation, and tried to smooth things over. I know she's direct, so I can let her go no matter what she thinks. After all, we're all members of the Cheng family, how can there be overnight hatred? However, the person she mentioned just now is my friend, so I can't just ignore this. Cheng Xian said very seriously. Hearing Cheng Xian's words, Elder Chao San hurriedly said to Cheng Xian, Xian quickly apologized to young Master Cheng's friends. Third Grandpa. I didn't do anything wrong, why do you want me to apologize? Cheng Xian said with an aggrieved expression. What you said just now was very impolite, so you must apologize. Chao Sanzhong raised his face and said in an extremely displeased manner. When they first entered the secret realm, they had brought no less than 100 people with them. Although the majority of them were god kings, almost all of them had died in less than a month. This fact had given him a whole new understanding of the secret realm. As a result, he was rather excited when he saw Cheng Xian bring so many people. What did this mean? This meant that their chances of survival had increased. In this secret realm, there was no lack of experts. However, there was a lack of cannon fodder. And now, Feng De and the others had become excellent cannon fodder in his eyes. That was why he was so strict with Cheng Xian. He didn't want them to run away in anger because of Xian's rudeness. It was not easy to see a person here. I'm telling the truth. You want me to apologize? No way. Cheng Xian's eyes were slightly red, and tears were welling up in her beautiful eyes. It was as if she would be flooded with water if third elder Chao said a word to her. As the young miss of the Cheng family, she was now being reprimanded by an elder of her mother's family. To be honest, she felt very unbalanced in her heart. However, who asked her mother to have a low status in the family? They had to rely on the power of their mother's family to stand firm in the Cheng family. This decided that they had to look at the face of their maternal family sometimes, even if they were from the Cheng family. As for their maternal ancestor, the Cao family, although it was not ranked among the 8 great divine regions, it could still be considered a top-tier family in the divine realm. Furthermore, it had been passed down for many years. As a result, its status in the divine realm was only second to the 8 great divine regions. The siblings relied on the maternal family in many ways. That was why the elders of the maternal family dared to reprimand her in front of outsiders. This fact also made her quite angry. Seeing Cheng Xian's stubbornness, third elder Chao had no choice but to send a voice transmission to Cheng Xian. He explained the relationship between the two parties and asked her to put the overall situation first. After Cheng Xian heard third elder Chao's explanation, she unwillingly lowered her noble head. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being impolite just now. Cheng Xian's face was slightly red as she said in embarrassment. She was indeed a young lady from an aristocratic family. She was very flexible and could bow and stretch. When she apologized, she looked very sincere. However, the flash of resentment in her eyes was still caught by Leng Ruoxue, who was watching coldly from the side. AI. It seemed that the acting skills of the young masters and young ladies of the big families were extraordinary. It was a pity that there were no Oscar awards in the divine realm. Otherwise, she would definitely award the best actor and best actress to them. With such acting skills, it would be a waste if they were not stars. Leng Ruoxue secretly thought to herself, but her beautiful eyes were sizing up the Cheng siblings. They had some similarities with Cheng Xian in terms of appearance. If Cheng Yi had not been in such a sorry state, he would have been an elegant young master. As for Miss Cheng, she was as beautiful as a flower and could cause the downfall of a city. Coupled with her sorry appearance, it would make men cherish her more. However, the men around her who did not know how to be tender to women were exceptions. As she thought of this, her beautiful eyes turned to Ning Haolan, who was hidden among the crowd. She thought to herself, this guy seems to be a man who knows how to take care of women. I just don't know if this Miss Cheng is his type. Sensing Leng Ruoxue's gaze, Ning Haolan broke out in a cold sweat. What was this woman trying to do by sizing him up? He was so scared. Just as Ning Haolan's heart was in a mess, Cheng Xian saw that her apology didn't get a response from the other party, and she became even more furious. These people really didn't know what was good for them. The dignified Miss Cheng apologized to them, but they completely ignored her. This made her feel like she had lost face, and the anger in her heart slowly brewed and burned. I'm sorry. I was being rude just now. Cheng Xian suppressed her anger and repeated. It doesn't matter. We can understand that Miss Cheng is doing this for young Master Cheng's sake. After all, it's really unfair for us to befriend young Master Cheng with our status. Seeing that no one wanted to pay attention to this Miss Cheng, Leng Ruoxue could only reply with kindness. Leng Ruoxue's words made Cheng Xian break out in cold sweat. When Cheng Xian heard Leng Ruoxue's reply, she felt a sense of relief in her heart. The woman who spoke seemed to know her place. She liked this kind of woman. However, when she saw Leng Ruoxue's face, she did not like her that much. Damn it! How could this woman be so beautiful? And the man beside her was simply a match made in heaven with her. The two of them stood together so well matched and extremely eye-catching. However, looking at their clothes, she also knew that they were not from a top family. With this thought in mind, her heart felt a little more balanced. Moreover, she found another familiar face among them. Brother Lan. It's really you. Cheng Xian ignored Leng Ruoxue's words as she looked at Ning Haolan in disbelief. Her beautiful cheeks were a little pink as she lowered her head shyly. In fact, she was actually comparing Ning Haolan to the demonic man she had seen earlier. Brother Lan was the young master of the Ning family, the future head of the family. His future was limitless, and that devilish man definitely could not compare to Brother Lan in terms of status and strength. The only advantage he had over Brother Lan was that beautiful face that was unforgettable. However, no matter how beautiful a man was, if he did not have the corresponding strength and status to add color, he was just a vase. And what was the use of having such a man? Comparing the two, the scales in her heart naturally leaned towards Ning Haolan. As for that woman, other than being more beautiful than her strength and family background were definitely not comparable to hers. After thinking about it this way, her jealousy towards Leng Ruoxue faded. After all, she valued a man's strength and status more because it meant that she would have the chance to share this honor. As she thought about it, the smile on her face became more and more charming. The way she looked at Ning Haolan became more and more affectionate. When Leng Ruoxue saw her like this, she knew that she had fallen for Ning Haolan. It was still all right. Leng Ruoxue heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he didn't have any ideas about the evildoer. As for which man Cheng Xian had taken a fancy to, that was none of her business. Leng Ruoxue was relieved, but Ning Haolan was conflicted. He knew that his status was an irresistible attraction to some women. However, this Cheng Xian's direct and unconcealed gaze on him still caused him to feel an indescribable irritation. Although there were many women who were interested in him, it was rare for her to be so direct. However, because she was a member of the Cheng family, Ning Haolan had to give the Cheng family some face even if he was angry. Seeing Ning Haolan remain silent after hearing her words, Cheng Xian felt a little upset. However, she knew that the young master of the Ning family never liked to talk, so she didn't mind too much. After all, in her eyes, women should take the initiative. Wasn't there a saying that went, take the initiative? There was a thin veil between a woman and a man, and since there was only one veil, she had to break it no matter what. At this thought, she walked over to Ning Haolan's side, her smile as bright as a spring flower, and said gently, Brother Lan. It's so good to meet you here. With that, she lowered her head shyly, not daring to look at Ning Haolan. Seeing her like this, Cheng Xian was full of disdain. Stop pretending. It's not like Haolan didn't know what she was. In fact, the young masters of the 8 great divine regions had heard about the character of the young ladies of each family. After all, one of them could become the marriage partner of the family in the future. Therefore, when they were very young, people would gradually report the situation of the young ladies of each family to them. As for those daughters from rich families, although many of them were good at acting, even good actors would reveal their flaws sometimes. Therefore, it was not easy for those young ladies to hide their true nature. As for this Cheng Xian, she was one of the most outstanding in acting. On the outside, she appeared to be a dignified and virtuous woman, well-behaved and cute, but in reality, she was quite overbearing in private. Moreover, she was a woman with a strong desire for power and a strong sense of vanity. However, she had probably suffered a great shock in the secret realm, so she had almost exposed her true nature just now. But no matter how she tried to hide it, it was useless. This was because Haolan would never like her. What a coincidence. The corner of Ning Haolan's mouth twitched slightly as a form of greeting. Yup. Brother Lan. It's better to meet by chance than to invite you. Since we've met, it's fate. Let's go together in the future. Cheng Xian said passionately. At this moment, there was only Ning Haolan in her heart and in her eyes. No one else was worthy of her attention, including Cheng Xian. Miss Cheng. I'm here with my friend. Ning Haolan said in a soft voice. He was trying to say, I can't leave my friend behind to be with you. However, Cheng Xian wouldn't be able to read between the lines. In other words, even if she did, she would ignore it. It doesn't matter. Since we're fated to meet, we can travel together. Without waiting for Cheng Xian to speak, the third elder of the Cao family spoke first. Furthermore, his words were a statement and not a question. It was clear that he didn't want to give Leng Ruoxue and the others a chance to reject. After all, cannon fodder was hard to come by. When Ning Haolan heard this, he suppressed his displeasure and looked at Leng Ruoxue and the others. When he saw Leng Ruoxue nod, he said, all right then. Since third elder Chao has graciously invited us, we'll respectfully accept. However, if we find any treasures in the secret plane, how are we going to split them among so many of us? Then, Ning Haolan changed the topic and revealed the fact that the third elder of the Cao family had deliberately ignored. Naturally, it will be distributed according to contribution. The Cao family's third elder said after thinking for a moment. The reason why he said this was because he had too few people on his side. If it was distributed according to the number of people, his side would definitely suffer a loss. If it was distributed according to the contribution, his strength was clearly above theirs. They had already agreed on the distribution method in advance, so when it was really time to distribute it, presumably they would not be able to say anything. Therefore, the third elder of the Cao family, who thought that his plan was flawless, suggested this fair distribution method. When Leng Ruoxue heard the words of the Cao family's third elder, she chuckled and said, this distribution method is very fair. Let's do it this way. In fact, she didn't think that she would be able to find anything good here. Hee hee. I still don't know young lady's name. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue had made the final decision and that no one else had objected, the Cao family's third elder was suspicious. Did this woman's words carry so much weight? He was surprised that young Master Ning and young Master Cheng didn't have any objections. My surname is Leng. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Cold? Upon hearing this surname, Elder Chao San racked his brain but still could not think of any top family in the divinity with the surname Leng. You are reading on our content copy site. Please copy and search this link / Our Leng clan has yet to establish a clan in the divinity. Leng Ruoxue explained when she saw the doubt in third elder Chao's eyes. Oh. Leng Ruoxue's words caused third elder Chao's enthusiasm towards her to drop. He had originally thought that since she was close to young Master Ning and young Master Cheng, she was also a young lady from some top family. Who knew that he was actually a rogue cultivator who didn't even have a family? But this was good too. People without a family background were easy to mess with, right? The CAO family's third elder saw that Leng Ruoxue and the others were of no value to him, so he treated them coldly and turned to Ning Haolan instead. He walked to Ning Haolan's side and started chatting with him with a smile on his face. Leng Ruoxue and the others saw this and tactfully walked to a corner. They each found a seat and sat down. Grape and the others even took out some food to prepare for dinner. Miss. This whatever third elder Chow is really looking down on people. Fengde said indignantly. Isn't this just right? I don't intend to have any deep friendship with them. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Hee hee. This little girl is still the most open-minded one, kid. You haven't trained enough. One must know that no matter where one was, there would always be people with eyes on top of their heads, so it was better to stay calm. Besides, these people aren't worth your time. Uncle Long said earnestly. In fact, other than being able to find out where there were people here, he was also very talented in recognizing people. Thus, he only needed a glance to know that he could only make use of these people from the CAO family. Family. I'm very calm, and I don't want to make friends with them. I just think that this person is a little too realistic. Once they heard that we didn't have a family, they ignored us. Fengde was a little speechless. He had seen many people in his life, but this was the first time he had seen such a realistic person. In the divinity, family is very important. If a cultivator without any background wants to stand out, he must have someone to rely on. Otherwise, why do you think so many experts want to rely on a more powerful top force? It's precisely because those powers can provide them with even better resources that many experts would rather be a guest minister in a top clan than wander around the divine realm alone. Furthermore, the greatest benefit of having an attachment is that it will make the enemy forget about them. Uncle Long said with a smile. Oh. What if the enemy is so powerful that even the family they are attached to is afraid of them? Fengde asked curiously. Hearing Feng Die's question, Uncle Long was stunned. Not many people would be stupid enough to make such an enemy. If he really did, it could only be considered his bad luck. Under such circumstances, the family could only choose to sacrifice him. Then aren't the people who are sacrificed very pitiful? Fengde said with a hint of sympathy. That can't be helped. Even if the one who got into this trouble was a direct clansman, there's no room for discussion about the sacrifice, let alone a guest attached to his own family. Uncle Long sighed. This was the tragedy of a big family. If we get into big trouble, my lady will never choose to sacrifice us. Fengde said with certainty after hearing what Uncle Long said. How many people do you think are like this little girl in this world? Uncle Long asked, a little speechless. After interacting with them for a few days, he had a basic understanding of these people and was also very clear of Leng Ruoxue's position in the hearts of her subordinates. However, that little girl was indeed a person worthy of trust, and his impression of Leng Ruoxue was also very good. Hee hee. There were only a few. Moreover, when our forces grow stronger in the future, only hierarch-level cultivators can be our guest elders. We don't even want a divine emperor. Fengde said happily. Reverend God? Uncle Long's eyes widened as he laughed and scolded, you really dare to think. The Reverend God-level cultivators in the divine world, including humans and magical beasts, are less than 100 people. Moreover, all the major forces regard Reverend God-level cultivators as their clan treasures. Do you think a Reverend God-level cultivator would want to be a guest? Even in the 8 great divine domains and the 4 great royal families of the magical beasts, hierarch-level and hierarch-level divine beasts are all ancestor-level divine beasts. Which family do you think would let their own ancestor be a guest minister? Feng Die's whimsical thinking made Uncle Long feel very helpless. However, he quite admired this little guy's courage to think like this. Thinking about things that others didn't dare to think about was also a kind of courage. Are there any reverent gods in the divine realm? Leng Ruoxue suddenly asked after hearing what Uncle Long had to say. The so-called reclusive hierarch was an expert who kept a low profile and was not known to the public. Even if he had broken through, he had not told the world. There are many low-profile and mysterious forces in the divine world, and the hierarch gods of those forces are almost unknown to the public. Even the people of those forces are very low-profile, but their reputation is not small. And these forces, whose details are unknown, are often the ones you can't offend the most. Uncle Long said seriously. Little girl. When walking in the divine world, the most important thing is to endure. Do not offend people easily. Even if you have to provoke them, do not leave behind any evidence. You must eliminate the roots, or else there will be endless trouble in the future. Uncle Long added. Leng Ruoxue nodded. At this moment, the food for the grapes was almost done. The fragrance quickly attracted the attention of the third elder and the rest. Elder Chao San squinted his eyes as a glint flashed across them. He had not expected that these people would have such fresh food in their hands. It was really infuriating to compare. Before they entered the secret realm, because they had fantasized too much about this place, they had not brought any other food except for some dry food. They had originally thought that if they were hungry, they could at least get some beast meat to eat. In the end, they did not even see the shadow of a beast. They had been here for almost a month, and they had eaten a lot of dry food for several days. Fortunately, with their cultivation, they would not feel hungry even if they did not eat. However, they had cultivated from ordinary people after all. Therefore, food was an indispensable thing for them. Although they did not eat it every day, they would occasionally satisfy their craving for food. The dry rations that they had brought with them were not enough to pique their interest. However, the food that these people had prepared had attracted their cravings. The smell alone was enough to make them drool. Even if they were at home, they would not be able to make such delicious food. At the same time, Elder Chao San walked towards Leng Ruoxue and the rest and sat down beside them. He then said, "What did you make? It smells so good. You are reading on our... It's just some simple food, it's not worth mentioning," Leng Ruoxue chuckled. To be able to make such simple food so delicious, his skills are not ordinary. Elder Chao San praised, but his eyes were fixed on the pot in Green Peach's hand. Third Elder Chao has spoken too much. Let's use some together. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. This old man must have been hungry for a long time. His eyes were actually green with greed when he saw food. She wondered if they would snatch it from her if she did not take the initiative to invite them to eat. Hee. Then we won't be polite. After Elder Chao San finished speaking, he actually took the initiative to pick up the bowl of green peach and filled it up for himself. When the other members of the CAO family saw this, they didn't stand on ceremony either because the taste of the food was really too tempting. When Lu Tao saw that they did not treat her as an outsider, her heart was burning with anger. However, when she received Leng Ruoxue's comforting gaze, she forcibly suppressed it. However, she couldn't understand why her young miss would tolerate them so much. These people clearly looked down on them and now they were here to snatch their food without caring about their face. They were really too shameless. When she thought of this, her face became serious. After finishing their dinner with an unpleasant expression, Lu Tao and the rest were preparing to set up their tents to rest. However, they saw Leng Ruoxue taking out a house and placing it on the empty ground. Instantly, everyone became nervous. What's wrong with Miss? Why did he take out the house when there were outsiders? Feng De and the others were dumbfounded. Why was the young miss so high profile? This wasn't like the young miss. At this moment, everyone's hearts were in turmoil. However, Uncle Long was very calm. When he saw Leng Ruoxue take out the house, he smiled in admiration and walked straight in. Elder Chao San and the others were equally dumbfounded. As soon as the house appeared, they were all stunned. Their mouths were half open, and they didn't react for a long time. When they came back to their senses, they all rubbed their eyes in unison, afraid that everything in front of them was an illusion. However, after confirming it, they believed that the house in front of them was real. After confirming the authenticity of the house, the experienced and knowledgeable Elder Chao San suddenly recalled that there seemed to be a kind of legendary spatial divine artifact that could allow people to live in the shape of a house. However, it was said that the materials used to refine this divine artifact were extremely difficult to find. Moreover, in this world, the craftsmen who could refine spatial divine artifacts that could allow people to live in were as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. So, who had refined this house? His heart was filled with question marks. For a moment, the CAO family's third elder's heart was filled with all sorts of feelings. The sourness in his heart rose uncontrollably from the bottom of his heart. He was jealous. Moreover, he was extremely jealous. A little girl without any status like her actually possessed a spatial type divine artifact that could make people in the divine realm go crazy for. This was truly too inconceivable. What right did she have? The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. The third elder of the CAO family was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. If this divine tool was owned by the young master of the Cheng family or the young master of the Ning family, perhaps he would feel more balanced in his heart. After all, their status was there. It wasn't strange to have something good. However, such a divine weapon had actually fallen into the hands of a little girl with low strength, no status, and no status. This made him feel extremely unbalanced in his heart. In fact, from his point of view, if this divine weapon could be owned by him, the effect it could display would definitely be much greater than if it was in Leng Ruoxue's hands. Furthermore, if their Chao family had this spatial type divine weapon, their status in the divinity would probably be even higher. It was not impossible for them to become the ninth great divine realm, even in this secret realm. If they had that divine artifact in their hands, they would be like tigers that had grown wings, and their chances of survival in the secret realm would also greatly increase. The many benefits made third elder Chao's heart move. Thinking of this, his heart was filled with greed. Young Lady Leng, if I'm not wrong, this house should be the legendary spatial type divine artifact, right? The CAO family's third elder deliberately put on a surprised expression and asked very cautiously. Third elder Chao has a good eye, not bad. This is the legendary spatial artifact that can allow people to live in it. Leng Ruoxue replied with a smile. Her words caused the few people from the CAO family who had just reacted to the situation to widen their eyes in shock. After all, if it wasn't for the fact that the third elder had told them the truth, they wouldn't have dared to think in that direction. May I ask Miss Leng, how did you get this divine artifact? Elder Chao San asked curiously. Even though he knew that his question was a little abrupt, he could not help but ask. I spent a large amount of money to ask the craftsman from the Craftsman's Guild to help me refine it. For this divine artifact I went bankrupt. Leng Ruoxue complained. If I can get such a divine weapon by going bankrupt, it's worth it. Third elder Chao said enviously. Even if the CAO family were to go bankrupt, they would not be able to obtain all the materials needed to refine this divine weapon. When he thought of this, he became even more jealous of Leng Ruoxue. Why was her luck so good? However, her good luck is also coming to an end, Elder Chao San thought to himself hatefully. Third elder Chao, we plan to sleep inside today. As for you, if you are interested, you can also come in and sleep. Leng Ruoxue invited him enthusiastically. Then I'll have to thank Miss Leng. Elder Chao San thought for a moment and agreed. Even though there was a certain risk in entering an own divine weapon, they had been on high alert for a while. Everyone was on edge and their minds were in a state of tension. This was extremely disadvantageous to them who were in the secret realm. Hence, they really needed a good rest. Moreover, with Cheng Xian around, he believed that Leng Ruoxue would not dare to harm them even if she gave Cheng Xian face. Please. Feng De, arrange rooms for Elder Chao San and the others. Leng Ruoxue ordered. Yes. Feng De replied unwillingly. Then, he said to Elder Chao San and the others, Third Elder Chao. I'll take you to the guest room. Thank you for your trouble. Elder Chao San cupped his hands in a slight bow. As she watched the Cao family and the Cheng family siblings leave, Lu Tao pouted and asked in confusion, Miss. Why did you take out the house and let them move in? I think that whatever third elder clearly doesn't have good intentions. When he sees this house, he might even be tempted by the money. She was very worried. What are you afraid of? I'm the owner of this house, and since they've moved in, they naturally have to listen to my arrangements. Leng Ruoxue said disapprovingly. Go and rest. The most important thing is to take care of your spirit. Leng Ruoxue continued. After she finished speaking, she pulled the evildoer back to her room. In the room, the evildoer hugged Leng Ruoxue and chuckled, Shue, aren't you afraid that they'll have bad intentions and want to take this house for themselves? Even if they have the intention, they have to have the ability. Leng Ruoxue said with confidence. Actually, she was willing to let those people stay here not because she was kind, but because she felt that it was not easy to meet someone in this mystic realm. Moreover, she had yet to figure out the true appearance of this mystic realm, and she had not found her godfather and the rest. Hence, if she could get along with these people, it was not impossible to temporarily work together with them. Now, it all depended on whether these people could withstand her test. While Leng Ruoxue and the demon were chatting, Cheng Xian, who was in the guest room, could not calm down. After Cheng Xian had washed up, she started pacing back and forth in the guest room. Her heart couldn't calm down no matter what, and her jealousy towards Leng Ruoxue had been reignited. What right did that woman have to possess such a divine weapon? Looking at the decorations in the guest room, all of them were carefully selected. The decorations inside were not inferior to those in her boudoir. Just the guest room alone was so exquisite, one could imagine how luxurious the master room would be. The more she thought about it, the more she couldn't control the jealousy in her heart. Actually, she was wrong. The decorations in Leng Ruoxue's master's room were not as good as the guest room. Leng Ruoxue had always liked a simple and clear style. Hence, the decorations in her room were pitifully few. It was just that they were more exquisite in comparison. However, one's jealousy could not be controlled. At this moment, Cheng Xian's heart was being devoured by the poison known as jealousy. No matter how she thought about it, she felt that Leng Ruoxue, that lowly woman, was not worthy of possessing this divine weapon. Only she, a direct descendant of the Cheng family, had the right to possess such a divine weapon. Although she and the third elder of the Cao family had not discussed it, the two of them had coveted this house at the same time, and her desire seemed to be stronger. Thinking of this, she turned around and left the room, pushing open the door next door. The person in the room next door was her brother. Seeing Cheng Xian enter uninvited, Cheng Yi, who was currently wearing his clothes and had his upper body bare, revealed an uncomfortable expression. Xian why didn't you knock before you came in? Cheng Yi hastily put on his clothes and said unhappily. Big brother. I'm your little sister, what are you being shy about? Cheng Xian looked at her brother's expression and said disapprovingly. Then you should knock. Cheng Yi said, leaving no room for discussion. All right. Big brother, I was wrong. Cheng Xian didn't want to anger her brother over such a small matter, so she hurriedly apologized. Following that, she very seriously said, I have something important to discuss with you. What is it? Seeing Cheng Xian's serious expression, Cheng Yi asked in confusion. Big brother. What do you think of this divine artifact? Cheng Xian was afraid that the walls had ears, so she directly transmitted her voice. Of course it's good. This is a legendary spatial divine weapon. Not everyone can possess it. Cheng Yi replied. What if this divine artifact can belong to us? Cheng Xian carefully probed. She didn't know if her brother would agree with her idea, but she knew that very few people could resist the temptation of such a divine weapon. You want to buy it from Miss Leng? Cheng Yi looked at his sister and asked. This was something that she had to go bankrupt to get. He didn't think that she would sell it. Buy? I'm afraid we can't afford it. Cheng Xian laughed evilly. She thought to herself, this brother of mine is really honest at times. He actually thought of buying it. Even if he wanted to buy it, where would they find so much money? Then how do you want to get it? Cheng Yi's face was full of question marks. As long as that woman surnamed Leng dies, her divine weapon will become ownerless. At that time, won't it belong to us? Cheng Xian said. You think too easily. She has so many people around her, do you think you can kill her? Cheng Xian's words made Cheng Yi speechless. Although he was also somewhat envious of that divine tool, he knew his own limits and would not delude himself for such a ridiculous thing. In addition, he had always been a cautious person, so although he was envious of that divine tool, he had never thought of taking it for himself. Thus, his little sister's thoughts made him feel quite uneasy. The people around her aren't very strong, so it's easy to deal with them. However, I've never thought of killing her personally. Cheng Xian laughed evilly. With Brotherland here, how could she possibly let him see her dark side? In front of Brother Lan, she would always be the well-behaved and cute Xian. Then what do you want? Cheng Yi was shocked and asked nervously. The monsters in this secret realm should like them a lot. Cheng Xian laughed evilly as she spoke her thoughts. You're crazy. If we really attract those monsters here, we'll lose our lives. Cheng Xian's crazy thoughts caused Cheng Yi's heart to beat wildly, and his face turned as black as ink. Even now, he still had a lingering fear of those monsters. He couldn't even hide from them. His little sister actually wanted to use them to kill Leng Ruoxue and the rest. How was this possible? How could those mindless monsters that only knew how to kill listen to his sister? This was simply wishful thinking. We won't. As long as those monsters kill Leng Ruoxue first, this house will belong to me. Once it recognizes its master, we'll be safe hiding inside. Cheng Xian said confidently. Can you guarantee that the monsters will kill them first? Cheng Yi suppressed his anger and asked. His sister's idea was too stupid. He would never agree to it no matter what. After all, they had already experienced the dangers of this mystery realm. Therefore, what they needed the most now was allies, and not greed at the sight of wealth. If they could not even keep their lives, what was the use of obtaining many treasures? Only a fool would do something like that. Although I'm not 100% sure, we can think of a way. Cheng Xian said. Xian I won't allow you to have any ideas about this divine weapon. In this secret realm, the first thing we have to do is to ensure our survival. Therefore, we must get along well with them. Only then will our chances of survival increase greatly. After listening to Cheng Xian's words, Cheng Yi sternly warned her. Scheming against an ally and scheming at the sight of wealth was an extremely unwise move in this dangerous secret realm, so he would not allow Cheng Xian to have such thoughts. Alright. I'll just give up. Xian It's also a good thing for us that Miss Leng has this divine weapon. At least, we don't have to be so afraid when we're with them, and our chances of survival have increased. Therefore, we must treat them as allies and work together in this secret realm. I know, Cheng Xian nodded her head. Of course she understood this logic. However, in her heart, she felt that if the divine weapon was in her hands, their chances of survival would be higher. You are reading on our However, since her brother did not support her idea, she could only bury this idea in her heart for the time being. Both parties seemed to be living in harmony for a few days. During the day, they searched for clues in the secret realm, and at night, they all went into their rooms to recuperate. Just like that, half a month's time passed quickly. Although Third Elder Chow had only lived in the house for half a month, the more he knew about the house, the deeper his desire for it grew. However, he did not dare to show it or reveal his thoughts to anyone. However, his attitude towards Fengde and the others was much friendlier. Every day, he would go to Fengde and the others and chat with them enthusiastically. He would inquire about the other party's news without batting an eyelid. But after a few days, he was disappointed to find out that he didn't get any useful information. On the contrary, he let the other party get a lot of information. Moreover, in order to win their trust, he almost told them about the CAO family's background. This fact made him extremely depressed, but at the same time, he became more courageous. Fengde and the others enjoyed Elder Chow's enthusiasm. They answered all his questions, but unfortunately, they did not answer his questions. It was a valley in the shape of a dot. On all four sides, there were small mountains that were half the height of a person. In the middle, there was a flat and deep valley that was about 2 meters deep. The valley was full of unknown flowers and plants, and the scenery was particularly beautiful. Fengde and the others were amazed, but no one planned to go into the valley first. However, Cheng Xian and the others were somewhat eager to try. Let's go down and take a look. Cheng Xian said impatiently. Miss Cheng, we don't even know if this valley is safe, and you dare to go down? Fengde glanced at Cheng Xian from the corner of his eyes as he spoke with a hint of ridicule. There's no one around this valley. What's the point of going down to take a look? Cheng Xian said in a somewhat unconvinced manner. On the way here, these damned guys had always looked at her as if she was an idiot. Now, they were even directly mocking her. This was truly preposterous. Humph. If it wasn't for that divine artifact, would she, a young lady of the Cheng family's direct line, need to put up with their attitude? She thought indignantly in her heart, and the anger in her heart grew. If you want to go down, then go down. Fengde said lightly. He had no intention of stopping her. You guys aren't going down? Cheng Xian narrowed her eyes and asked in a slightly displeased tone. We didn't say we were going down. Fengde said matter-of-factly. I didn't expect you to be so timid. Cheng Xian roared in anger. These people didn't want to go down, but they were encouraging her to go down. What was the meaning of this? Did he want her to be cannon fodder? She hated it in her heart. At this time, she had long forgotten that she was the one who wanted to go down and pushed all the blame on Fengde. No choice. Who asked us to be weak? Fengde said disapprovingly. You bunch of cowards. Cheng Xian was so angry that she clenched her teeth. In her eyes, this Fengde guy was just a piece of meat with no end in sight. Although she hated him to death, she couldn't do anything to him. This fact made her quite depressed. Hee. It's human nature to be afraid of death, and we're no exception. At this moment, Lin Yuan also said. Miss Cheng, if you want to go down, then hurry up. It's a good opportunity for us to explore the way. Lin Yuan glanced at Cheng Xian whose expression was somewhat unkind from anger, and urged her to add fuel to the fire. You guys. Cheng Xian was so angry that her face turned from white to red, then from red to black. The color kept changing like a palette. She took a few deep breaths and turned her gaze to Leng Ruoxue. Young Miss Leng, your subordinates are really useless. They're actually so timid. What's the use of having them? Cheng Xian's words definitely had the suspicion of sowing discord. However, Leng Ruoxue only smiled faintly after hearing this and said, then what about what Miss Cheng said? What should I do with them? Humph. If they were my subordinates, I would have abandoned them long ago. Such timid people who don't listen to orders don't deserve to stay by my side. Cheng Xian said with a face full of pride. Her head was held high like an arrogant peacock, so insufferably arrogant. I admit that they're timid, but I can't agree with you if you say that they don't listen to orders. When have they ever disobeyed orders? Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was filled with question marks. They don't even dare to go to the bottom of the valley. Aren't they disobeying orders? Leng Ruoxue's words stunned Cheng Xian, and she couldn't help but ask. You are reading on our content copy site, please copy and search this link /39 HP. But I didn't plan to let them go down. Leng Ruoxue said with a faint smile. She was thinking in her heart, you're the one who wants them to go down, but you're not anyone to them. Why should they listen to your arrangements? Cheng Xian was ruthlessly choked by Leng Ruoxue's words. After a long while, she finally recovered and said, we're already here. How can we not go down and take a look? What if there's a fortuitous encounter? In fact, when she said this, she was not very confident, but she would not give up if she did not go down to take a look. What if something good really happened? Wouldn't it be a pity to miss it? Miss Cheng. We're not here to sightsee, nor for any strange encounters, so if you're interested in this valley, feel free to go down. We won't go down, we'll wait for you here. Leng Ruoxue said calmly, not at all moved by Cheng Xian's words. In fact, she didn't want to go down for a reason. Uncle Long had told her that there were people in the valley, but there were two different auras. One was human, and Uncle Long wasn't sure about the other. The other aura was intermittent and very strange. According to their guesses, it should be the monster that Cheng Xian and the others were talking about. Therefore, she didn't want to take risks. After all, the terrain of the valley was very unfavorable to them. If this was the nest of those monsters, they would be walking right into a trap. Thus, she had decided to wait and see. However, Cheng Xian had spared no effort in wanting to go down and take a look. This made her suspicious of Cheng Xian's motives. We'll be waiting for you here. After Fengde and the rest heard Leng Ruoxue's words, they quickly chimed in. You bunch of cowards, if I find anything good after I go down, don't you dare fight with me for it. Cheng Xian's pretty face was red with anger as she spoke with a look of disdain. Don't worry, Miss Cheng. Even if you find something good, we won't fight for it. I promise you on my honor. But if you're in danger, don't expect us to go down and save you. Leng Ruoxue said very seriously. She was used to saying the ugly words first. All right. Cheng Xian nodded. Just as she was about to go down, she was stopped by Cheng Yi. Xian Don't be willful. You're also not allowed to go down. Cheng Yi's face darkened as he spoke in an obviously unhappy tone. There were so many of them. If they all went down together, it would be fine. At least, they could look out for each other. However, Leng Ruoxue and the others had no intention of going down to the bottom. In that case, even if they all went down with Xian there would only be 8 of them. If there were monsters in the valley, the 8 of them would not even be enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. Besides, Third Grandpa had not said anything, so his meaning was very clear. He could not let Xian take the risk. Big brother. Don't stop me, or you'll go down with me. Cheng Xian requested. Xian I won't go down, and I won't allow you to go down. Cheng Yi said stubbornly. I must go down. Down. Cheng Xian's stubbornness was starting to show. She turned her head and saw Ning Haolan in the crowd. With a face full of anticipation, she asked, Brother Lan. Are you willing to go down with me to take a look? As she spoke, she stared unblinkingly at Ning Haolan. Her beautiful eyes sparkled with excitement and other complicated emotions. Cheng Xian stared unblinkingly at Ning Haolan. At the same time, Fengde and the others turned to look at him in unison, waiting for his reply. Miss Cheng. I'm not interested in the situation in this valley. I'm sorry, I can't go down with you. Ning Haolan said with a smile. Brother Lan. Even you don't want to accompany me? Cheng Xian's face was filled with resentment and disappointment. Her sparkling eyes immediately lost their luster and became dull. Leng Ruoxue was speechless at Cheng Xian's words. She thought to herself, young Master Ning has never accompanied you, okay? Moreover, from the way she spoke, it seemed like Ning Haolan was a heartless man. If it wasn't for the fact that they knew Cheng Xian was the one who was in love with him, those who didn't know the truth would have misunderstood Ning Haolan. In truth, just from the way they addressed each other, one could already tell something was wrong. However, most people would always have preconceived notions, pity for the fairer sex, and sympathize with the weak. As such, if this was outside, the one who would suffer in silence would definitely be Ning Haolan. Hence, at this moment, Leng Ruoxue felt a little sympathetic towards him. Weakness was a woman's most terrifying weapon, even if this woman was completely pretending. Miss Cheng. Your words are so ambiguous. It will cause a misunderstanding. Feng De, who couldn't stand it, said indignantly. What does it have to do with you? Feng De's words caused Cheng Xian's reaction to be extremely intense. Her face turned green and black, and her angry face was somewhat distorted. Her heart was filled with hatred. It must be because these people were not willing to go down, so Brother Lan was not willing to go down. Otherwise, why would Brother Lan not accompany her? At the thought of this, she directed all her anger towards Leng Ruoxue and the rest. Her jealousy and hatred towards Leng Ruoxue grew. Jealousy was like a venomous snake, devouring the darkness in her heart. Cheng Xian sneered as she looked at Leng Ruoxue. A deep hatred flashed in her eyes, and then she jumped into the valley without any hesitation. Seeing Cheng Xian leave, the worried Cheng Yi also wanted to follow, but he backed out because of a single sentence from Cheng Xian. What a deep sibling love. Are you sure you want to go down? Cheng Xian's words caused Cheng Yi, who was about to descend into the valley, to stop in his tracks. Of course, he did not want to go down, but how could he not care about Xian? When he thought of the countless reminders and instructions his mother, who loved Xian dearly, had given him, he could not completely harden his heart, even though he sometimes hated this little sister who liked to cause trouble. Unable to make up his mind, Cheng Yi turned to look at Third Elder Chao, only to see the look of disapproval on his face. He was shocked. He knew that Third Elder Chao did not agree with his idea. In an instant, his thoughts of going to the bottom of the valley disappeared. It wasn't that he didn't care about Xian's life, but rather, he needed the Cao family to stand behind him more. Therefore, he couldn't make Third Grandpa unhappy. After all, Third Grandpa had a very high status in the Cao family. What do we do now? Cheng Yi, who had calmed down, said shyly. Of course we're waiting for Xian to come up. Are we supposed to go down and invite her? Cheng Xian said with a smile. However, as soon as he finished speaking, everyone heard an ear-piercing scream from the valley. It was Cheng Xian's voice. Arg! Help me! The voice was very loud and trembling, making everyone's hair stand on end. Something happened to Xian. Cheng Yi's expression changed and he said nervously. However, Leng Ruoxue and the rest did not respond to his words. Most of them had turned their heads to the other side, while some looked up at the sky, not looking at him. Something happened to Xian. Cheng Yi said again, feeling even more anxious. After all, she was his sister. Even though he did not go down with her, it was impossible for him not to be worried. However, Leng Ruoxue and the rest did not make any further moves. Hearing the shrieking, he did not dare to go down alone. Hence, he could only stare at Leng Ruoxue and the rest anxiously. After a moment of silence, Leng Ruoxue slowly opened her mouth. You are reading on our content copy site. Please copy and search this link /39HPCN6J to support us. Third Elder Chao, what are your plans? Leng Ruoxue asked in a carefree manner. Does young lady Leng have any good ideas? Elder Chao San asked instead of answering. If you don't go down to save her, I can guarantee your safety. But if you care about your family and insist on going down, then I can't do anything. Leng Ruoxue said honestly. Miss Leng and the others don't plan to go down? Elder Chao San, who understood Leng Ruoxue's meaning, asked unhappily. The situation in the valley is unclear, and our strength is low. Even if we go down, we'll only be courting death. So, I can't let my subordinates suffer any harm because of an insensible Cheng Xian. After all, it was Cheng Xian who didn't listen to our kind advice and insisted on going down to the valley to find some fortuitous encounter. If she really did have a fortuitous encounter, we wouldn't be jealous, but if she were to encounter danger, we would be powerless. I can only say that this is the path she chose, so she has to bear the consequences herself. Leng Ruoxue said coldly. Actually, it wasn't that she didn't want to save them, it was that she didn't believe Cheng Xian, who was bent on scheming against her. If the noise just now was Cheng Xian's intention to lure them down, they would have fallen for it. Miss Leng, I know that Xian's words were a little inappropriate, but she is a girl after all. We can't just leave her to die. Elder Chao San's eyes flickered as he advised with heartfelt words. Third Elder Chao. Cheng Xian won't even share any of the benefits she gets with us, so why should we go and save her when she's in danger? Is this fair to us? At this time, Feng De said with a smile. In his heart, he despised Third Elder Chao's words and deeds even more. What kind of person is this? He didn't use his own divine emperor, but asked them, these weak deities, to help him save people. He really took them for fools. Now is not the time to talk about fairness. After all, Xian is one of us. If something really happens to her and we leave her in the lurch, it will only disappoint everyone. If this matter spreads, it will also damage our reputation. So, we didn't save her just because of her. Elder Chao San's mind quickly turned, and after a moment of silence, he persuaded. Third Elder Chao, look at our strength. Most of us are only at the God realm. Do you think we have the ability to go down and save them? If we can't save them and lose our lives instead, it's not worth it. Do you think we're stupid? Feng De laughed and said. Doesn't young Miss Leng have a spatial god tool? If there's really danger, it'll be fine if we all go inside. Elder Chao San said, unwilling to give up. In truth, he didn't really want to save Cheng Xian. He only felt that this opportunity was too good, and it would be a pity if he didn't make use of it. After all, he still had his eyes on the divine tool. If these people listened to him and went to the bottom, they would definitely die. In that case, wouldn't the divine artifact be at his fingertips? Even though his idea was good, how could Leng Ruoxue and the others let him have his way? Third Elder Chow, the situation at the bottom of the valley is unclear. If it's really as you said, there are thousands of monsters, I'm afraid we will be surrounded in the blink of an eye. Do you think we have a chance to enter the house? Leng Ruoxue smiled faintly, her beautiful face full of questions. We won't know if we don't try. Elder Chow San said in embarrassment. If Third Elder Chow wants to try, then go ahead. I won't risk my life. Leng Ruoxue said impolitely. After she finished speaking, she took out her house and placed it outside the valley. She then walked straight in, while Fengde and the rest followed closely behind. Third Elder, what should we do? An elder from the Cao family said with a pale face when he saw Leng Ruoxue and the rest enter the house. He had already heard the sound of chaotic footsteps in the valley. Those monsters were probably going to leave the valley soon. Let's go in too. The third elder thought for a moment before speaking helplessly. He did not expect Leng Ruoxue and the rest to be so cold-blooded. Even Cheng Xian did not say that he would go to the bottom of the valley to save Xian Er. This fact made him extremely disappointed. However, he could not force them to do something they did not want to do. When he thought of this, he felt depressed again. After the elders of the Cao family and Cheng Yi entered the house together, the door of the house was closed. In the garden, the Cao family's elders were uncomfortably in a corner, but their eyes were fixed on the screen in the garden. Through the light screen, they saw the monsters at the bottom of the valley climb out and surround the house. The densely packed monsters that were like small mountains made their scalps numb and their hair stand on end. Was this the monster in the secret realm? Leng Ruoxue also saw the true appearance of the legendary monster through the light screen. These monsters were neither human, ghost, nor beast. Their bodies were covered in fur and their mouths were wide open. Saliva was flowing out of their mouths. It was impossible to tell what they were from their appearance. Leng Ruoxue could only describe them with one word: ugly. If she had to use 2 words to describe them, it would be disgusting. Oh my god. Why do these things look like this? Fengde looked at the screen and said in disbelief. If the monster doesn't look like this, what does it look like? Leng Ruoxue chuckled as she teased. Even though there were many of these monsters, they didn't seem to be very powerful. Most of them were at the God Monarch realm while a portion of them were between God tier and God tier. However, just the number of these monsters alone was enough to make one flinch. Hee. That's true. Fengde scratched his head and said in embarrassment. Their expressions were extremely relaxed, but the third elder of the Cao family and the others were somewhat upset. They simply couldn't be so calm and composed. They had personally experienced the horror of these monsters. Although these monsters didn't seem to be very strong, they were very difficult to deal with. Moreover, there were many of them. However, this wasn't the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing was that these monsters could not be killed and could resurrect infinitely. This was also the most terrifying thing. No matter how powerful the cultivators were, their Shen power was not endless. Their Shen power would be consumed and there would be times when it would be exhausted. However, these monsters died and came back to life repeatedly. Who could bear it? Therefore, Fengde and the others' relaxed attitude was an eyesore in their eyes. AI. If they had such a divine weapon in their hands, the Cao family would not have fallen so easily. Many of the Cao family members who had fallen had been exhausted to death by those monsters. This fact made them extremely depressed, and it also made the Cao family's desire for this house even deeper. With this house, those monsters would not be able to enter at all. They would have more capital to protect their lives. At the same time, their opportunities in the secret realm would also be greater. With so many benefits, Third Elder Chow's heart burned with passion and excitement. His gaze towards Leng Ruoxue became even more passionate. No. He had to think of a good way to make these people go out on their own. Otherwise, if he missed such a good opportunity, he would regret it for the rest of his life. At the thought of this, Third Elder Chow took the initiative to walk to the side of Leng Ruoxue and the rest. He said with a heavy expression, Miss Leng, although it is safe to stay in the house, in the long run, our food will also be exhausted. So, we have to find a way to get rid of those monsters as soon as possible. Third Elder Chow, even the weakest among you is a god king. Is there a need for you to care so much about food? Fengde asked with a puzzled look after hearing Elder Chow's words. His meaning was obvious: you won't be hungry even if you don't eat, so why are you worrying about food? I'm just worried about you guys. Third Elder Chow cursed in his heart, but his words were very understanding. He knew that these people's 3 meals a day were very timely. It was impossible to make them eat less. Therefore, he felt that this was the best excuse. Many thanks for Third Elder Chow's consideration. You don't need to worry about our affairs. Special times call for special treatment. It's no big deal to skip a meal. Fengde said with a smile. Even if you don't care about food, it's not a good idea to hide in the house all the time. We can't just stay in the secret plane and not go out, right? Elder Chow San's mind raced as he thought of another reason that he thought was the best. What do you think, Third Elder Chow? At this moment, Leng Ruoxue asked as the third elder of the Cao family wished. Elder Chow San was secretly happy, but his face remained calm. Miss Leng, let's fight these monsters to the death. The reason why he made such a suggestion was because he was too confident in his own abilities. He believed that he would definitely be able to survive under the siege of those monsters. Once Leng Ruoxue and the others died, this divine weapon would belong to the Cao family. Third Elder Chow, what's the difference between fighting them and us going down to the bottom of the valley? Leng Ruoxue looked at the third elder of the CAO family with a puzzled expression. Her beautiful eyes were filled with anticipation, hoping that he would clear her doubts. Miss, of course there's a difference. The only difference is that we won't have to reach the bottom of the valley to be killed by them. Feng De sighed as he looked at the third elder of the CAO family with resentment. I won't. If your lives are in danger, you can just enter the house. Furthermore, we will do our best to protect you. Elder Chow San hurriedly said. Do your best to protect them? When Feng De heard this, he wanted to laugh in his heart. Wasn't this statement a little too watered down? He said that he would do his best to protect them, but if they didn't do their best and killed them, would they become ghosts and come to the CAO family to settle the score? Thinking of this, Feng De's mouth twitched slightly, revealing a somewhat timid smile. Third Elder Chow, although you have the intention, we can't hold you back. So, there's no need to protect us. Why don't you go out and kill them yourself? With your strength, isn't this a simple matter? After he finished speaking, he looked at Third Elder Chow eagerly with an extremely expectant gaze, making the fire in Third Elder Chow's heart rise. These cowards. He didn't dare to go out and court death, but he actually wanted them to go out. This was preposterous. Third Elder Chow's heart was filled with hatred. At this time, he was just like Cheng Xian, forgetting that he was the one who had suggested this idea. The only thing on his mind was Feng De's evil deeds. Third Elder Chow, I'll leave it to you. Lin Yuan looked at the uncertain expression on the CAO family's third elder's face and agreed. Miss Leng. What do you say? When the CAO family's third elder heard the two of them echoing each other, he suppressed the anger in his heart and turned to ask Leng Ruoxue. Do you want to hear the truth, Third Elder Chow? Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile. Of course. Elder Chow San nodded. Then I'll say it. In fact, I also think that this idea is good. If we go out, we'll just be courting death. However, Elder Chow San and the others are all extraordinary. It'll be easy for them to go out and deal with these monsters. I am looking forward to it. Leng Ruoxue answered honestly. She didn't feel that her words were anything to be ashamed of. Since Third Elder Chow wanted to get them out of here and harbored evil intentions, what was wrong with her giving him a taste of his own medicine? Leng Ruoxue's words rendered Third Elder Chow speechless. Could he say, if you guys don't go out, we won't go out either? In reality, his main goal was to make Leng Ruoxue and the others leave the house. Only then would their accompaniment be worth it. However, who knew that the other party was as timid as a mouse and would not fall for it? This made him feel a sense of defeat. Third Elder Chow, I'll send you out. If there's any danger, I'll let you in immediately, I promise. Leng Ruoxue saw that Third Elder Chow had not spoken for a long time, so she made a solemn vow. The expression on her face was also extremely sincere. When the demon saw Leng Ruoxue's expression, he was already laughing in his heart. Shui was really cute when it came to scheming. However, he deserved it. Who asked these guys to have bad intentions? Humph. They dared to bully Shui. Even if they died, he would not let them have an easy time. On the other side, the third elder was riding a tiger and couldn't get off. His face was filled with embarrassment, but Cheng Xian's days in the valley were also not good. She had been captured after being discovered by the monsters in the valley. However, the monsters didn't kill her. Instead, they brought her to the hall deep in the valley. A middle-aged man in black sat on the throne in the hall. The man was tall and had ordinary facial features. The aura on his body was very powerful. At this moment, his expression was serious, and a trace of ruthlessness was faintly visible in his shrewd eyes. His tightly pursed lips revealed a trace of impatience. And now, Cheng Xian was trembling as she knelt in front of him. At this time, Cheng Xian was in an extremely sorry state. Her clothes were in tatters from the excessive struggle she had put up. Her head was lowered, and she didn't dare to look at the man on the throne. Who is the one kneeling? The middle-aged man said knowingly. Hearing this question, Cheng Xian's body trembled even more. Her lips slightly moved, but she couldn't say a single word. His Excellency is asking you a question. Don't pretend to be mute. At this time, a black-clothed man behind Cheng Xian ruthlessly kicked her. With a plop sound, Cheng Xian fell to the ground in a large arc. You're so bold. You actually dare to treat me like this. Do you know who I am? Cheng Xian, who had been kicked to the ground, suddenly came back to her senses. The eldest Mrs. Temper had risen again, and she had even forgotten where she was. You are reading on our content copy site, please Ha ha ha. I don't care who you are. You're our prisoner now, so we're being polite to you. In a while, when we draw out your blood and drain your divine power, we'll feed you to those monsters. Your life will be over. At that time, you can go to hell and throw your missy temper. The black-robed man laughed maniacally as he spoke of Cheng Xian's fate. No, no. You can't treat me like this. I'm a young lady of the Cheng family, you can't treat me like this. Cheng Xian stammered incoherently after hearing the black-clothed man's words. A young lady of the Cheng family? What was that? In our eyes, you're just a piece of trash that can provide us with fertilizer. As for your identity, it's useless to us. The man in black said sarcastically. Actually, what he wanted to say was, what was the miss of the Cheng family? They had many humans whose status was above her. Hearing the black-clothed man's words, the fear in Cheng Xian's heart grew even deeper. This was because the other party didn't care about her identity at all. What was she going to do? What did they care about? She thought hard. Take her away. At this moment, the middle-aged man on the throne spoke. Yes. Yes, the black-robed man replied. Then, he picked up Cheng Xian from the ground and prepared to drag her out of the hall. Don't. Wait a minute. I have something to say. I'm sure you'll be interested in this. Cheng Xian cried out in desperation. What else do you have to say? The middle-aged man on the throne narrowed his eyes and asked. The black-robed man who was dragging Cheng Xian also stopped when he heard the middle-aged man's words. If I tell you, can you let me go? Oh, you're just a prisoner. You don't have the right to negotiate with me. The middle-aged man impatiently said in a cold voice. He then waved his hand, indicating for the black-clothed man to take Cheng Xian away. Wait. I say. I'll say it. Quickly say it. Don't play mind games with us. Otherwise, if you anger His Excellency, you will die even faster. I know someone who has a spatial artifact that can allow people to live in it, the terrified Cheng Xian said in a spurt of energy. When Cheng Xian had just called out about this matter, the regret in her mind had disappeared in a flash. However, she then thought about it again. The fact that Leng Ruoxue had a spatial god tool that could accommodate people probably couldn't be kept a secret. With these mysterious people around, it would be even more difficult for her to obtain that god tool. Since that was the case, why not make good use of the god tool before it was exposed? At the very least, she had to find a way out for herself. Furthermore, she had to uphold the sour grape heart that if she couldn't obtain it, no other woman could. Hence, it was natural for her to betray Leng Ruoxue. A spatial artifact that can accommodate people? Are you sure? Spatial divine artifacts that could accommodate people were as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns in the divine realm. Moreover, in his memory, apart from that person who could casually make them, there were not many artifact masters in the divine realm who could make such spatial divine artifacts. However, those old guys in the Artifact Masters Guild should be able to do it. It was just that the materials to make such spatial divine artifacts were not so easy to gather. Otherwise, he would have asked them to make them long ago. I've been living there before, so I'm very sure. Cheng Xian carefully said. Where do you live? It seems that someone you know has it. I really didn't think that the dignified young miss of the Cheng family would be so despicable, betraying her own friend. She's not my friend. Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Cheng Xian roared in a slightly crazed manner. Whether or not he's your friend, since you're living there, that person must be someone you know. But now you've betrayed him without hesitation. If I were him, I'd be completely disappointed in you. The middle-aged man sighed. In fact, what he hated the most was this kind of person who changed sides with the wind and betrayed others. Although he wasn't any better than this Miss Cheng, this didn't stop him from hating her. Man doesn't do it for himself, and the heavens will destroy him. I only made the right choice, what's wrong with that? Cheng Xian tried to argue. Actually, she wanted to say, even if I don't say it, you'll find out about it sooner or later. However, she didn't dare to say it. Because once she said something like that, the bargaining chip in her hand would be gone. Growing up in a super family, she knew very well what was the most important to her, and however, she didn't think about whether her so-called trump card would be useful to these people. Or, if she deliberately whetted their appetite, would they fall for it? In her heart, she had already determined that the spatial divine artifact that could accommodate people had an extremely powerful attraction, and no, that sounds reasonable. The corners of the middle-aged man's mouth twitched, and he continued, who does the divine weapon you speak of belong to? The owner of the divine weapon is a woman. She's not very strong, only at the deity level. If you can catch her, the divine weapon will naturally belong to you. Cheng Xian suggested. In her heart, she was secretly happy with her suggestion. If Leng Ruoxue was caught by them as well, she would be able to vent her anger. You only need to tell me who the owner of the divine weapon is. You don't need to command me. The middle-aged man's words caused Cheng Xian's heart to skip a beat, and actually, Cheng Xian didn't know what Leng Ruoxue's name was. She only knew that her surname was Leng. However, Cheng Xian had heard that demonic man call her Xue, so she naturally thought that her name should be Leng Xue. Leng Xue. She was indeed cold-blooded and disloyal. After Cheng Xian finished speaking, the middle-aged man on the throne gave the black-robed man beside her a look. The black-robed man nodded and left the hall. You are reading? A moment later, the black-robed man returned and nodded to the middle-aged man on the throne. At this time, Cheng Xian who was kneeling on the ground with her head lowered, had no idea that in just a short time, the other party had already gone out to verify and prove that what she said was true. Cheng Xian kneeled on the ground, her heart in her mouth. Take her away. After a long while, the middle-aged man slowly spoke. Yes. Yes. Don't. I don't want to go out. I've already told you such an important thing, so please let me go. Let go. Otherwise, I'll just cut off your hand. I told you such important information. Why won't you let me go? Did I say that I would let you go if you told us about this? No, it shouldn't be like this. The middle-aged man's words dealt a heavy blow to Cheng Xian who muttered to herself. Why shouldn't it be like this? Even if you don't tell us, we'll still find out, right? Yes. The black-robed man's face was gloomy. With a thought, a long blade emitting a cold aura appeared in his hand. With a flash of the blade, a silver light quickly chopped toward Cheng Xian's wrist. The corner of Cheng Xian's eyes felt an unusual cold light, and she instinctively retracted her hand. The black-clothed man took the opportunity to pick her up and bring her out of the hall. After they left, the middle-aged man on the throne waved his hand gently and a light screen appeared in front of him. The scene outside the valley was displayed on the light screen. At this time, outside the valley, there was a small 3-story building. From the outside, it looked very ordinary and didn't have any extraordinary features. However, the middle-aged man knew that this small building was the spatial divine artifact that Cheng Xian had mentioned. Looking at the unremarkable house, the middle-aged man's eyes revealed a trace of eagerness. In the entire divine world, there was no one who would not want to own such a house. Unfortunately, the value of this house could not be measured by money. However, he could not understand how the owner of this house could only have the strength of a god. Could it be that he was hiding his strength? After thinking of this possibility, the middle-aged man's expression became serious. He waved his hand again, and the light screen disappeared. The middle-aged man sat on the throne for a long time, deep in thought. A week later, Leng Ruoxue and the rest continued to stay in the house, eating and drinking as they should. The number of monsters surrounding their house increased, but they were unable to do anything to the sturdy house. They could only roar and rage outside, and use their bodies to ram against the walls of the house. Even so, the house was still as stable as Mount Tai, not even shaking in the slightest. With no other way out, the monsters went even crazier like trapped beasts. They let out deafening roars from morning to night and relentlessly hit the solid houses with their bodies. Fengde and the rest, who were in the house, treated their crazy actions like a joke. They would point at the monsters from time to time. In their boredom, they even organized a monster competition to determine the strongest and most physically fit monsters for the top 3. When Leng Ruoxue found out about this, she was speechless. In the garden of the house, the elders of the Cao family looked at the crazy actions of the monsters through the light screen. They were very uneasy. They were afraid that these monsters would break through the defense of the house and rush in from the outside. The number of monsters outside was nearly 3 times that of the ones they had encountered. Other than feeling uneasy, third elder Chao felt even more aggrieved. Ever since a few days ago, he had been pushed into a corner by Leng Ruoxue and the rest. He had also thickened his skin and did not go out. He felt that he had lost even more of his status in the eyes of Fengde and the rest. Not only that, but they were also looking at him with slight disdain, which made him feel as if there was a dagger on his back. It made him feel very uncomfortable. However, when he saw the black mass of monsters outside, he really did not have the courage to go out. Therefore, he said, he had been very quiet for the past few days. Miss. There are more and more monsters. It seems like we are trapped here. Yup. But what can we do? There was nothing Leng Ruoxue could do against these ugly monsters. She had heard about their unique characteristics from the Cao family's elder and knew that these monsters were unkillable. Furthermore, she believed that these monsters were only the tip of the iceberg in this secret realm. If they were to leave this house, they would be drowned by the monsters in the next second. Young Lady Leng, could it be that we are really going to be trapped in this mystic realm? An elder from the Cao family who heard their conversation couldn't help but interrupt. Do you have any good ideas? Leng Ruoxue raised her brows and asked indifferently. When the elder of the Cao family heard her question, he was so scared that he didn't even dare to make a sound. What happened to their third elder earlier was still fresh in their minds. Leng Ruoxue saw that the elder had fallen silent and did not say anything else. Instead, she stared at the light screen in deep thought. No one knew what she was thinking. You are reading on our content copy site, please For a moment, everyone was silent. Without realizing it, Leng Ruoxue and the rest had been trapped in the house for almost a month. The elders of the Cao family had slowly gotten used to it, but the monsters' tempers were getting more and more violent. Furthermore, they were becoming more and more unorganized, only knowing how to charge around. In the hall deep in the valley, a middle-aged man sat on the throne with a frown on his face. Darren's silent and gloomy appearance made him tremble with fear. The more silent this Darren, go and bring that woman from the Cheng family here. The middle-aged man ordered after a long while. Yes. The black-robed man replied, then turned around and left the hall. A few minutes later, Cheng Xian was once again brought to the main hall. At this moment, Cheng Xian's face was abnormally pale, and she was walking on air. When she was still some distance away from the throne, Cheng Xian knelt on the ground in fear. The middle-aged man looked down at Cheng Xian who was no longer in her human form, and said indifferently, Miss Cheng. Do you know why I called you here? I don't know. Miss Cheng, have you seen our methods during this time? When Cheng Xian heard this, her face turned even paler, and she hated it. He hated these guys who treated them like beasts and kept them in captivity. The flower looked like a lotus, but it was not. Previous chapter. If Leng Ruoxue and the rest had been willing to follow her down to this valley, she would not have been the only one suffering. In other words, she would not have had to go through all this. After all, Leng Ruoxue had such a divine weapon and would definitely be able to protect them. But now, she was the only one who was suffering all this. How could she not hate her? Even though she hated these demonic men in black, she hated Leng Ruoxue even more. Why was she suffering here while that woman was free? She didn't need to think to know that they were definitely hiding in the house now. This fact caused the hatred in her heart to gnaw at her heart like a venomous snake, and it also made the hatred in her heart grow and spread like wild grass. The middle-aged man's words caused Cheng Xian's mind to spin. Fear, terror, and anger intertwined with each other. Looking at Cheng Xian's pale face and her silence, the middle-aged man's mouth twitched and he said in a soft voice, Miss Cheng, I invited you here to ask for your help. Help with what? Hearing these words, Cheng Xian unconsciously raised her head. You've been suffering for the past month, but your comrades have been hiding in their houses and refusing to come out. They're even more unwilling to come and save you. Don't you hate them for being so disloyal? I hate. Cheng Xian said in a low voice. Since you hate them, do you want to take revenge? I want. However, I'm afraid I don't have that ability. What if I say I can help you? I don't know how to get them out. What if I use you as a hostage to threaten them? I don't have a good relationship with them, I'm afraid they won't be fooled. That means you have no value at all. The middle-aged man said angrily. The meaning behind the middle-aged man's words was very obvious. He wanted Cheng Xian's life. Thus, when Cheng Xian heard this, she was so frightened that she hurriedly said, although she didn't want to die. Although she was being sucked dry every day, at least she was still alive. Since Miss Cheng is so insistent, it would seem like I'm not being kind if I don't give you a chance to perform. Dear readers. I'll do my best, Cheng Xian said through gritted teeth. I'm looking forward to Miss Cheng's performance. Take her out of the valley. Yes. The man in black replied. The black-robed man brought Cheng Xian and teleported out of the valley. When the monsters outside the valley saw the black-robed man, they actually made way for him. Their earth-shaking roars became even louder, as if they were complaining to their superior and venting their dissatisfaction. The man in black waved his hand to comfort them, and the monsters became as obedient as babies and quieted down. Following that, the black-robed man carried Cheng Xian to the door of the house and threw her in front of him. He then loudly said, You guys know this woman, right? If you're still hiding in the house and not coming out, I'll kill her. After he finished speaking, he kicked Cheng Xian to the ground and stepped on her. Save me. Cheng Xian's tears flowed. The humiliated Cheng Xian's heart was overflowing with hatred. Even though she did not dare to say that she was the most pampered young lady in the Cheng family, she had always gotten whatever she wanted since she was young. When had she ever been humiliated like this? Especially in front of Leng Ruoxue and the others who she looked down on. This was even more unacceptable to her. At this moment, she secretly swore in her heart that if she could leave this place alive one day, she would not let any of these people go. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue and the others who were in the garden of the house had also seen everything through the light screen. However, they did not make a sound or move. When Cheng Yi saw Cheng Xian, who was being stepped on by the man in black, his expression changed and he shouted, Xian. Cheng Yi's heart ached as he looked at Cheng Xian, who was as thin as a match and had a haggard expression. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. He had thought that Xian had long passed away. He had not expected her to still be alive. This fact made him extremely excited. However, looking at Xian's current appearance, she must have suffered a lot. Xian had never suffered like this in her entire life. For a moment, he felt guilty in his heart. If he had been able to stop Xian back then, or persuade Leng Ruoxue and the others to follow Xian down to the valley, would Xian not have to suffer all this? He couldn't help but think to himself. Although Xian was a pain in the ass at times, she was still his sister. Seeing her in such a miserable state made him feel terrible. Miss Leng. Please save Xian. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue and the rest did not have any reaction, Cheng Yi could not help but plead. Lord Cheng. I'm only a deity. Do you think I can save Cheng Xian from the hands of that black-clothed man? Leng Ruoxue raised her brows and questioned him unhappily. I believe you will have a way. Cheng Yi had flattered Leng Ruoxue. Now, other than Leng Ruoxue, he really did not know who else he could ask for help from. Furthermore, subconsciously, he also felt that Leng Ruoxue was the only one who could save his sister. I have no choice. If even Lord Cheng, a god king, can't save your sister, then I, a god, can't even hope to do so. Leng Ruoxue replied emotionlessly. To be honest, she was a little angry. It was obvious that the other party was trying to lure them out, and if they went out to save her, the other party would definitely attack them without hesitation. It was impossible for Cheng Yi to not see through the current situation, but he still wanted her to save her. Was he going to throw away the lives of so many people just for Cheng Xian? I'm sorry. Cheng Xian wasn't that important in her heart. It didn't matter if she was disloyal, or if she didn't want to save her, but it was simply impossible for her to risk her life for Cheng Xian, who had plotted against her. Miss is right. Young Master Cheng, please calm down. Feng De agreed. He didn't have any thoughts of saving Cheng Xian, at all. Moreover, Cheng Xian, only had herself to blame for falling into the hands of the other party. Why should they take the risk for Cheng Xian, who they weren't even related to and had a bad relationship with? They weren't that kind of saints, were they? If you don't want to help, then I'll go out and save them myself. Cheng Yi said somewhat angrily. After he finished speaking, he turned around and walked in the direction of the gate. However, he had only taken 2 steps when he was knocked unconscious by Lin Yuan. As they watched Cheng Yi being dragged back to his original position, the elders of the Cao clan twitched their lips. They thought to themselves, these people are really heavy-handed. The dignified God King has actually been knocked unconscious. Third Elder Chao, what do you think about this? Leng Ruoxue turned her gaze towards Third Elder Chao and the rest, who had a grave expression on their faces, and asked. Miss Leng, is there really no way to save Xian? Elder Chao San asked. What do you think? This is obviously a trap. If we go out, I'm afraid we'll fall into their trap. So, I don't agree to go out. Leng Ruoxue spoke the truth. Now that they were on the same boat, they naturally had to advance and retreat together. As for Cheng Xian, she could only pray for her own good. But, Cheng Xian, Third Elder Chao hesitated. He knew very well that Leng Ruoxue was right. However, if he could save Cheng Xian, he would still want to do so. After all, Cheng Xian, was of great use to him. At the very least, she could help the Cao family form a powerful in-law. So, he felt the pain of giving up on Cheng Xian, just like that. However, as soon as he thought of the monsters gathered outside the house, his scalp went numb. The number of monsters was beyond his imagination, and he was not confident that he could retreat in one piece. Third Elder Chao, I also sympathize with Miss Cheng, but I can't risk so many of our lives. Moreover, you fought with those monsters before, so you naturally know how difficult they are to deal with. So, you should know what our chances of winning are against so many monsters. Leng Ruoxue spoke frankly. She believed that these elders weren't stupid and would know what to do. Furthermore, as a member of a top-tier family clan, they would usually only place the family's interests above all else. As for family ties, they were nothing in their eyes. When family ties and family clans' interests clashed, they would choose to sacrifice their family ties. Although the other elders didn't say anything, Leng Ruoxue was well aware that they weren't willing to sacrifice their lives for a mere Cheng Xian. As cultivators, it was very normal for them to be indifferent to their blood ties. After all, with the age difference, it was almost impossible for them to value family ties like ordinary people. Moreover, Cheng Xian, could only be considered half a member of the Cao clan. Leng Ruoxue's words caused Elder Chao San to go completely silent. The number of monsters had indeed caused him to forget and back off. Even at this moment, his desire to use those monsters to obtain this house had faded by quite a bit. Let me ask you, if a person's life could not even be guaranteed, then what was the use of having so much money? If one had money but no life to spend, one would not die in peace. Seeing that they had come to an agreement, Leng Ruoxue no longer paid any attention to the men in black who were shouting and cursing outside the door. As usual, they stayed in the house and did what they had to do. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. The black-robed man was still shouting and provoking outside the house, and his voice was mixed with Cheng Xian's crying. However, Leng Ruoxue and the rest still ignored them. As for Cheng Yi, ever since he had been knocked unconscious when he tried to leave the house to save Cheng Xian, he had become much more well-behaved, and had even stopped mentioning the matter of saving Cheng Xian. On a certain night, Cheng Yi, who was not sleepy at all, got up from the bed and tiptoed to open the door. He walked to the courtyard and looked around. Then, he opened the door and ran out without hesitation. Previous chapter. The reason why he chose to go out late at night was that, after careful observation, he found that everyone was already asleep at this time, so it was the most convenient for him to leave. He ignored the guilt that had flashed through his mind and consoled himself. He had done all this to save Xian. Xian was his sister, and seeing her suffer these days had cut his heart like a knife. However, he knew very well that Leng Ruoxue and the others would never allow him to leave the house. Hence, he could only pretend that he did not care for the past few days and successfully made Fengde and the others let down their guard against him. After much consideration, he chose to take action tonight. However, he didn't expect to be surrounded by the monsters guarding the gate as soon as he went out. When Leng Ruoxue noticed Cheng Yi's actions, she was in the purple bamboo house inside the bracelet with the demon. The moment she realized something was wrong, she immediately brought the demon out of the bracelet. Although it had only been a few seconds, it was already too late when they came out. This was because thousands of monsters had already entered the courtyard. Furthermore, there were still countless more monsters that were trying their best to charge into the courtyard. The moment Leng Ruoxue and the demon appeared, they were surrounded. Other than that, there were also monsters running toward the room. Leng Ruoxue's heart was filled with regret when she saw this. She shouldn't have been so careless and thought that everything was under her control. She shouldn't have let down her guard against Cheng Yi. It was her mistake, but she didn't want to hurt her grandfather and the others because of her mistake. Therefore, she blamed herself. It seemed that she had underestimated Cheng Yi's feelings for his sister. She didn't expect that guy to be a person who valued family. The reason why Cheng Yi could open his door and walk out on his own was also because she was too lazy. In the past, the people who lived in this house were all her own people. Therefore, in order to make it easier, as she looked at the ferocious monsters surrounding them, Leng Ruoxue understood that a tough battle was about to be fought today. Just as he was thinking about this, Uncle Long ran into the yard with a steel fork in his hand and a small number of people. "Little girl, don't be afraid. Uncle Long is here," Uncle Dragon shouted. As he raised his pitchfork, the monster closest to him was crushed to pieces. Uncle Long didn't give up. After repeating this dozens of times, he was deeply depressed. Even though he was depressed, Uncle Long still used his steel fork to sweep away the monsters surrounding him. "Little girl, are you scared by these ugly things?" After guarding Leng Ruoxue's side, Uncle Long asked with a face full of concern. "I'm fine." Leng Ruoxue looked at Uncle Long, then turned her beautiful eyes to Lin Yuan and said, "Is anyone hurt?" "Dear readers. You, miss. We're fine, but the captain and the others aren't as lucky as us. They're still fighting the monsters that broke into their rooms." After hearing Lin Yuan's words, Leng Ruoxue was relieved. At this time, the voice of the man in black came from outside the door again. "Ha ha ha. Enjoy the feast I've prepared for you. I'll take care of this brother and sister for you." Hearing the man in black's words, Leng Ruoxue knew that Cheng Yi had also fallen into his hands. At the thought of this, Leng Ruoxue calmly provoked, "What kind of skill is it to send these unkillable monsters in?" If you have the ability, come in yourself. I'll go in by myself. This is your divine tool. If I go in, won't I fall into your trap and be forced to do whatever you want? However, if you cancel the ownership and give this house to me, I can enter without hesitation. Did a donkey kick your head? Leng Ruoxue was rendered speak. Donkey? What's a donkey? The donkey is your ancestor. When Lin Yuan and the rest heard their miss's words, they couldn't help but laugh wildly. Ha ha ha. So you're a donkey grandson. Lin Yuan spoke very loudly, afraid that the black-clothed man outside the door could not hear him. Damn it. I won't let you off. When the man in black outside the door heard this, he immediately flew into a rage out of embarrassment. However, out of caution, he still stayed outside the door. However, the number of monsters that rushed into the house increased, and the door was completely blocked. Even so, the monsters still tried their best to squeeze into the courtyard, even if the courtyard was already full of monsters. Don't just talk with your mouth, come in if you have the ability. Lin Yuan also provoked. Humph. Even if I don't go in, I'll still be able to take care of you. The man in black said confidently. After he finished speaking, he took out a silver whistle from his collar and blew it. The monsters in the courtyard started to move when they heard the whistle. After raising their heads and roaring a few times, they all started to attack Leng Ruoxue and the others in excitement. Seeing the monsters suddenly become even more excited, Leng Ruoxue knew that the whistle had taken effect. In an instant, a sword as thin as a cicada's wing and exuding a cold chill appeared in her hand. With a slight twist of her wrist, tens of thousands of fiery red cold glints shot out in all directions. Those cold glints were like shooting stars or phoenix feathers, beautiful and extremely dazzling. When the cold glints hit the monsters' bodies, many of them let out howls of pain. Ow! With their painful roars, their bodies were set on fire. In the blink of an eye, the monsters hit by the cold light were turned into ashes. After waiting for a few minutes, the monsters that had been turned into ashes were resurrected. However, their auras were much weaker after being resurrected, and their strength had decreased. Seeing this, Uncle Dragon quickly shouted, "They're afraid of fire. Those with fire attributes, attack them with fire. You must exterminate them." Lin Yuan and the others heard Uncle Long's words and personally witnessed the damage their meteor sword shower caused to the monsters. They also used all their skills and infused their own fire attribute divine power into their weapons, attacking the monsters along with the divine skill. In an instant, flames soared into the sky and a strong fire attribute aura floated in the courtyard. The monsters that were attacked saw that their bodies were on fire. Other than letting out a few howls, they did not turn into ashes like when they were attacked by Leng Ruoxue. Instead, they smacked out the flames on their bodies and pounced towards Lin Yuan and the rest with an angry aura. Miss. Our flames are useless against them. Lin Yuan, who nimbly dodged a monster's attack, took advantage of the gap and said gloomily. Little girl. It seems like only your flames can harm them. Leng Ruoxue nodded her head without a change in her expression. Sister. Just use your natal divine flame. I don't believe that they'll be able to come back to life after being burned by your natal divine flame. Alright. Leng Ruoxue nodded her head. Previously, she had not added her own flames into meteor sword technique. Although she hadn't used the meteor sword technique for as he waved his meteor sword technique, which was infused with his natal flame, a more dazzling flame than before leaped into the air. The flame was red with a hint of purple, and it contained a trace of heart-palpitating pressure. After the flames appeared, the monsters couldn't help but feel a trace of instinctive fear deep in their hearts. After waiting for a while, they did not resurrect again. This fact made Uncle Long and the others heave a sigh of relief. The monsters that were still alive looked at Leng Ruoxue with fear in their eyes. Then, they covered their heads and fled like rats. Instantly, the courtyard was in chaos. Lin Yuan and the rest naturally would not let go of this opportunity to beat the dog while it was down. They waved their weapons and killed the monsters that ran to their side one by one. They resurrected and killed them again. In short, they could not let them run away. At the same time, Leng Ruoxue took this opportunity to take care of most of the monsters that ran into the courtyard. Dear reader, as the number of monsters in the courtyard decreased, some of them managed to escape. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes scanned the courtyard and said to Uncle Long and the others, "Uncle Long, please take them to meet Fengde and the others. I'll go to the door to take a look." With that, Leng Ruoxue and the demon walked towards the door. At this moment, the monsters at the gate were panicking and fighting to be the first to run out of the gate. The men in black, who did not know what was going on, had big question marks on their faces. What are you guys doing? Damn it. Who told you to run out like stray dogs? Go back and kill them. The man in black ordered, but at this moment, the monsters, who were still in fear, did not listen to him at all. Moreover, as the monsters secretly communicated with each other, the many monsters who accompanied the man in black outside the door also knew that there was a terrifying woman in the house who could take their lives. In an instant, the monsters were all in a panic. Looking at the monsters' reactions, the man in black was confused. Even he could not control these monsters that were panicking like headless flies. Damn it! What was going on? It was only when he saw an outstanding couple walking out of the house that he realized. So they were the ones behind this. What did you do? The man in black was hot-headed as he questioned her. At this moment, he had even forgotten about his enmity with Leng Ruoxue. He had never thought that these two people would be able to escape from the monsters' encirclement so easily and even come to him. Now, he just wanted to know what the monsters' reaction was. I should be the one asking that. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. That beautiful smile dazzled the eyes of the black-robed man in front of him, causing him to be in a trance for a moment. Seeing this, the demon was not happy. Without moving his expression, a black divine force as thin as a hair flowed out from his finger and went straight towards the black-robed man. The man in black didn't notice it at all. He only stared at Leng Ruoxue in a daze. It was only when he felt a pain in his waist and abdomen that he suddenly came back to his senses. Damn it! How could he be distracted at this time? The man in black was extremely annoyed. Then, he looked at Leng Ruoxue and the demon with extreme vigilance. After he came back to his senses, he clearly saw the fear of the monsters around him toward the two people. Only then did he realize how the two of them had escaped from the heavy siege of the monsters. This was truly too inconceivable. Could it be that they had some extraordinary means? At the thought of this, he grabbed Cheng Yi and his sister into his hands and was prepared to use them as bargaining chips to threaten Leng Ruoxue and the rest. Save me! Hurry and save us! When Cheng Yi saw Leng Ruoxue, he lowered his head in shame. He was too embarrassed to ask for help. He wasn't sure what was going on in the house, but the thought of someone dying because of his selfishness made him feel guilty. Leng Ruoxue observed the siblings' completely different reactions without batting an eyelid. If her flame had not become the nemesis of those monsters, she was afraid that they would have ended up like the Cheng siblings and become the prisoners of the black-clothed man. Let them go and I'll let you live. After a long time, Leng Ruoxue finally spoke. However, her words were like a joke to the man in black. Ha ha ha. I didn't hear wrong, did I? You actually want to give me a way out? We don't need you to give us a way out, Leng Ruoxue said with a smile that was not a smile. You better not regret this. Leng Ruoxue's answer almost caused the man in black to lose his focus again. Don't worry. I won't regret this. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. Oh, really? What about the two people in my hands? The man in black said proudly. What happened to them? Leng Ruoxue played dumb. Dear readers. As long as you hand over the house, I'll let them go. Otherwise, they can only die. You think they're worth the price of my house? Let me tell you the truth. I'm not related to them. Do you think I'd trade this priceless house for them for two strangers? I won't pay for their mistakes. So, if you really want to threaten me, you'd better think of a better reason and get a hostage with some weight. Otherwise, it'll be a waste of time. Leave him to die. Why should I save you? I didn't agree to go down to the valley back then, but who was the one who insisted on going down despite the obstruction? And who opened the door and let those monsters in? What did a certain someone say when he reached the bottom of the valley? If I get something good, don't fight with me. What did I say back then? Miss Cheng, do you still remember? I said, if you get something good, we won't fight with you, but if you encounter danger, don't expect us to save you. I was right, wasn't I? Leng Ruoxue. How can you be so heartless? We're acquaintances after all, how can you leave us in the lurch? On the other hand, the black-robed man who was holding her revealed a trace of pride on his face, and secretly thought, as expected of the daughter of a large family. Look at this eloquent and inexplicably disappointed little face, those who don't know would think that she is really miserable. Leave him to die. Why should I save you? I didn't agree to go down to the valley back then, but now that Miss Cheng is in trouble, if we don't save her, we'll be leaving her in the lurch. Her words made Cheng Yi feel even more ashamed. Although Cheng Yi thought this way, Cheng Xian'er's thoughts were the complete opposite. In Cheng Xian'er's heart, she was in trouble. Personality determined one's fate. After Leng Ruoxue's words, Cheng Xian'er shamelessly quibbled, that was then and this is now. Previous chapter. Cheng Xian'er's words were grand and majestic. Leng Ruoxue should have been angry after hearing them, but instead, it made her laugh. Ha ha ha. Miss Cheng is indeed a young lady of a big family, you're so good at shamelessly saying such things. This little girl is really in awe. Leng Ruoxue sighed. Actually, after knowing that those monsters were afraid of her flames, it wasn't difficult for her to save Cheng Xian'er. However, Cheng Xian'er's words and actions were simply too infuriating, causing her to lose all intention of saving her. Furthermore, she was afraid that even if she saved her, she wouldn't be able to do well. In fact, Cheng Xian'er might even think that it was only natural for her to do so, and that she was the one who wanted to curry favor with the Cheng clan's young miss. Thinking of this, Leng Ruoxue felt a little conflicted. This Cheng Xian'er wasn't her friend, and she was so annoying. If she really saved Cheng Xian'er, she was afraid that her heart would be filled with panic. She wouldn't take the initiative to save Cheng Xian'er. If Cheng Xian'er's life was strong enough to last until they exterminated all these enemies, then she wouldn't die. I'm telling the truth. Cheng Xian'er roared in anger. I'm not interested in whether it's true or not. You're really not afraid that I'll kill them? Whatever you want. I'm not a member of the Cheng family, so I naturally don't care about their lives. If that's the case, I'll kill them now. Don't kill me. Young master big brother, save me. The cold blade pressed against the skin of her neck, and the fear of death crept into Cheng Xian'er's heart. Leng Ruoxue was not willing to save her, but big brother young master would definitely save her. Big brother young master. Quickly come and save me, don't quarrel. The man in black roared impatiently. He pushed the blade in slightly, and in the blink of an eye, a stream of red blood flowed down the blade. Arg! Don't kill me. I don't want to die. Young master big brother, save me. F***ck. I said not to argue. Xian'er. Seeing this, Cheng Yi's bloodshot eyes looked like they were about to crack as he screamed in pain. You siblings can reunite in hell. Dear readers. After saying that, the black-robed man sent a palm strike towards Cheng Yi's dantian. It's your turn next. After killing the Cheng siblings, the man in black shifted his gaze to Leng Ruoxue and the evil demon. Is that so? Leng Ruoxue laughed coldly as if she had heard. I'll let you know what we can do. However, after he said that, the monsters only looked at each other. No one dared to move. Damn it. Do you dare to disobey my orders? The man in black realized that direct orders were useless against these monsters, so he had no choice but to take out his trump card, which was the silver whistle. This was the best weapon to control them. After the whistle was blown, the monsters on the scene instinctively started to roar at the sky again. They were ready to move, but the fear in their hearts could not make them charge around like before. However, with the whistle, they could not fight back. Tutu. Whoosh. Seeing that the monsters were not so obedient, the man in black blew the whistle again. This time, the whistle was loud and sharp, completely different from the previous ones. When the monsters heard the whistle, they immediately went crazy. Their eyes turned blood red and a ruthless aura exploded from their eyes. They looked at Leng Ruoxue and the evildoer with a murderous look. In the next second, the monsters surrounded them. Leng Ruoxue's eyes flashed with understanding as she looked at the monsters surrounding them. She knew that the whistle had caused these monsters to lose their minds. They had gone mad and were now a group of fighting machines that were not afraid of death. Their target was her and the demon. Shua. Be careful. The demon reminded them softly, his eyes that were as bright as the stars were vigilantly staring at the monsters that surrounded them. Evildoer, there are so many monsters here. I wonder if the two of us can handle them. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of worry as she pretended to be afraid. Ha ha ha. You're all going to die today, is that so? Leng Ruoxue smiled faintly. What, of course. The man in black was extremely pleased with himself. Really? Leng Ruoxue asked with a look of disbelief. Of course, as long as you surrender. The man in black nodded. But I don't believe you. What should I do? Furthermore, I have no intention of surrendering. Leng Ruoxue pretended to be in a difficult position. You dare to play with me? The man in black was furious. This damn woman actually played him like a monkey, how preposterous, humph. Since there was a way to heaven, but you didn't take it, and there was no door to hell, but you insisted on coming in, then don't blame him for not knowing how to be tender to women. After the man in black had made up his mind, he blew the attack whistle again. Instantly, the monsters that had surrounded Leng Ruoxue and the evildoer began their ferocious attack. These monsters had completely lost their rationality. Pain and fear had long since left them. Even though the flames on Leng Ruoxue's hands would still cause them irreparable damage, they no longer had any fear in their hearts. The only thought in their minds was to attack. He had to exterminate these humans. Because that was the most important mission in their lives. These monsters that did not care about pain and had no fear in their hearts gave Leng Ruoxue and the demon a headache. The two of them stood back to back and used their divine skills to attack the monsters in front of them. At the same time, they also had to split a part of their attention to pay attention to the black-robed man's every move. When the black-robed man saw the red and purple flames from Leng Ruoxue's hands, his eyes narrowed. Those monsters were immortal monsters created by his lord. Little girl, be careful. Dear readers. You are However, before Uncle Long could get close, the demon quickly released his divine power. Little brat. Leave this guy to me. After saying that, Uncle Long held the steel fork and stabbed it at the man in black. Seeing this, the demon continued to fight the monsters beside him. Not long after, Fengde and the others also ran out of the yard and fought. With Fengde and the rest holding the monsters back, Leng Ruoxue was able to use her meteor sword technique more efficiently. Wherever the fire meteor shower went, a sea of fire would be set ablaze. This great ant's fire is really powerful. Cheng Xian, who was drenched in sweat, wiped the sweat off his forehead and said, unable to take it anymore. If I'm not strong, how can I kill these monsters? Cheng Xian didn't know what to say. Fengde seemed to have something against him. Poor him, he still didn't know that he was someone else's scapegoat. What's with the, If you do, I'll throw you into the river to feed the fish. Hearing these familiar words, Cheng Xian wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and thought to himself, you and that fish are really a family. You learn really fast. I'm fighting those monsters alone. Isn't it bad for us to watch from the side? Who said that Miss is alone? Don't you see that Leader Yi is also killing those monsters? What I mean is, should we go and help? Previous chapter. Help? Was he not helping? Just stay here obediently. Keep your eyes wide open and don't let those monsters get close to Miss. Otherwise, if they hurt Miss, Leader Yi will go crazy. Fengde said with a hint of disdain and reminded him. Then I'll go and help Uncle Long. Cheng Xian mumbled in a low voice. Uncle Long's opponent was a human, so he had no pressure dealing with him. If you want to go, go. No one's stopping you. Fengde said with a smirk. He couldn't help but think to himself, why would Uncle Long need your help? It's really unnecessary. Besides, he's sure that Cheng Xian will definitely be scolded if he goes. Then I'll go. Cheng Xian said quickly. He really didn't want to be looked at with contempt by Fengde and the others. That would make him feel like he had a mountain of pear blossoms on his back. After saying that, Cheng Xian ran toward Uncle Long as if he was running for his life. He shouted, Uncle Long. I'll help you. Uncle Long, who was playing with the man in black, immediately pulled a long face when he saw Cheng Xian suddenly join the battle. He thought to himself unhappily, why is this brat here to cause trouble instead of just watching from the side? However, before he could speak, the man in black spoke first. What's wrong? Are you trying to bully me with your numbers? The man in black said with slight disdain after seeing Cheng Xian. Using numbers to bully the few? Do you think I need to bully you with numbers? Uncle Long couldn't help but ask. When he was fighting with the man in black, he had been trying to find out more about him, so he hadn't used his full strength. Now that Cheng Xian had suddenly joined the battle, the man in black had misunderstood him as bullying him with numbers. How preposterous. Wasn't this the case of the wicked complaining first? Aren't you guys using your numbers to bully the few now? The man in black told the truth. Oh, really? I don't think so. Uncle Long asked in confusion. There are two of you, and I'm alone. How dare you say I'm not bullying you with numbers? The man in black was a little angry. This middle-aged man alone was already hard enough to deal with. Now, there was another guy who was stronger than him. How could he fight? You're wrong. You're not alone, they're all your helpers. Uncle Long looked at the man in black, then pointed at the monsters. That's right. If we're talking about numbers, you're the one who's bullying us. Cheng Xian smiled and agreed. You. The man in black was speechless. He admitted that he had quite a number of monsters on his side. However, those monsters had been sent out to deal with Leng Ruoxue. What about us? Uncle Long, you should rest for a while. Leave this black-clothed man to me. You little brat. You want to snatch her from me? Uncle Long glared at him and said unhappily. No. I'm just afraid that you'll be too tired. Cheng Xian, who felt a chill down his spine, quickly said. Dear reader, I'm not tired of dealing with such a small thief, kid. Go play in the mud, be good. Uncle Long coaxed. After that, he kicked Cheng Xian out of the battle circle between him and the man in black. Then, he started to tease the man in black. Cheng Xian, who had almost fallen to the ground, was so depressed that his facial features were twisted together after hearing Uncle Long's words. Woo. He's already so old, but he's still being asked to play in the mud. This is too much. He doesn't even know how to use a better reason to coax me. Cheng Xian returned to Feng Da's side, full of dissatisfaction and grievances. Young Master Cheng. There's mud over there, you can go play. Feng Da pointed to a small corner with a smile. The crowd burst into laughter. Cheng Xian's face flushed red, and he gritted his teeth as he glared at Feng Da. He didn't dare to mess with Uncle Long, but did that mean he didn't dare to mess with Feng Da? Woo. Thinking about it, he really didn't dare to offend Feng Da because this guy was Leng Ruoxue's man. If he offended him, Great Aunt would definitely not let him off. Why was he so pitiful? Pitiful? Not only was there no one to dote on or love him, but he was also bullied by these people everywhere. The more Cheng Xian thought about it, the more aggrieved he felt. Slowly, his eyes actually turned red, and tears began to well up in his eyes. Feng Da and the others were surprised to see him like this. Young Master Cheng, are you going to cry? Of course not. Why do I feel like crying? Cheng Xian said, a little embarrassed. He had only said it on a whim. As a man, it was impossible for him to not be able to take such a small blow. Hee hee. It's good that you don't want to cry. Otherwise, we'll have to spend a lot of effort to coax you. You're not a weak little white flower, we really don't want to coax you. Feng Da said with relief. You want to coax a weak little white flower? Cheng Xian rolled his eyes and said in a speechless manner. Of course, which man doesn't like to have tender feelings for women? Feng Da said matter-of-factly, not noticing that there was something wrong with Cheng Xian's question. So you like to have tender and protective feelings for women? He liked weak little white flowers. I've known you for so long, but I only found out today. Arg. Tao Tao. You've misunderstood. Feng Da was in a daze. Don't be talkative. Miss always said that if a man's words could be trusted, even a sow could climb a tree. Previous chapter. Leng Ruoxue took the opportunity to quickly increase the power of her meteor sword technique. At the same time, she poured even more of her natal flames into her sword. Following that, countless burning phoenix feathers flew towards the monsters. The monsters that didn't have the time to wail were turned into ashes. After that, Leng Ruoxue quickly released 2 fire dragons that were condensed from her divine power. The 2 fire dragons bared their fangs and brandished their claws as they danced in a circle in the air. The remaining monsters were all reduced to ashes. After taking care of all the monsters, Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes turned towards Uncle Long and the man in black, who were still in the middle of a battle. Uncle Long's strength was clearly not on the same level as the black-robed man's. Of the 2 people fighting, Uncle Long was dealing with them very easily, while the black-robed man was already panting and out of breath. Uncle Long. Stop playing. Quickly end the battle. Leng Ruoxue urged him helplessly. All right. But, little girl, do you want him to live or die? Uncle Long asked as he fought. Dear readers. You are reading on our content copy site, please copy. Third Elder Chow, the dead cannot be brought back to life. My condolences to you. Even though Leng Ruoxue was disdainful of this old man's acting, she still consoled him out of goodwill. After Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, Third Elder Chow choked on his sobs for a while before slowly getting up. Suddenly, he noticed that Cheng Xian-er's eyelids seemed to have moved. He quickly shouted, "Wait. Xian-er didn't die." "What?" When Leng Ruoxue and the rest heard this, they quickly ran to Cheng Xian-er's side and bent down to check. After checking, they found that Cheng Xian-er was still alive. Not only her, but even Cheng Yi was still breathing. However, their injuries were not light, and they were in a state of unconsciousness. With trembling hands, Third Elder Chow took out 2 healing pills and stuffed them into their mouths. After a while, the siblings slowly woke up. "Big brother. Where are we now?" Cheng Xian-er couldn't help but ask as she looked at her brother. "Don't worry. You're still alive." Without waiting for Cheng Yi's reply, Lin Yuan said in a bad mood, "This is really a disaster that lasts for 1,000 years. Cheng Xian-er, this hateful woman, was actually not killed. That black-clothed man was really unprofessional." He couldn't help but feel that way in his heart. In fact, if it were anyone else in Cheng Xian-er's position, he would still sympathize with them. However, the people who had escaped from a great disaster were Cheng Xian-er and her brother. He couldn't sympathize with them no matter what. In addition, Cheng Yi had caused them to be besieged by the monsters. Therefore, in his eyes, this pair of brother and sister deserved to die. Unfortunately, they had actually managed to survive. AI. There was an unspeakable regret in his heart, but he would not say it out loud since she had just escaped from death. At most, he would only complain a little in his heart. "Big brother. We actually didn't die," Cheng Xian said with a smile on her face. However, her eyes immediately caught sight of Leng Ruoxue, who was very close to her, and the anger in her heart was immediately hooked. "Leng Shui. You actually left us in the lurch. Our Cheng family will never let you off," Cheng Xian said, her embarrassment turning into anger. After hearing Cheng Xian-er's words, Leng Ruoxue chuckled and questioned, "Miss Cheng, when you say that you're not going to save me, do you mean that I didn't use this house to exchange for the lives of you and your sister?" "Of course." Cheng Xian nodded. "Miss Cheng. Let's not talk about whether the man in black will really let you and your sister go after I give this house to him. I just want to know, do you think that all of our lives added together are not as valuable as you and your sister?" Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. "Of course. We're direct descendants of the Cheng family," Cheng Xian-er said matter-of-factly. "Hee. So what if you're a direct descendant of the Cheng family? We still have the young masters of the Cheng and Ning families here. Could it be that their lives are not as valuable as yours?" After Lin Yuan heard Cheng Xian-er's words, he looked at her as if she was an idiot. "I didn't mean it that way. What I meant was, if Big Brother Young Master and Big Brother Lan were both present at that time, they would definitely think of ways to save us siblings," Cheng Xian hurriedly explained. "Miss Cheng, where do you get your confidence from?" Lin Yuan's face was filled with shock. "Isn't this what I should do?" Cheng Xian said in a self-righteous manner. Dear readers. You are Miss Cheng, nothing is necessary. Since you were born in a super family, you should know the meaning of the words take the big picture into consideration. You know very well what the situation was at that time. If you think that I didn't use the house to exchange for your lives, I don't mind leaving you to die. However, what I want to say is that in my opinion, the lives of you two siblings are far less important than the lives of so many of us. If I had to do it again, I would still do the same. Of course, if your young master Big Brother and Big Brother Lan want to save you, I won't stop them, but I also won't care about their life or death. Also, I want to tell you that even if I hand this house over to the black-clothed man, he won't let you off. At that time, I'm afraid even we won't be able to escape from disaster, and this might be what you want," Leng Ruoxue said emotionlessly. She could be said to be cold-blooded and not help, but she had never been a saint. She was selfish. In her heart, it was enough as long as the people she valued were good. As for other irrelevant people, they were not within the scope of her concern. "How do you know that he won't let us go? Are you guys on the same side? Besides, don't wrong me, I don't want you guys to die with me," Cheng Xian furiously roared, her originally pale face turning red from anger. "Miss Cheng, did I wrong you or did you wrong me?" Leng Ruoxue was speechless. To think that Cheng Xian could think of something like this. She actually said that she was in cahoots with the men in black. If they were really in cahoots, she would definitely make Cheng Xian her first target. "Xian don't talk nonsense." Sensing the hostility in Leng Ruoxue's tone, Third Elder Chow immediately chided her. At this moment, no matter who was in the right or wrong, they could not afford to offend Leng Ruoxue. Otherwise, if she chased them out of the house, they would really have no way out. After reprimanding Cheng Xian Third Elder Chow turned to look at Leng Ruoxue and said, "Miss Leng, Xian is still young and insensible. Please don't take it to heart. I'll apologize to you on her behalf, I'm sorry," Third Elder Chow said with great sincerity. As he spoke, he even bowed to Leng Ruoxue. Cheng Xian who was at the side, saw how Third Elder Chow was bowing and scraping to Leng Ruoxue. Her heart was instantly filled with anger. However, after receiving Third Elder Chow's warning gaze, she tactfully shut her mouth. After all, she still needed this old man's protection. Otherwise, it would not be easy for her to leave this mystic realm alive. Hence, she tactfully chose to swallow her anger. Previous chapter. Young and insensible? Old man, Miss Cheng might be young, but she's almost 100 years old, right? Most of us aren't even half her age. Moreover, according to her age, she's her grandmother. You really have the nerve to talk about her age. Lin Yuan sneered as he glanced at Elder Chao San, not giving him any face at all. That's right. Moreover, even if she was really young, she shouldn't be spouting nonsense. Although we are not as strong as you, we are not to be slandered by others. Grape, who was standing beside Leng Ruoxue, said angrily. Who dares to slander us? At this time, Feng De and Lu Tao walked out of the courtyard together. After hearing Grape's words, they immediately became angry and questioned her. Who else could it be? Of course, it's Miss Cheng Xian. Grape said in an unpleasant tone. Cheng Xian. Isn't she dead? Feng Da's face was full of question marks when he heard this. You're the one who's dead. Feng Da's words made Cheng Xian extremely angry, and she retorted without even thinking. F***ck. Are you a human or a ghost? Looking at Cheng Xian, Feng Da's face was filled with fear. When the others heard Feng Da's words, they couldn't help but laugh. You're the ghost. Of course I'm a human. Cheng Xian became even angrier as she heard the laughter. But, weren't you killed by the man in black? Why did he come back to life again? Oh my god. This was really too terrifying, Tao Tao. I'm scared. Protect me. Feng De said exaggeratedly. After he finished speaking, he even hid behind Green Peach to seek protection with a face full of fear. A scourge lives for 1,000 years. What are you afraid of? Lu Tao glared at Feng De and said with double meaning. Tao Tao. Hearing Lu Tao's tone, Feng De knew that his dear was still angry. He immediately lowered his head, but in his heart, he kept thinking of ways to appease Lu Tao. I told you, you're not allowed to call me Tao Tao. Lu Tao said fiercely. Every time Feng De called her Tao Tao, she would think of that monkey in Yulin. She had to take advantage of this opportunity to correct this matter because she had said it many times in the past, but Feng De had always turned a blind eye to it. Tao. Feng De just said one word, and under the glare of Green Peach, he swallowed the words he had yet to finish speaking. Then, he peeked at Green Peach with the eyes of a little wife. I didn't die, and I didn't come back to life. Cheng Xian, who had been completely ignored, couldn't help but grit her teeth and say this. Oh. When Feng De heard this, he deliberately dragged out his voice, as if he was somewhat regretful. Damn it, what kind of attitude is that? Feng Da's tone made Cheng Xian go crazy. What's my attitude? Didn't I just say, oh? He didn't say anything. Feng De felt a little wronged. Why did all these women like to bully him? He didn't have a face that was easy to bully. Besides, other than his miss and his Tao Tao, no other woman could bully him. Dear readers. You are reading on our content copy site. Please copy and search this link /39HPCN6J to support us. You. Cheng Xian was so angry that she glared at him. Who asked her to say, oh? It was more annoying than anything else. Unfortunately, Feng De and the others did not care about her feelings at all. It's really lively. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, a loud laugh rang out in everyone's ears. Everyone quickly turned around and saw a middle-aged man in black standing at the exit of the valley. Beside him were at least hundreds of black-robed men and countless monsters. When everyone saw this, their hearts instantly sank to the bottom. F***ck. How could there still be so many? Did they just poke into the monster's nest? If I'm not wrong, you must be the leader of these minions and monsters. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. The middle-aged man in front of her had unfathomable strength. There was also a hint of killing intent on his body. The feeling he gave off was quite out of place and uncomfortable. Leader? I'm their king. The middle-aged man clearly didn't like being called head and corrected him. There's no difference in my eyes. Leng Ruoxue said disapprovingly. Oh, really? Little girl, you're very courageous. Unfortunately, such people usually don't live long. The middle-aged man reminded with a faint smile. His deep eyes seemed to sweep over Cheng Xian, who was sitting on the ground. Cheng Xian's heart palpitated with fear and she felt extremely guilty. Cheng Xian was a little scared when she saw the middle-aged man. What if this middle-aged man told her what she had promised him? Then Leng Ruoxue and the others would definitely not be able to tolerate her anymore. What should she do? Her mind spun quickly as she thought of a countermeasure. Right. She would say that this man forced her to do this, or else he would have killed her. Right. Just say it like this. Cheng Xian, who was staring at the middle-aged man warily, quickly came up with a reason for her actions. At the same time, she also felt relieved. That's because you haven't seen people with long lives. After a long while, Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes lightly swept over the guilty-looking Cheng Xian, as she calmly smiled. You really have a sharp tongue, but I like to deal with smart people. How about we make a deal? The middle-aged man did not get angry at Leng Ruoxue's words. Instead, he spoke in an extremely friendly manner. What kind of deal? Leng Ruoxue was a little curious. Actually, she knew that this middle-aged man had been here for a while. However, he did not intend to act rashly, and she naturally did not want to alert him. I'm quite interested in your house. Give it to me and I'll let you live. How about it? Quickly agree to his request and give him the house. Let him send us out of here. Miss Cheng. This isn't your house, so it's up to me to decide if you want to give it to me. Then what are you waiting for? If we give him a house, he will let us live and we can leave this place. Previous chapter. Miss Leng. Third Elder Chow called out softly. He wanted to say something but stopped himself. In fact, he had the same thoughts as Cheng Xian. Since he was destined not to get this house, it would be good to exchange it for their lives. Do you really think he'll let us go if we give him a house? Miss Leng. My words carry enormous weight. I didn't ask you. Leng Ruoxue's words caused the middle-aged man to be angered. However, in order to obtain this house of his dreams, he had to endure. Didn't he say it? As long as you give him the house, he'll definitely let us go. It looks like Miss Cheng really believes in him. However, I don't believe him. You tricked me. After hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, Cheng Xian's embarrassment turned into anger. How am I playing with you? I just said that I don't trust him, so I naturally won't hand the house over to him. Don't tell me. Don't tell me you want to disregard the lives of so many of us. You're really not just cold-blooded. Miss Cheng. We will definitely obey Miss's decision. So, since Miss doesn't believe him, we naturally won't believe him either. You're just a maidservant. It doesn't mean that. You didn't say it. You have to ask them. Grape's words are exactly what we want to say. Miss Cheng please shut your mouth. Otherwise, we don't mind leaving you to your own devices. She's just a maidservant, and you all actually listen to her. She is young Mrs. Maidservant, and we are also young Mrs. Subordinates. Are you not afraid of death? Dear readers. Do you think he can kill us just because he wants to? Miss Cheng, how can you boost other people's morale and diminish your own? Feng Da's words caused Cheng to be half dead. Cheng Xian's expression flickered, and her big brother young master. That house belongs to them, and we have no right to ask what they want to do with it. Ning Haolan lowered his head and chuckled when he saw Cheng Xian's cautious expression. However, his action attracted Cheng Xian's attention. Brother Lan. Miss Cheng. I'm just living under someone else's roof. Are you not afraid of death? Without them, there will be someone else from the Cheng and Ning families to be the young master. Maybe it's just nice to make room for someone else. Are you hoping that they'll die? Cheng Xian angrily glared at Feng De. Alright. Stop arguing, Miss Cheng. The majority of us have the same opinion. The minority is subordinate to the majority. I won't give them this house. How do you know they won't make things difficult for me? But they didn't kill him, did they? That's because I'm useful. Value? I wonder what kind of value Miss Cheng has. I'm really curious. Miss Cheng, can you dispel my doubts? Then, I'll tell you. At this time, the middle-aged man who had been watching the show for a long time could not help but speak again. You shut up. Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Cheng Xian immediately roared. How dare you? You actually dare to shout at me. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, Feng De and the rest's faces turned black. Feng De shot forward and grabbed Cheng Xian in his hands. What a good Miss Cheng. Feng Da's words made Elder Chow's anger burn even more. Elder Chow San was filled with anger as he walked. When the weak Cheng Yi saw this, although he couldn't bear it, he still turned his head without saying a word. Third Grandpa. When Cheng Xian was being beaten up, neither Leng Ruoxue's group nor the middle-aged man's men had any intention of interfering. She still dared to shout at him when she didn't complete her task. Thus, Cheng Xian's fate was a tragedy. After a long time, Chow San's elder was finally tired from the beating, and Cheng Xian, who was swollen like a pig's head, fainted again. As for Leng Ruoxue and the rest, they started to stare at the black-robed men. No one spoke first. Little girl, think about it. As long as you give me the house, I promise to send you out of the secret realm. You don't have to say anything. I won't give this house to you. You guys aren't afraid of death. Or do you really want to stay here forever, never to leave? We're not afraid of death, and we don't want to stay here forever. Leng Ruoxue laughed. Dear readers. Little girl, I know that your flames are very powerful and can exterminate the monsters here. However, he didn't fly into a rage because of the rejection. Don't you think you're too important? Ha ha ha. Little girl, do you think I'm lying to you? If that's the case, then we won't go out. You're not going out? Little girl, do you think that you can live in here without going out? Life and death are up to fate. Her words made Feng De and the others laugh in their hearts. Their miss had a heaven-defying space. Of course, she didn't mind staying here forever. Therefore, the middle-aged man's conditions couldn't move their miss at all. As for what her miss wanted, they naturally knew. Since you're not satisfied with my conditions, then tell me. If I can accept it, I'll agree to it. The middle-aged man suppressed the anger in his heart. After a long silence, he gritted his teeth and said, there's no other way. I want this house too much. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to swallow my anger. I'm here to look for someone. Leng Ruoxue only said this one sentence and did not say anything else. What if I give you the person you're looking for? The middle-aged man asked. Are you sure you can make this decision? Leng Ruoxue asked suspiciously. Of course. The middle-aged man was very confident. He still had the right to let 1 or 2 people go. However, even if he did it, he had to keep it a secret. Otherwise, if his archenemy found out and reported him to his lord, he would be in serious trouble. That's good. As long as you can give me the person I want, I'll make this deal with you. Leng Ruoxue nodded in agreement. However, as soon as she finished speaking, Uncle Long sent a worried voice transmission. Little girl, do you really want to make a deal with him? This is his territory. If he changes his mind, we won't have anywhere to protect ourselves. Uncle Long. Don't worry, I have my own plans. When Uncle Long heard Leng Ruoxue's promise, he miraculously relaxed. After the middle-aged man heard Leng Ruoxue's words, he replied in a forthright manner, "Little girl, tell me who you're looking for. I'll just bring him here for you. Are you sure you have the right to let them go?" "Of course." The middle-aged man was, "But I can't be sure that they're in your hands." Leng Ruoxue pretended to be troubled. "Little girl, if the person you're looking for has really entered the mystery realm, even if he's not in my hands, I'll find a way to find him and bring him to you. That should be fine, right?" "Sure." Leng Ruoxue agreed. Then, she turned around and wrote down a list of people, then handed it to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man opened the name list and his eyes widened. This list was filled with names. Some were human, and some were beast. In total, there were thousands of people. This was clearly playing with him. He was furious. "Dear reader, you're playing with me? The middle-aged, why would I trick you? These people are indeed the ones I'm looking for. If you want the house, then give them to me." In fact, she only knew a small number of people on the list. Besides the people from the Ning family, she was most familiar with the great elder of the Craftsmen's Guild, the master of the Cheng family, and the master of the Yin family who had captured her. However, if she only saved them and ignored the people who had come with them, it seemed a little unreasonable. Moreover, the name list not only included people from the Ning family, Cheng family, Yin family, Armament Guild headquarters, and Alchemist Guild headquarters, but also some beasts that Uncle Long wanted to save and the elders of the Dolphin clan that the little dolphin wanted to save. Leng Ruoxue's words were like adding oil to the fire to the middle-aged man. Originally, he thought that as long as he let 1 or 2 people go, he would be able to get the house that he coveted. He dared to secretly release 1 or 2 people, but he didn't have the right to release so many people at once. "Why, are you in a difficult position? Don't you have the right to release a few people?" He still dared to call himself king. "You still dare to make a deal with me? This isn't just a small number of people. It's a little. The others are all beasts from the Endless Sea. What does the beasts of the Endless Sea have to do with you? Of course it's my business. My beastie was born in the Endless Sea. It wants to save its own people and friends, so I can't stop it from saving them. Love the house as the house, you understand." Leng Ruoxue laughed evilly. "What a good love to the house. Don't tell me that those humans are also the result of loving the house. Yeah. You've become smarter." Leng Ruoxue was not stingy with her praise. "Let's quickly make a deal. I'll take them away after I'm done." Following that, Leng Ruoxue started to urge him. Leng Ruoxue's urging and her proud smile caused the middle-aged man's anger to erupt like a volcano. It was out of control. Furthermore, no matter how he looked at Leng Ruoxue's half-smile, with a hint of mockery, it was an eyesore. What a woman who needs a beating. The middle-aged man secretly cursed. This woman had aroused all the anger in his heart, causing his original tender feelings for the woman to disappear. Now, he only wanted to teach this woman who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth a lesson. A puny deity actually dared to be so presumptuous in front of him and dared to play tricks on him. This was really something that uncle could tolerate, but aunt couldn't. Hey! Why don't you give a reaction? When can you bring me the person I want? Leng Ruoxue saw that the middle-aged man only glared at her without saying a word and could not help but ask again. "You're really looking for death? How dare you tease me like this?" After a long while, the middle-aged man gritted his teeth and said. He had lived for so long, but he had never wanted to beat up a woman so much. The little girl in front of him could be considered to have set a record. "I told you, I'm not toying with you." Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of grievance. However, in the eyes of the middle-aged man, her pitiful look made her even more deserving of a beating. "You used so many people to make a deal with me. If you're not toying with me, are you taking care of me?" The middle-aged man's face darkened as he said in an unpleasant tone. "I don't think I need that many people. Do you think that you can get this house if I only ask for 1 or 2 people from you? Don't tell me you don't know the value of this house. This house is not something that can be bought with money." Leng Ruoxue said with a look of realization. "But you can't take so many people away." The middle-aged man's voice had obviously weakened because he knew that Leng Ruoxue was speaking the truth. The value of this house could not be measured by money. Furthermore, even if he could gather the materials, there was no guarantee that he could successfully forge a spatial-type divine weapon. Hence, in comparison, the value of this house would naturally be higher. Otherwise, even he would not be envious of it. "But they are all related to me. I can't just leave them be. If you love the house, you love the house, don't you understand?" Leng Ruoxue said with a troubled look. "I don't care what you say, but you can't take so many people away at once." The middle-aged man was burning with anger. He didn't care about his image as he shouted at the top of his lungs. "It seems like we can't complete our deal." There was no room for discussion as Leng Ruoxue said with a face full of regret. Following that, she smiled at the middle-aged man and said, "How about I leave this woman to you and you hand over all the people on the list to me?" The woman she was referring to was naturally Cheng Xian. What use do I have for this woman? After hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, the middle-aged man was a little angry. This detestable girl, did she think that he would let go of the people on the name list if she kept the Cheng family's young miss? This woman from the Cheng family wasn't that important. This woman is very useful. She's a direct descendant of the Cheng family. You can take her to the Cheng family and extort a huge sum of money from them. Also, don't forget that the Cao family is her maternal family. I heard that they're quite rich. So, with this woman in hand, it can be said that it's a great profit without any cost. What do you think? My suggestion is good, right? Leng Ruoxue asked with an evil smile. Her words made Elder Chao San, who had heard them clearly, almost vomit blood. What kind of person was this? He actually wanted these men in black to use Cheng Xian, to extort them, humph. Cheng Xian had caused such a matter, and it was already good enough that he didn't beat her to death. How could their Chao clan allow others to extort them for her? On the other side, third Elder Chao was filled with anger and hatred. On the other hand, Cheng Xian, who was also listening to Leng Ruoxue's words, looked at Leng Ruoxue with a face full of admiration. He thought to himself, this great aunt is too amazing. This is a brilliant idea. However, he was very certain that the Cheng clan would definitely not pay this sum of money for Cheng Xian. Not bad, my ass. She's just a direct descendant of the Cheng family, would the Cheng family pay for her? At this time, the middle-aged man also said with a face of disbelief. In his heart, he couldn't help but sigh. He was a reverent god after all. This wretched girl actually wanted him to extort. However, this idea seemed to have piqued his interest. We won't know if we don't try. Leng Ruoxue coaxed. Dear readers. You are reading? I don't even need to try to know. However, if it was the young master of the Cheng family, I might really be able to extort a sum of money. The middle-aged man said in a seemingly serious manner. His shrewd eyes were scanning Cheng Xian's body back and forth, as if he was estimating his value. Why? Do you want to be the young master of the Cheng family? Leng Ruoxue's eyes widened as she asked curiously. One young master of the Cheng family is not enough. I heard that the young master of the Ning family is also here. That's right. The middle-aged man said with a smile. That's right. However, I can't give them to you. I still have other uses for the two of them. The only thing I can give you is this woman. If you don't think it's enough, you can also get her brother involved. Anyway, they have a deep sibling relationship, and I can't beat them up and let them go their separate ways, so I can only fulfill their wishes. Leng Ruoxue said in an understanding manner. Feng De and the others immediately understood what she meant. The young lady was taking revenge. The Qing siblings had almost caused them to lose their lives, and their own miss couldn't kill them personally for the sake of the Qing clan's head and young master. Therefore, she could only throw these two hot potatoes to these black-clothed men. However, they didn't think that these black-clothed men would really want them unless their heads were kicked by a donkey. What if I insist on those two young masters? The middle-aged man's interest was piqued when he saw that Leng Ruoxue did not agree. No room for discussion. They're my people, so I won't give them to you. Also, don't even think about my subordinates. You can have whoever you want. Leng Ruoxue promised. Once she eliminated them, there were 3 people who were not under her protection. These 3 people were Elder Chao San, Cheng Yi, and Cheng Xian. Miss Leng. You can't hand me over to the men in black. After hearing Leng Ruoxue's suggestion, third Elder Chao's heart started to throb. A trace of fear emerged from the bottom of his heart, and his face turned frighteningly pale. At this moment, even though he hated Leng Ruoxue for being disloyal, he was also well aware that no one else could help him. If she really abandoned them, then they would only have a dead end in the mystic realm. Hence, even if he hated Leng Ruoxue to the point of wanting to swallow her alive, he had to put on a pitiful look to prevent her from really handing them over. Even if I want to hand them over, they still have to want you. Leng Ruoxue said with a look of disdain. This damned old man had always wanted to scheme against her. Now that his scheme had failed, he finally knew what fear was. Humph. What were you doing earlier? When Elder Chao San heard Leng Ruoxue's honest words, he swallowed his saliva with great difficulty and did not dare to speak anymore. The only thing he could do now was to lower his presence and not attract the attention of those men in black. He was so scared that his intelligence was reduced to 0. Hence, he had never thought about whether the middle-aged man would agree to use this house in exchange for the 3 of them. He had also never thought about why Leng Ruoxue would say that. Even though she wanted to get rid of these guys, Leng Ruoxue wanted to anger this middle-aged man even more. It would be best if she could anger him to the point of losing his mind. That way, she would be able to fish in troubled waters. More importantly, this was her plan to do the same thing in the open and secretly do it in the dark. She had just sent her beastie to the bottom of the valley. What she needed to do now was to stall the middle-aged man and buy more time for her beasts. Uncle. Although the 3 of them are a little small in number, they're just the added bonus to the house. You can consider it an additional gift from me. Look at the 3 of them, there are old and young, men and women. They can run errands for you and warm your bed. What a good deal. 1 for 3, there will never be such a cheap deal in this world again, so let's quickly make the deal. Leng Ruoxue explained all the benefits. When she said it, she felt like laughing in her heart. Furthermore, when she saw third Elder Chao's face that was even darker than ink, she felt extremely comfortable in her heart. It was a pity that Cheng Xian was still unconscious and could not hear her opinion. This made her feel a little regretful. According to what you said, I seem to have gained a huge advantage. The middle-aged man laughed instead of getting angry. To be honest, he was amused by Leng Ruoxue's words. He had lived for so long and this woman in front of him was the one who deserved the most beating. At the same time, she was also the one who was the best at twisting the truth. However, he was not a fool and would be fooled by her words. Leng Ruoxue could hear the middle-aged man's sarcasm and gave him a, "It's good that you know, look without a care." Then, she looked at him with a smile full of anticipation, as if this deal was already set in stone. The middle-aged man was helpless. It seemed like he had to give Leng Ruoxue the title of the most shameless woman. Uncle. When is the deal? Leng Ruoxue blinked her beautiful eyes and acted cute with her sweet mouth as she asked. I didn't say I wanted to trade. The middle-aged man gritted his teeth and said angrily. Uncle. What the hell are you doing? If you don't keep your word, you'll be struck by lightning. Leng Ruoxue cursed. You. The middle-aged man was so angry that he was stammering. Facing Leng Ruoxue, he felt a deep sense of powerlessness because she did not take his words seriously at all. She was always talking to herself, making him feel like a hero who was of no use to her. Uncle. You're the one who wants to make a deal, and you're also the one who reneges. What do you want? You're going to make me angry if you keep repeating this. Leng Ruoxue warned. I've already said that there are too many people on your list. I can't give them all to you. The middle-aged man took a few deep breaths and forced himself to calm down. He didn't want to be fooled by the other party. Moreover, he didn't have all the people on the list. He was still looking for some. Didn't I give you an extra head? Why aren't you satisfied with a 1-for-3 exchange? Leng Ruoxue was slightly angered. Her beautiful eyes were burning with flames of anger as she glared at the middle-aged man. Do you know how many people you want? The middle-aged man clenched his fists tightly. He was trying to calm himself down and not be angered by this woman. I know. Leng Ruoxue nodded and used the same tone to ask, then do you know the value of my house? Of course he knew. The middle-aged man thought to himself. If he didn't know, he wouldn't be so conflicted, and he wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to her. How about this? Let's each take a step back, I'll give you at most 500 slots, how about it? After some thought, the middle-aged man suggested. This was his final decision after much consideration. Who asked him to want that house so much? If he were to snatch it by force, he had no absolute confidence at all. Moreover, he didn't think that these people would submit to him and let him do whatever he wanted. 1,000. I want 1,000 people. Leng Ruoxue started to bargain. 600. I can't go any further. The middle-aged man loosened the quota of 100 people. Then 900. 600 is too little, it's not enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Leng Ruoxue said in dissatisfaction. 800 people. If you're still not satisfied, then I can only cancel this deal. The middle-aged man threatened. All right then. 800 it is. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. She knew that this was the middle-aged man's bottom line. However, there were 800 of them in the open. She could decide how many of them she wanted to take away in secret. Men. Bring 800 of them here according to the names on the list. After discussing the conditions, the middle-aged man immediately ordered his subordinates. Wait. The moment Leng Ruoxue heard this, she immediately called for a stop. She couldn't allow the other party to follow the names on the list. After all, there were many punks there to make up the numbers. If the people the other party brought weren't the ones she really wanted to save, wouldn't she suffer a great loss? What are you doing now? The middle-aged man said with a slight headache. The list of names is too wide. I request a new list. Leng Ruoxue requested. That's good. Hurry up. The middle-aged man urged. He was already losing his patience from being tormented by this hateful woman. According to his original plan, he just needed to gather 800 men and hand them over to Leng Ruoxue. Who knew that this little girl was so scheming? Uncle. Calm down, it's not like this house can run away. Leng Ruoxue smiled as she consoled him. Then, she wrote a new name list and passed it to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man took the name list and looked at it again. The moment he looked at it, his head hurt even more. He knew that this woman would not be easy to fool. Most of the people on the list were the most powerful ones who had been tricked into entering the secret realm. Moreover, he had not caught a considerable number of them yet. How could he complete the deal? He was depressed. Uncle. Quickly hand these people over to me. After the deal is done, you can send us out of here. Leng Ruoxue chuckled. She kept urging him. But the middle-aged man's face turned uglier and uglier. He still had to send them off. Their deal didn't seem to include this, right? However, he couldn't be bothered to argue with this little girl anymore, mainly because he didn't think he could win her in an argument. Therefore, the only thing he wanted to do now was to send this hateful woman away as soon as possible. Otherwise, he couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't want to strangle her to death after a long time. Unfortunately, his wish was good, but reality was cruel. Many of the people that Leng Ruoxue wanted were not in his hands. Hence, even if he wanted to send this god of plague away as soon as possible, he had no way of doing so. Only a portion of the people you want are in my hands. As for the others, I will find them as soon as possible and bring them to you. The middle-aged man said after some thought. Previous chapter. Next. Good. I'll be waiting here. Leng Ruoxue agreed readily. Then, the middle-aged man ordered his men to bring them to their secret location. After receiving the order, this subordinate immediately went to the secret room where those people were locked up. At the same time, Leng Ruoxue sent a voice transmission to her beasts. Charm. If you follow the men in black, you'll be able to find the person they locked up. Leng Ruoxue reminded. Her spirit beasts had searched the bottom of the valley for a long time, but they could not find the place where the people who had been captured were kept. Now was a good opportunity. I know, master. The Mei replied. Then, the few little beasts looked at each other and stayed in place, waiting for the black-clothed man to come to their door. They were now at the main entrance, which was the only path the men in black had to pass. In addition, they were invisible at the moment, so they easily followed behind the men in black. The man in black turned 2 corners and passed through a dark corridor. The May and the other small beasts followed the man in black into an underground secret room. The secret room was very spacious and there were no decorations inside. However, there was a pool in the left corner of the wall. The pool was filled with bright red blood, giving off a strong bloody smell. In the middle of the pool, there was a red flower that was as bright as fire. The flower had multiple petals and was the size of a millstone. It was in full bloom. Above the pool, there were countless fist-sized spheres. Those spheres were white and transparent, and each sphere contained a person or a beast. At this time, the mental state of those people and beasts were all extremely dispirited. Some were already on the verge of death, with only one breath left. Seeing this scene, the May and the other beasts could not describe the feelings in their hearts. Moreover, there were many beasts trapped in the ball. However, what made them even more troubled was how to release these people or beasts from the ball. At the thought of this, the May and the other beasts' gazes were fixed on the black-clothed man's every move. At this moment, the man in black took out the name list that Leng Ruoxue had requested and carefully checked it. Every time he found a person, he would bring down the sphere that person was in. After finding all the people and beasts, the man in black cast a few complicated hand seals. Following that, the sphere disappeared and extremely weak humans and beasts were released from the sphere. What's the matter? Is it our time to die? An old-looking man asked. Humph. You're in luck, someone's here to save you. The man in black shouted. Really? The old man was still in doubt, and when the others heard his words, their reactions were calm. Or rather, they didn't believe him at all. Do you think I would lie to you? The black-clothed man said unhappily, but he couldn't help but think in his heart, Master really made a good deal. This was because even if these people were given to the other party, they would not be able to live for long. Their life force had long since withered, and the final outcome of them staying here would only be to become food for those monsters. Now, using them to exchange for that amazing spatial artifact was definitely a profit without loss, hee. In the future, they would be able to enjoy the benefits of that house, he thought to himself. I wonder who's the one who's coming to save us? The old man asked curiously. They had been trapped here for a long time and had no hope of getting out. Now that they heard that someone had come to save them, they were even more curious. Dear readers, you are reading on our content. A woman with the surname Leng. The man in black said. The woman with the surname Leng? The old man carefully recalled. In his memory, he did not seem to know any woman with the surname Leng. Why would she come to save him for no reason? He could not understand. You'll see her in a while. Follow me. The black-clothed man ordered. After he finished speaking, he took the lead and walked out of the secret room. Seeing this, the old man looked at the others who were as confused as him and followed him out. After they had all left, the May looked at the people who were still in the secret chamber and felt hesitant. The remaining people did not have a deep relationship with his master, or it could be said that they had no relationship at all. So, should he save them or not? Should we rescue them? The May transmitted her voice to the other beasts. Save him. Why not? They're all money. Baby said a little miserly. It should be known that its biggest wish was to earn a lot of money for its cute master, so it would not let go of any opportunity to make money. Master sent us here to save people. However, we don't know many of these people, so we can't save them for nothing. Ling Chen thought for a moment before speaking in a serious tone. MMH. Good brother. Well said. We have to take risks to save people, so they should pay us. Baby gave Ling an appreciative look. May's head was full of black lines as she listened to the conversation between the two guys. If he wanted to earn money, then so be it. It wouldn't stop him, so why make it sound so grand? Then what are we waiting for? Let's discuss the conditions with them first, then let them out. Yao was not in a hurry. It had not shown itself for too long, so it definitely could not let this opportunity go. You guys go ahead. I'll keep a lookout for you. The May said very self-consciously. It was very self-aware. It knew that its mischievousness could not be compared to these guys, so it was more suitable for it to be on the lookout. Let's go and do something big. Baby said with a bandit-like expression. After saying that, it asked Ling to remove its invisibility and then walked to the side of the pool with small steps. What a strong smell of blood. Baby wrinkled his cute little nose and was a little disgusted. Sigh. A good flower was actually a blood-sucking one, she really didn't learn well. Then, it looked up at the top of the pool. The dying man and beast inside had clearly noticed its existence. They still had a trace of clarity, and all of them looked back at it with wide eyes. Hee. I'm here to save you. However, he couldn't save her for nothing. You have to pay a corresponding reward before I will let you out. How about it? If you agree, then nod your head. Otherwise, just shake your head. Baby said directly. These people's bodies were really too weak. It was really afraid that they would faint before they finished listening to its words. Then, wouldn't it have worked for nothing? When the humans and beasts in the sphere heard this furry, dark purple cute little fox's words, they all chose to agree, although they still had some doubts on their faces. Hee. You're tactful. Baby was very satisfied with their choice. Then, it gave a look to Ling, who was still invisible. Ling understood and jumped into the air. Whoosh. Buzz. Whoosh. After a few flashes of light, those who had agreed to it fell to the ground one after another. Seeing this, they couldn't help but reveal a trace of shock in their eyes because they didn't see the little fox do anything at all. They were saved from mid-air. This was really incredible. One should know that the ball wasn't so easy to get down. Immediately, they were in awe of the treasure. It seemed that this little fox really had some tricks up her sleeve. At this moment, they would never have dreamed that this was a trick played by Bao Bao and the other beasts to intimidate them and gain more bargaining chips for themselves. After seeing them land, Baby walked up to them with a little pride and said, "You've all seen my ability. Now, let's talk about my conditions." N. The people and beasts in the sphere nodded and looked at the treasure with eager eyes. "Actually, my request is very simple. You just need to pay me a reward equal to your status, and I'll let you out," Baby said with a smile. There was definitely a trap in its words. Who asked it to not know the identity of these people, so it did not dare to casually state a price. Otherwise, if they could not afford it, then wouldn't they have worked for nothing? Moreover, it didn't want to be a creditor. To put it bluntly, it didn't give credit. Among these people or beasts, whoever could pay the money, it would take them away. Otherwise, they could stay here. It did not have any sympathy. When the people or beasts in the sphere heard Treasure's words, they couldn't help but look at each other. Was he asking them to bid for themselves? However, they were penniless now, so how could they afford the pay? Little fox. To be honest, we don't have a single cent right now. One of the whales in the ball said. No money? It's fine if you have medicinal herbs and materials of equivalent value. I'll make do with it. Baby thought for a while and said. That's not it either. All the good things on us were taken away by the men in black when we were caught, so. The whale said with some embarrassment. It did not finish its sentence, but it believed that the smart little fox would understand. Then what do we do? Baby was a little dumbfounded. Woo, it's money-making plan. Was the fetus going to die in the womb just like this? No. It was unwilling. He didn't want to work for free. Why don't we owe him first? Most of us are respected in the divine realm, so we definitely won't renege on your debt. The whale promised with a hint of anticipation in its eyes. I don't buy on credit. Baby said a little gloomily, but in his heart, he was thinking about how to get the good things that the black-clothed man had taken from them into his bag. It seemed that he would have to let Yu Xuan try it later, hee. If he could find those things, they would all belong to him. However, it didn't have much hope for this, because there were many places here that Feather couldn't see through, such as this secret room. Little fox. Seeing that we're all beastie, please make an exception. Alright then. Since you've said so, I'll give you face. The beasts can write me an IOU, but humans can T. Baby thought for a moment, and then said very seriously, Little fox. You can't be racist. This is a clear difference in treatment. I have no choice. I'm not a human, and I'm not familiar with you. If you lie to me, who can I cry to? Little fox. To tell you the truth, I'm an elder of the Yao family. Our Yao family is one of the 8 great divine regions, and our status is only second to the Ning family. So, don't worry, I won't lie to you. How about I swear on the Yao family's reputation? Just trust me. An old man with a white beard and a haggard face in the ball said patiently. You're an elder of the Yao family? Hearing the old man's words, Baby squinted his silver eyes and asked calmly. Dear readers. You are reading on our MMH. It seems like you've heard of our Yao family, Little Fox. That's great. The Yao family elder said happily. Looking at the slightly excited old man, Baby's heart was filled with 120,000 points of sympathy for him. Of course, it had heard of the Yao family. Speaking of which, the Yao family seemed to have some grudges with them. However, looking at the old man's excitement, it really couldn't bear to discourage him. Sigh. Who asked it to be a kind-hearted little fox? After thinking about it, the baby spoke again with a cautious expression. Actually, I can't bear to leave you in the lurch. But as you all know, we beasts have never had a good impression of humans. However, seeing that you all are quite pitiful, I'll be kind this time. Little fox, you're a good beast. Thank you. The Yao family elder immediately tried to curry favor with his baby. Wait. Don't worry, I'm not done yet. Baby reminded. Then, it continued, I can save you, but your reward will be at least twice as much as theirs. Furthermore, you have to swear an oath to your family that if you agree, I will let you out. Otherwise, you can continue to stay here. I agree. The elder of the Yao family thought for a while and said. What about you guys? I also agree. I also agree. The people trapped by the sphere expressed their opinions. Although the people he had saved had agreed to Baby's request, it was still not happy because these people had no money and had to write an IOU for it. The depressed Baby stood in front of the ball on the ground and imitated the black-clothed man's method, striking out the magic art in his memory. In an instant, the ball broke into pieces, turned into starlight, and disappeared. As soon as the sphere disappeared, the humans and beasts trapped inside regained their freedom. They slowly got up from the ground and walked in front of the little fox one by one, saying, Little fox, thank you for saving us. Everyone's thanks were sincere, but their gratitude was completely crushed by the treasure. You don't have to be so polite. I didn't save you for nothing. When everyone saw this, they all understood what the little fox meant. After keeping the IOU, baby reminded, now you can swear an oath. Remember. You must swear on your family's bloodline. What? Everyone was dumbfounded. Didn't he swear on his family? Why did it become an oath on the bloodline of the family? What, didn't you hear me clearly? I'm asking you to swear on your family bloodline. That little fox, we won't go back on our word. So, there's no need to swear on our family bloodline, right? You've misunderstood me. I asked you to swear on your family's bloodline because I'm afraid you won't be able to pay off the debt you owe me, hee. If you can't pay them back, you'll have to ask the descendants of your respective families to pay them back. I don't have any intention of asking you to curse your own descendants. Baby added, worried. This time, everyone and the beasts understood. However, they were still a little unwilling in their hearts. Seeing that the crowd and the beasts were silent for a long time, Treasure smiled again. It seems that you want to go back on your word. Little fox. You've misunderstood, we're thinking about how to make the oath. Is there a need to think about this? Of course we have to consider it. It's fine if we swear on our own, but this concerns our future generations, so we have to be careful. Old man. You care so much about your descendants, but when you were trapped here, did they come to save you? Dear readers. You are, They don't know that we're trapped here, and with their strength, they won't be able to come back even if they come to save us. We already know, how could they not know? Then isn't your Yao clan's information network a little too lacking? The Yao family elder was completely out of power. What's with the, little fox? We don't know how to say this oath, why don't you give us an example? You're still the smartest, you can even teach your beast taming. Listen up. I, so-and-so, owe my precious master a reward of double my status. Now, I swear by the bloodline of the family that I will do my best to pay off the debt in my lifetime. If the debt is not paid off in my lifetime, my family's descendants have the obligation and responsibility to carry on this debt until the debt is paid off. By the way, beastie's pay is double, don't make a mistake. N. The whale nodded and helplessly swore. Following that, people began to swear on their bloodlines, and the contract rules continued to descend in the secret chamber. After a long time. After everyone and the beasts had finished their vows, Baby smiled in satisfaction and added, I forgot to tell you that my debt has a time limit. You have to pay it off within a month. Otherwise, there will be interest, hee. The interest is a compound interest. The baby's additional explanation made everyone and the beasts so angry. Moreover, they finally understood why this evil little fox wanted them to swear on their family's bloodline. Seeing their troubles, Baby said in a very understanding manner, actually, you don't have to be so depressed. As long as you pay off your debts within a month, everything will be fine, right? Don't forget, the reward I ask for is equal to your own status. It's only double that of a human, s. So, you can do as you see fit. Pay me however much you think you're worth. There's no need to be so embarrassed. I don't mind how much you pay me, really. Baby's words were reasonable, but it was completely not the case in the ears of the people present. Many people could not help but think in their hearts, you didn't say how much we should pay you, but you said you want a reward equal to our status. In other words, they will pay each other however much they think they are worth, and every person or beast here more or less has some reputation in the immortal realm, so they naturally wouldn't do something that would lower their own status. It wouldn't be good if word got out. How would they face others in the future? Therefore, even if it was for the sake of their own face, the price they offered couldn't be too low. Otherwise, he would not have the face to continue living in the divine realm in the future. That. We don't have any money now. If we can't leave this mystic realm within a month, how are we going to settle this? The Yao family elder asked after some thought. That will count as interest. After all, we are only responsible for bringing you out of this secret chamber. As for whether you can leave this secret realm or not, it is not within our scope of consideration. Baby said matter-of-factly. Little fox. This won't do. You brought us out of here, so you can't just leave us alone. With our current physical condition, if you don't care about us, it won't be long before we'll be caught again. The whale quickly said in fear. Yup. You can't just abandon us. The other humans and beasts also chimed in. What, you're still counting on me to finish the whole pack? Besides, I'm not human. Baby said in an unpleasant tone. Little fox. You're the kindest and most adorable little fox, you won't leave me in the lurch, right? The whale coaxed. You're wrong. Although I'm cute, I'm not kind. I'll definitely not save you if I see you in danger. Besides, don't you know that I saved you for money? So, you don't have to flatter me. I don't buy it. Baby said arrogantly as he turned his head. However, if you want me to take you out of the mystic realm, you'll have to pay extra. And I can tell you clearly that our escort fee is very expensive. Then, the baby changed the topic and brought up money again. When everyone and the beasts heard Baby's words, they all wiped their sweat. F***ck. I've never seen a fox that likes money so much. What's wrong with it having eyes for money? Of course, they would never have dreamed that the baby wanted to accumulate wealth so desperately, all for the sake of its lovely master. Seeing that the people and beasts present were silent again, Baby smiled and said, hee. If you want to seek our protection, then write me an IOU and make a bloodline oath. If you can't pay it all off, don't you have your descendants to help you? So, don't feel any pressure and think about it. Baby's words made everyone look at each other and speechless. They really didn't know what to say. This little fox was not just greedy for money. Moreover, they couldn't find any fault in its words, so it made them feel even more depressed. Little fox. If we accept your escort, can you guarantee that you can bring us out of here safely? The whale asked again after a while. This is a must. The escort fee will be paid within a month of your departure. If there is any delay, the interest will also be compounded. However, I will not be responsible for your clothing, food, accommodation, and transportation here. If it is up to me to arrange it, the cost will also be calculated separately. The treasurer's silver eyes quickly flashed with a trace of calculation as it explained. This time, Baby's words were very clear, but everyone or the beasts were very depressed when they heard it. However, it was a good thing that their strength was there. They didn't need to eat anything and could just find a place to spend the night. Therefore, they didn't need to trouble the little fox in terms of food, clothing, shelter, and transportation, they thought. Little fox. We can take care of our own basic needs. Everyone looked at each other and said in unison. Alright then. You only need to pay me 1 million top-grade crystals or medicinal herbs, ores, and materials of the same value, and I promise to bring you out of the secret realm. Baby said with a faint smile. Dear readers. You are reading on our content copy site, please What? 1 million? You're a robber. When the crowd and beasts heard this number, they were all dumbfounded. Do you think it's easy to bring you old, weak, sick, and disabled out of the secret realm? In my opinion, this amount of money is too little. Baby raised his cute little head and said with an aggrieved face. You're trapped in the secret realm, so you should know better than anyone else how dangerous and terrifying this secret realm is. Otherwise, how could you have been captured with your strength? And we're taking a risk by bringing you guys out, so how can we be at peace if we don't ask for more money? Why would we be willing to take you guys with us? Without giving them a chance to speak, Baby's silver eyes were filled with tears as he argued. Baby's words made everyone speechless once again. They were indeed a burden now. However, as long as they thought of how much money this little fox had asked them for, their hearts ached. Baby saw through their thoughts and said with great sincerity, money is just a worldly possession. Do you think a mere 1 million top-grade crystal stones is worth less than your life? If you really value money more than your lives, then I have nothing to say. After all, this is your choice. We'll meet again. I hope that I'll still be able to see your figures in the divine realm in the future. I look forward to the day we meet again. After saying that, Baby took small steps and planned to leave. Wait. Seeing that the treasure was about to leave, the whale quickly said. Is there anything else? Baby turned his head and asked. I'm willing to pay 1 million top-grade crystals, but I don't have that much, so I can only use materials as payment. No problem. I don't care what you offer as a mortgage. As long as it's of the same value, I'll take it. You're the first customer to ask us to escort you, so I should give you some benefits. I'll pay for all your food, clothing, accommodation, and transportation, so I won't ask you for extra money. Thank you, he said. Baby saw the whale's disapproving look and didn't explain much. Instead, he turned his eyes to the others.